going to get a few of those off before he runs out of mana and can no longer heal his teammates. Will Fiedler Gaming be able to end this in time?
We'll have to see. Fake Zebras, like you said, they're going to be spreading out all of that magic damage. Donnie's going to be taxing his mana quite a bit. There's a full root beam. Way the Crane's going to be activated, so Donnie's going to be able to get a little bit aggressive with that, but Corki with a nice Cyclone going to be slowing that down. Good burst now onto Artesia. Another defensive Cyclone coming up from Corki. Leg sweep onto Lontar. Zot could be in a little trouble.
Yeah, Norgan is keeping Zot on the back foot, now making a swap to Lontar. Norgan definitely the MVP right now for Fiedler Gaming, but Corki's doing a good job of shutting down the enemy team as well. Both those players seem to be the most active currently. Zot's got a Healing Tide Totem activated. His team's going to be sitting very comfortable with that extra boost of healing. Zot trying to build up some damage, but Norgan continuing to shut him down throughout this initial attack. We don't see any crowd control really being thrown out by either side. Both teams playing in a neutral position.
Yeah, Donnie a little bit behind on mana compared to Lontar, but you can see Lontar, he still has all his defensive cooldowns as well to keep Corki and Zot alive. Nice Cyclone coming in from Artesia to slow down some of that damage. Silence, here's a setup coming in from Fake Zebras. It doesn't look like they have the burst they need. Revival's going to be traded out by Donnie to keep his team stable.
All right, every time we see a Root Solar Beam from Corki currently activated on Donnie, he's going to use Way of the Crane to break out of it. But you can see his mana, he's already spent half of it. He's only going to get 2 more of those before he's completely tapped. Their team needs to build up some momentum soon before they get to that critical mass moment. Norgan is trying to lead the charge, but an Earthen Shield Totem placed by Lontar is absorbing all of their pressure right now. Zot is now trying to reverse them away as they make a swap over to Lontar, catching him to leg sweep, but immediately getting peeled away. Amazing Cyclones from Corki.
Now you can see Zot, he's actually going to be sitting at max insanity. When he has that much insanity, he takes a significant amount of diminished damage, so it's going to be difficult for Fiedler Gaming to actually push through those defenses. Zot now trying to get aggressive, actually gets the silence reversed on him, so nicely done by Norgan, realizing the situation. You're going to be turning around the pressure over onto Zot. Root Beam now over onto Lontar. Zot's in a lot of trouble. He has to activate the Dispersion, which should keep him alive for now.
Artesia pulls the trigger, gets a good crowd control chain, and they manage to pull Dispersion from Zot, which is a powerful defensive cooldown. If they can get another setup like that in a few more moments, they could nail the kill for themselves. You see, Donnie has Way of the Crane. Corki's going to be going for a Root Beam. Can he get a Cyclone on the Way of the Crane out of it? He gets double stunned. Perfect stun combo by Norgan, interrupting the crowd control. Now they're leading the charge. Lontar on the back foot, trying to retreat back behind the pillar, but he's taking immense pressure. Manages to squeak away, now protecting himself in that Earthen Shield. Lontar will survive. Fiedler Gaming setting up a ton of swaps and keeping Fake Zebras on their toes.
And Donnie's actually been able to stabilize his mana as well. Hasn't really ran out. You might have to look for drinks in a little bit. Definitely a win condition for Fake Zebras, like we said. Now the silence on a Donnie, disarm over on an Organ. He's going to be fine activating the blur, reducing the amount of damage that he takes, and it's going to be difficult for Fake Zebras to sort of push through those defensives. A little bit of pressure on Corki, but both teams are sort of stabilized and feel very safe.
Yeah, Artesia looking for some Cyclones, but Zot actually max range them as we see another swap to Lontar. That seems to be the strategy for Fiedler. Every time they have a stun, they switch to the healer, trying to make sure that the Earth Shield doesn't get maximum value, and I think that's an impressive strategy choice from a team against a Restoration Shaman. Norgan, in the meantime, pulling the trigger, trying to make a swap now onto Zot with a Root Solar Beam onto Lontar. Fiedler Gaming are all over the place with their target choice. Now a Cyclone secured as well. Great crowd control from Artesia, but Zot seems to be tanking it out just fine, and now Norgan's going to switch targets again, trying to keep Fake Zebras on their toes. Lands a double stun. They got them in the middle of the map, trying to burst them down. Do they have enough damage to take him out? Lontar recovers, catches a quick Riptide. He's forced to use Ascendance, his most powerful defensive in this moment.
Yeah, the thing about Fake Zebras is all 3 members have healing, so when Lontar's in CC, Corki can actually help out Zot. Norgan in a lot of trouble, though. There's a Fear onto Donnie. He actually trinkets out. Disarm onto Norgan now. Has to use a lot of his defensives. That was a very close call. Unexpected damage coming in from Fake Zebras, but that is the burst potential of that Boomkin and that Incarnation.
Now with no trinket on Donnie and no trinket on Norgan, they have no way to remove crowd control and stuns, which you are more likely to die in, which means Fake Zebras have a clear win condition right now. Cyclone the Mistweaver Monk, stun Norgan. There's the Cyclone. Norgan is all alone. Will Artesia be able to back him up? He gets wind sheared. Norgan has to trade out another defensive cooldown. Overlapped and cycloned at low health. Perfect timing from Corki, denying all the defensive cooldowns. Fiedler Gaming are trying to make something desperately happen on Lontar, but they're falling inevitably behind.
Yeah, Lontar should be safe. Has all his defensive. Can Fake Zebras keep up this pressure? Nice Cyclone onto Artesia. Donnie's having a very difficult time topping off the team. There's the full Root Beam. Disarm onto Norgan. He's in a lot of trouble. Can Fake Zebras strike first blood? Cyclone onto Donnie now. Norgan just trying to survive, trying to LOS the best he can. Zot all over him, though. Artesia throwing out the heals ultimately will keep him alive. Donnie gets out of the crowd control. There's a full Hex. Artesia can dispel that, though. It doesn't look like he's going to be, but Norgan seems to be just fine.
That's a big mistake, not dispelling that Hex. It's putting him very far behind now into a silence. That mistake could cost them the game as Norgan gets bursted down and executed. Fake Zebras will take game number 1. off of a critical miss dispel from Artesia.
Man, I'm having one of those moments, you know, and you smell that fresh cup of coffee in the morning, just take it all in.
Players. So this is a very durable counter dot strategy. If this is like the most ultimate counter comp I think they could come up with against Fake Zebras.
The most ultimate counter comp. Gates are now open. Yep, this is going to be ultimate gameplay. Not looking for some damage very early on. Nice Cyclone coming in from Corki. And don't forget, Artesia actually has the Tremor Totem as well for Zot. So Fiedler Gaming, like we said, is going to have a lot of answers for all of the offense coming in from Fake Zebras.
All right, they're going to be going after Lone Tar early on. That Ring of Peace knocking Corki off the side during his incarnation. He's making his way back. Nice wincher onto the Cyclone. Lone Tar doing a good job of kiting away the opening pressure from Artesia. Really not getting too much done. They're desperately trying to pull something from Lone Tar, but the peels from Zot are just denying any sort of ramp for them. Norgan now getting swapped down to, and their opening pressure is basically nullified. Artesia's Ascendant's got nothing done, and that's going to put them very far behind.
Yeah, Corki used his incarnation as well. He didn't really pull anything from Fiedler Gaming, so I'd say both teams are relatively even. Full Hammer of Justice on the Lone Tar. He's going to be caught into the stun. That is going to be dispelled, I think. It does fade, so down around 40% HP. Still trying to get those heals off. Artesia and Norgan have found their targets. Nice Cyclone over onto Donnie. This is Corki and Zot's time to get some damage out, but you can see Norgan, he's just going to be line of sighting, look for the heals. Nice interrupt coming in from Lone Tar, supporting his casters in order to get some pressure.
Yeah, so the win condition for Fake Zebras is to crowd control Donnie and then burst down Norgan, and that's effectively their only way of winning. They can't kill through the amount of healing that Fiedler Gaming has. So right now, they're in peel mode, protect Lone Tar. Cyclone up Norgan, get some solar beams on Donnie, try and get the control of the game until they can Cyclone Donnie again. They're switching targets to Artesia. They managed to pull a Life Cocoon in this downtime. That is going to irk them a little bit ahead. Lone Tar, though, is just still getting tunneled. He's doing a great job with his mana, which is basically the win condition for Fiedler Gaming, is to tunnel Lone Tar until he runs out of mana. Right now, he's doing an amazing job using Healing Wave instead of Healing Surge. It's a slower cost, less of a big heal as Healing Surge, but it costs less mana. It's just riskier. You can see how slow it is. If he gets interrupted on that, he could get bursted down. We see defensive clones on Norgan. Really want to see Corki switch that to Donnie soon.
Yeah, keep in mind the positioning of Lone Tar in this matchup. What he's doing is constantly running away from Donnie, dragging Norgan as well as Artesia out of line of sight, making it difficult for him to heal up, and allowing Zot and Corki to build up as much pressure as they can. You can see him jumping down once again. Now Donnie has to move in, compromise his position, and that's where you see that full Cyclone really land. So good positioning coming in from Lone Tar, allowing his team to get some pressure.
Yeah, Norgan dipping down below 50%. Perfect Cyclone timing from Corki. He's looking for a third. Manages to squeak it in, but seems like, oh, nice Cyclone at low health from Corki. He's really on fire with these Cyclones. The positioning of Lone Tar was perfect to bait them into a position where Corki can really shine like this. They're trying to stall out for that shield to run out, but Artesia just backing them up. And as they have no crowd control onto the team, with 3 classes that can all heal as hybrids, it's going to be almost impossible for them to really punch through that. And going into dampening, it seems to be the advantage to Fiedler Gaming so long as Donnie can keep his mana at a high value. Zot getting tunneled down for now. They managed to pull Earthen Shield Totem from Lone Tar, so now if they want to make a swap over to him, he won't have that to protect him for quite some time.
Yeah, Zot's going to be taking a little bit of damage. The Earthen Shield Totem, like you said, going to do work to keep Zot very tanky. He's staying over 100 insanity. Once again, like Zico said, 20% damage reduction. The Fiedler Gaming, they're going to have a very difficult time taking him down. Still has the Dispersion, the Life Swap, basically everything in terms of defensives. So Fiedler Gaming has to make something happen. Zot's going to be running away. He's now dragging Donnie out of line of sight once again. So good tactics coming in. Donnie pushing in, incapacitate on the Lone Tar. Can they get the Dispersion? There's the full leg sweep. Looks like Zot's going to be completely fine, though.
Norgan gets stunned. Artesia gets cloned over. Donnie gets Solar Beam, but he was able to squeak out of it. He's not rooted inside of it, so he'd be able to save his team as both sides reset. This was Corki's incarnation. This was his big punch, and it really didn't get anything for his team. He's going to be waiting for that, and that's really their win condition, is the incarnation, most likely deep into dampening when the healing from both teams is significantly reduced. Now Zot is under fire with Lone Tar caught into a stun. Good wincher on Corki, getting knocked down off that back of that potential Cyclone, but Lone Tar looks like he's going to be able to get in position, just throwing out lightning bolts, trying to get whatever pressure he can get out. Looking for a Hex with a Cyclone on Artesia. Good cross CC for denying the Dispel. Actually, Donnie trinketing into a Cyclone. This trinket from Donnie could cost them a bigger cooldown from Norgan.
Yeah, disarm on Norgan. He's taking some damage, but Artesia able to just throw out the heals. And that's what makes it so difficult. Artesia, Norgan, and Donnie all have so much healing on their team that you have to basically crowd control everyone if you want to get that effective damage out. Lone Tar is in a good position. His team's topped off, moving in, maybe looking for some offensive dispels to allow Corki and Zot to get a little bit more pressure. Zot taking a little bit of burst damage right now. Donnie's just going to be dispelling off those VTs, horrifying himself, but that really slows down the damage.
Lone Tar with a preemptive Earthen Shield Totem before that stun. He expected to get stunned. stun, so he used the defensive cooldown before it hit, and that allowed Zot to just tank it out. Ring of Peace knocking Zot out of it, but not completely. Zot gets back into it almost immediately. Donnie now in a Cyclone. This is a win condition for Fake Zebras. Norgan knows that. He's desperately trying to run away, but they've got him pinned down in center field. Donnie caught into a bash. Will they manage to pull the Divine Shield from Norgan? No, not enough crowd control to pull that big cooldown. The game will continue on. We're looking for Corki's Incarnation available in another minute and 18 seconds. He needs to get something with that. If he can't, they're ultimately going to lose because they're going to get too deep into dampening for his team. They're already falling behind on mana.
Yeah, Donnie's way ahead on mana. Leg sweep over on the Lone Tar once again. And like you mentioned, Donnie's been doing a good job with that Ring of Peace, trying to knock the enemy team out of that Earthen Shield Totem, allowing his team to do a little bit more damage. Also using it as an interrupt onto Corki when he's going for those Cyclones. So very well done, high-level Mistweaver play. Corki getting bursted down. Lone Tar actually falling a little bit behind right now. He's in a good position to get out the healing waves, not going to be interrupted, able to top off his team quite easily. And once again, both teams have stabilized. Dampening's kicked in. We're at around 4%. Morgan now taking a little bit of burst damage with the Cyclone onto Donnie, but he should be just fine.
Yep, that shield absorbing a huge hit there as Norgan survives another crowd control chain. But as we move into dampening, the healing will be lower and lower as we can see pressure starting to mount here for Fake Zebras. They need to pull a big defensive cooldown off the back of this, but they're not able to find it, unfortunately. Now the Incarnation is going to be what they need to push for a cooldown. They need to position a bit better. Donnie's able to stay at the pillar. Root Solar Beam, Norgan moves over, freedoms him out, but it was a couple seconds late. Donnie's a little bit behind. He's trying to pump out some heals, manages to pick his team back up. I'd love to see Corki reposition, but it looks like he's just going to stay aggressive, looking for Cyclones. That Incarn timer coming up in 7 seconds. Corki has to get a big defensive with this. If he does not, I don't think they're going to survive deep enough into dampening for them to find a kill.
Yeah, Fiedler Gaming has to respond appropriately to the situation. Disarm on Donnie now. He's falling behind. Zot getting a lot of pressure out. Very nicely done. Looking for the VTs once again. Donnie repositions his portal, so he has a very safe positioning right now. Can always port out of line of sight if he needs to, stabilizing his team's HP. And mana still looking terrific for Donnie. Lone Tar still falling a little bit behind, but he's managed to stabilize as well. 10% dampening. Triple stun coming out with the bash onto Donnie, as well as the cap stun onto Artesia and Norgan. But Norgan and Artesia seem to be just fine in this situation. Full Cyclone onto Donnie. Artesia realizing he might be in a little trouble, positioning out of line of sight for a second, but wants to get back into the thick of things. Corki, that was his Incarnation, and they really didn't pull out too many defensives.
They got Astral Shift from Artesia, but it's surprising that they're actually switching to him. Now they're trying to go after Norgan and pull Divine Shield, but they may have ran out of damage. Do they have enough to put him over the edge? A double stun under the DPS is denying a bit more burst. Not able to finish the job really here. Now Norgan is reversing with his huge offensive cooldown, trying to dig in deep and find a kill on Zot. Not able to do it, unfortunately. Lone Tar still maintaining his mana quite effectively as we move deep into dampening. So Artesia is now the kill target for Fake Zebras. They have an opening right now with a Cyclone on Donnie. Can they keep the chain going? Another Cyclone. They need more crowd control, but Artesia can just immediately Ghost Wolf. He's running away, knowing this is the win condition and trying to avoid damage. Now they switch to Donnie instead. Maybe that's a way for Fake Zebras to get a surprise kill on the Fiedler Gaming.
Yeah, Corki taking a little bit of damage. Lone Tar not caught by surprise, though, able to easily top him off. Donnie once again dispelling the VT Cyclone over onto Artesia. Do they have any follow-up crowd control for Donnie? It doesn't look like it just yet. There's a Hammer of Justice onto Lone Tar. Cyclone on Norgan. Nice triple CC coming in from Fake Zebras. Really trying to pressure down Artesia, but they just can't find the damage. They're getting the setups, but they just don't have enough damage to push through Fiedler Gaming's off heals at this time. There's another Cyclone over on Donnie. Artesia still getting bursted down. Has his Astral Shift coming up in around 5 seconds, and he's going to be completely fine.
Double leg sweep. Good crowd control from Fiedler Gaming as they strike back, but Zot immediately recovering through that onslaught. Norgan is finally starting to rot down. We're at 21% healing reduction at this point, so I don't think the hybrids are going to be able to handle this heat for much longer. Artesia retreating away, and this is why the Enhancement Shaman isn't the best target. He's way more mobile than the Rep Paladin. He can escape back behind the boxes and avoid pressure. They should have been going after Norgan earlier on. Now they're falling behind. They're losing all the momentum. Zot's getting bursted down. This could easily be Dispersion. Dispersion gets forced out. Did they get Lone Tar into more crowd control? Zot could still be in trouble. He's retreating back. I like the positioning from him, dragging Donnie now into the middle of the map. The potential Cyclones, but Zot is still just under fire as healing is reduced onto both sides. Can Lone Tar handle the heat?
Yeah, he's going to have to cast out those heals, manage to land some onto Zot. Zot trying to find the pressure. Norgan and Artesia falling behind a little bit as well. There's a silence onto Donnie. Disarm onto Norgan. Like you said, Sid, they need to swap targets, and they're doing it. A little bit of pressure onto this Rep Pally, but he found his target. He's going to be all over Zot, trying to continue this pressure, but it can be very difficult as dampening gets higher and higher to tank through this wizard damage.
We see Donnie getting crowd control, opts to use his trinket, so now with no trinket on the healer, that's a big opening. If Fake Zebras can stay alive for another 20 seconds, that Incarnation has to get a kill. I don't think they're going to live to another one after this. So Corki needs to be patient for it and set it up perfectly. If he just pulls the trigger with no crowd control, he's not going to find a kill. They're trying to force a cooldown before it with dampening and assisting them now. They're not finding it though. Norgan retreats away, back around the corner, healing himself back up. They need to line up perfect crowd control. Donnie knows it's coming. He's retreating back to the boxes to avoid it. Artesia getting pressured. I still think he's the wrong target. Donnie pre-life cocoons the incoming Cyclone on this incarnation. Great move from Donnie, but they managed to cut through it. Artesia is on the run, and this is why I think he's the wrong target. He's way more mobile. He's able to escape back to the boxes. Norgan's going to be backing him up. Now they swap to Donnie, though. They left him behind. He's got his portal in the middle of the map. That's a huge mistake. Fake Zebras capitalized with an amazing swap in these final seconds. If they didn't get a kill there, they were easily going to be losing this game in another 2 minutes.
What a swap!
W. Campbell, as it is a cemetery, will Fake Zebras be sending Fiedler Gaming to the grave? We're about to find out.
Yeah, we definitely will. This is a difficult game for Fiedler Gaming. They really only have one interrupt to work with. If they interrupt Zot on the Master Spell on all the CC on Lone Tar, then unfortunately Corki gets to free cast. So I don't know the strategy Fiedler Gaming really needs to implement, because all three targets from Fake Zebras are such a threat with their casted spells.
I feel like Fiedler Gaming just need to all in Lone Tar, especially on Runes of Lordaeron. This is the healer training map, and right now they're falling behind though. Artesia is not dispelling this Hex. He's rooted out of line of sight. Artesia is trying to get in line of sight, but he can't squeak in time. He's dipping low. Donnie has to trinket, and suddenly his healer and the balance are both far behind on cooldowns. Norgan is trying to make a play, going for a solo kill on Lone Tar. Does he have enough damage? Artesia trying to back him up, but not able to. Corki peels for Lone Tar, allowing him to recover through that initial assault. Fiedler Gaming definitely falling heavily behind now in this match.
Yep, big victory for Fake Zebras very early on. Now a silence on Adoni. Artesia getting lower and lower. He doesn't really have any defensives. Can they take him down here and now? Norgan drops out the darkness. That's going to be preventing all of that incoming damage. Artesia should survive, but this is so much pressure and momentum coming in from Fake Zebras.
I mean, they have to go for the all-in strategy, which means they need to be laser focused on defense, but they've already blown through their entire defensive arsenal in less than a minute. They're just floating on air at this point. They're hiding on the tombstone. Corki is just raining down terror, able to free cast. Donnie makes a move, trying to make something happen here with a Cyclone onto Norgan. Lone Tar gets life gripped away from the leg sweep and then feared on it. Donnie's chasing Lone Tar for it, now gets root beamed on it. Donnie completely shut down.
Artesia's all alone. He's going to be line of sighting though, realizing the situation. Nice Hex dispel onto Donnie, and Donnie's going to be able to top him off more than likely. Lone Tar in a nice defensive position, knowing that he is most likely the target they want to go for. Now the Cyclone coming in from Corki, just controlling all three members of Fiedler Gaming. Now full Cyclone onto Donnie once again. Zot looking for the damage. Stun over onto Artesia. Do they have the burst? He's at that pillar. He might be able to line of sight a little bit here. Should be able to survive, but a nice setup coming in from Fake Zebras.
Yeah, good setups. Mana is basically even at this point. Defensive cooldowns are cycling up for Artesia. He will have Boomkin to survive. Another setup similar to what has just occurred. Lone Tar caught in crowd control, but he gets mass dispelled. Zot with great teamwork. Fake Zebras are just MVPs at dismantling Fiedler Gaming throughout this match. They definitely want to just clean sweep this and move on. Fiedler Gaming need to find a way to surprise the Zebras, or they're ultimately going to be going down as we see a swap over to Norgan. They could easily force another walk. He's dipping low. He's trying to be greedy, only using the blur instead. He's going to be able to, but Donnie panics a bit and uses Life Cocoon on top of it, and the defensive play from Fiedler Gaming is very shaky.
A little bit of an overlap from these guys. There's the root beam on Adoni once again. Artesia and Norgan, both good targets. Life Cocoon fades. He wasn't able to get any healing. Getting lower and lower. Both targets just so low. Who is Donnie going to keep alive? Looks like he tops off Artesia, but Norgan's still in a lot of trouble. May have made the wrong choice. Norgan going to have to activate that nether walk to survive.
They're all just hiding behind the tombstone. Fake Zebras have them pinned down. They just can't move. Artesia's trying to Cyclone up the Zot and slow down the pressure as they set up for some damage on Corki. Good setup here, actually, from Fiedler Gaming. They managed to pull a Barkskin at least. That's going to put them a little bit further ahead, but now they need to try and find more opportunity. They've got a root solar beam. Maybe this is what they needed, a little breather room back behind that tombstone to try and clean up their crowd control. Master Spell, though, gets Lone Tar out of that. He's going to be able to start spam healing Corki. Corki needs to be careful not to overextend. Donnie's now at a significant mana disadvantage, however, moving into the rest of this game as Fake Zebras keep squeaking ahead.
Yeah, look at this, though. Corki has Incarnation. No one has the trinket on Fiedler Gaming. They just need one clean setup, and they can easily take someone down with that Boomkin damage. Corki pulls the trigger, a lot of pressure on Norgan. Only into the full root beam as well. Norgan has to be able to survive. He's kiting away a little bit, doing some damage, trying to get those heals off Artesia with a nice defensive Cyclone, slowing down some of the damage coming in from Fake Zebras. Should be enough to keep Norgan alive, only out of that crowd control, but his mana is not looking good, Sid.
Good crowd control here from Fiedler Gaming. They got Corki isolated, but Artesia is getting pressured. He's trying to retreat back behind the pillar with Donnie. Donnie with a quick pick-me-up. Zot not overextending just yet. Norgan now getting pressured as they swap over. No trinkets available. This is the win condition. Will Norgan go down? Donnie barely catches catches the Dispel. Darkness immunes the incoming damage. Norgan will hang on by a thread, but Donnie is still crowd controlled. That darkness is going to be ending. Norgan trying to retreat back to the tombstone. Stunning up Zot, Cyclonium, but dipping dangerously low. Life Cocoon in the nick of time to save the day as Fiedler Gaming scramble to stay alive.
Yep, they managed to stay alive one more time. Fake Zebra's just one game away. If they win this match, they're knocking Fiedler Gaming out of the tournament, so they have to make some plays here. Oregon doesn't really have too many offensives coming up. TJ still has that incarnation, so they do have an opportunity to find some pressure, but I don't know who they go after. Everyone from Fake Zebras seems so rock solid in terms of defensive. They really haven't been able to make anything happen in this game so far. All the pressure on the side of Fake Zebras.
And they need triple CC. They need an in cap on Corki, a stun on Zot, and then a stun on Lone Tar and go all in. Right now, though, both healers in crowd control. It's a 2-on-2 between the DPS players. Incarn popped for Artesia, but he gets cycloned up. Now gets swapped over to Donnie. Norgan in trouble. He's going to jump over and actually swap to Lone Tar in midfield. He gets cycloned away. Donnie's falling behind on mana. This is starting to fall apart. Huge damage for Corki onto Artesia. He ducks behind the tombstone, barely catching a heal there from Donnie in the nick of time to stay alive. Cyclone defensively onto Zot, but this Incarn from Artesia is getting it's getting nothing done. And Lone Tar is able to hold on to big defensives to get aggressive later on. Norgan pulls the trigger, trying to get a miracle swap onto Lone Tar. Will it be enough damage to take him down? Artesia gets cycloned away from Corki and Lone Tar survives. Fake Zebras are just all over this match, preventing any openings.
Yeah, nice swap over on a Corki. He activates the Bark Skin to reduce some of that incoming damage. Like we said, Donnie's mana is not looking too good in this situation. Artesia, he has no Bark Skin, no renewal. If they can get some CC on a Donnie, Artesia is definitely going to be a good target for them. Corki and Zot looking for the damage. Nice Cyclone coming in from Artesia. He's playing a little bit defensive in this situation. Dampening has kicked in. Silence on a Donnie. Disarm onto Norgan. Nice little setup. Really couldn't find too much pressure. Donnie's having a difficult time topping off Norgan. He actually gets Cyclone. Nicely done by Corki. Now they can find the CC on a Donnie and just prevent any of that incoming healing.
All right, big hit coming for Corki in 27 seconds. Will they be able to execute a kill? There's trinkets available, so Fiedler Gaming have options here to survive. It should be unlikely that they go down unless they make a mistake. They're already rotting low. If they can pull defensives, Norgan is just hiding behind that cart. Good defensive positioning, realizing his healer's crowd controlled. But Donnie opts to trinket anyway. Now there's an opening for the incarnation of Corki. They could even go after Donnie. Both members rotting down. It's open field for Fake Zebras. They can take anybody out in these next coming seconds. Who are they going to go for? They've got Norgan paused at low health. He's not getting healed up just yet. Donnie trying to sneak in some heals. Will he be able to catch it in time? Norgan just dipping lower and lower. Corki's just ready and waiting. He's got Incarn. They stun up. Double crowd control here from Fake Zebras. Star Surge is crashing in. Norgan survives, but they overlap with Netherwalk and Life Cocoon. Donnie falling behind on mana. Defensive cooldown overlaps, and unless there's some sort of miracle mistake from Fake Zebras, they're going to walk away with this.
Yeah, they can take advantage of the fact that they keep overlapping defensive cooldowns. Artesia now getting bursted down as well. Down to around 50%. He's going to be line of sighting with the tomb right now. Norgan trying to find some pressure over on the Lone Tar. Lone Tar casting out some lightning balls there over onto Norgan, getting out that pressure, really just deflecting and not respecting the damage coming in from Fiedler Gaming. Norgan still in a lot of trouble. Double leg sweep coming in from Donnie to slow down that damage. Keep Norgan alive. Very nicely done, but Donnie, he's run out of time. He's run out of mana. 15% dampening. It's only a matter of time. They need to make something happen or their lives are running out.
All right, Artesia trying to peel for his team. Gets wind sheared. Good shutdown there from Lone Tar. They need to keep this momentum. They get Donnie locked in crowd control. Artesia in center field, stunned up. This could just be any trinkets. Renewals trying to stay alive. He's going to hang on for now. They make a swap over to Zot. Unless he makes a mistake, he should be able to survive here, but he is under a lot of pressure. He trades out Dispersion. That's going to slow down the incoming damage. He's going to hang on a little bit longer. What can Donnie do in this position? No mana left. Basically no defensives as well. He's doing his best with nothing at this point. If they can hang on, it would be an absolute miracle at this point. Fake Zebras, though, they're almost on the ropes. Lone Tar getting very low on mana at this point. Dampening starting to ramp up to a huge amount of healing reduction. This game could end at any moment.
Yeah, Lone Tar getting lower and lower. Drops the Earthen Shield Totem to deflect some of that damage. Artesia is really laying in, though, with this incarnation. Lone Tar still in a lot of trouble. Drops the Earthen Shield Totem. Drops the Ascendance. Nice ring of peace from Donnie, but unfortunately not getting the job done. Lone Tar was able to camp out that entire Earthen Shield Totem, reducing all of that incoming damage. Norgan now down to around 50% HP with the silence on Donnie. There's the disarm. Here's all the pressure coming in from Fake Zebras. Can they take him down? Nice Cyclone on Donnie as well. Norgan all alone in this situation. Artesia flailing to keep him alive. Life Cocoon comes in the nick of time to keep him alive.
Yeah, but dampening, it's not that big of an absorb, and Norgan is still low. Lone Tar is low as well. This could end up going down to a cross kill if they can stay aggressive. They're going after Zot. No dispersion. Root Beam is secured. Good crowd control from Fiedler Gaming. They've been scrambling all match. flash, but they might be able to set up a miracle. Corki's Cyclone is actually DR'd. Norgan's going to be free. Huge Blade Dance, tons of damage. Zot hiding behind the pillar. Lone Tar still locked up in a Cyclone. Now into a leg sweep. Great crowd control. Fiedler Gaming are looking to try and close. Life swap over to Corki will allow Zot to hang on a bit longer. Now Donnie's completely tapped. His entire team is rotting down. Dampening is at such a critical mass. Lone Tar has no defensives as well. They swap to him. Norgan drops the darkness. He's hanging on by a thread. Artesia as well. Who is going to fall at this point? I can't call it. Too close.
Silence on Donnie. Artesia still low. Lone Tar getting low as well. Drops the Earthen Shield Totem once again to start onto Donnie. Artesia just doing everything he can. Line of sighting. Regrowth spam onto him. He's out of fire right now, but still those dots really laying in. Corki managed to land the beam. Sorry. A lot of burst pressure coming in. Ultimately, that will seal the deal with that interrupt from Corki, but very well fought from Fiedler Gaming.
Fiedler Gaming in the last seconds there too, starting to make the impossible. Or will Steel Cap Red start to get their road to BlizzCon online in the Grand Arena?
Yep, Feral Druid of Cassidy and Mystic on that Warrior is going to be doing a ton of damage here. Method Black has to play a solid game of defense. Luckily for them, they have Chaz and Raikou, Frost Mage, Resto, Druid combo. A lot of crowd control going to be available for Method Black. They need to kind of stall out, create setups, whereas Skill Cap Red, they need to survive those setups, and eventually they will out pressure.
Cassidy catches Waz very early on, overextended, tons of damage bursting in early on. Waz barely hangs on. Looks like he's going to be able to survive. Cassidy now switching targets to Raikou to try and switch it up and make Chaz fall behind. He's got to put HOTS onto 2 members of his team. You can see Cassidy getting peeled away. Zuniaki caught into a blind. I'm curious to see if they just automatically trade Trinket for this. Zuniaki's playing it patiently due to Cassidy's nice maneuver here. He preemptively walled the stun, so he reduced all that damage and was able to tank it out perfectly.
And you can see Method Black, they're actually playing double Dark Iron Dwarf in this matchup, so they're going to be able to remove all of those bleeds, and that's going to empower their damage as well. One of the new races in battle for Azeroth, so it's nice to see Method Black sort of implement those strategies, and I think it's a very effective pick against what Skill Cap Red is bringing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they knew they had Cassidy as a Feral Druid, and Dwarves in general are very powerful versus them, so they're trying to stack them. Right now, it looks like they're just playing for the late game, crowd controlling up Cassidy and Mystic. We see a swap now to Zuniaki. They caught him out of bear forming. Barkskin's right away. Hopefully that's going to be enough for him to survive the stun lock, and it does appear to be the case as he bounces back. Cassidy's throwing out some off heals there as well. Good backup. Both these teams seem to be quite durable against each other. I can expect it's going to be a long match unless they catch Waz off guard, potentially in the Stormbolt. Chaz getting interrupted. Good crowd control. Waz able to tank it out though with a nice Iron Bark time from Chaz. Waz now swapping to Cassidy into this stun lock. He did not free wall this, so Zuniaki's trying to pick him back up. Seems to be having an easy time. Now Cassidy getting cloned at low health as they switch to Mystic.
Yeah, it looks like Raiku's just going to be building up some damage. One thing Method Black really has to do in this matchup is they have to get the cross crowd control on Cassidy. If Cassidy can free heal these swaps, he's going to be able to provide a lot of healing for his team. A nice big swap over onto Zuniaki once again, but they have the heals. Looks like he should be okay. Incarnation Tree of Life is going to be activated, allowing Zuniaki to have that instant healing. He's going to be able to survive. Barkshoe's going to be coming off cooldown, still has the trinket, so Skill Cap Red, they're doing fine. In the meantime, Waz taking quite a bit of burst.
Zuniaki didn't save Innervate for Tree of Life, which is super mana inefficient when you're using regrowth, so he's going to fall behind on mana, not lining those cooldowns up. We see another blind play from Waz. I'm curious if he's playing the reduced cooldown, and that's why Zuniaki doesn't want to trinket unless he absolutely has to, or else he'll get caught in a minute 30 blind, which is 30 seconds faster than your trinket. You can imagine that might be the case. Mystic leading the charge, jumping into battle stance, chopping up Waz, manages to soak it with a huge absorb. I'm curious to see if he's maybe running a tank trinket or something to get that absorb, because no one on their team should be able to shield Waz, so he might be running a unique trinket there to try and be more durable.
Yeah, maybe an Azerite trait we really haven't seen too much from. There's a stun on a Cassidy once again. He gets a huge absorb as well. I kind of wonder what that is. Cassidy's going to be very durable because of it. Nice Cyclone though from Chaz, going to be slowing down any incoming healing from Zuniaki. Nice Iron Bark activated by him as well, but now Cassidy could be a little bit susceptible in this situation. Another interrupt over onto Chaz into a maim. Waz still the target of choice. Mystic and Cassidy trying to punish. Big damage onto Waz. Rogues aren't going to be nearly as tanky without the spammable feint in BFA, so I think going on to Waz and really pressuring him is a good option for Skill Cap Red.
Yeah, Zuniaki though is falling more and more behind with every passing moment, and as we move deeper into dampening, that's going to be a huge disadvantage. He is trying to sneak away a drink, but doesn't want to risk it. Stands back up right away to start healing Cassidy. He has to be careful of Kleptomania from a Mage. He can steal all those heal over time effects. The Druid spends a long time putting onto a target, and so if he goes for a drink, Raikou can just snap, steal all of the HOTS, and then follow up with a ton of damage. damage, and Zuniaki can fall behind and almost immediately lose in that moment. So for him to drink is very stressful. He's still trying to do it. He knows this is going to be going into a long game. He's trying to sit down for a drink. Waz needs to set up some punish for this. Doesn't seem like they're able to find it. He's actually the one under fire. He stuns up Cassidy. Raikou not able to line up too much damage. Mystic going for a fear defensively to buy time for Zuniaki to get more mana, but doesn't seem like he was actually able to get any mana from all of that time he spent basically doing nothing, and that's going to put him way far behind. Yeah,
it's a bit of a waste of fear as well. It's a big investment to make into getting your healer some mana. Unfortunately, like you said, didn't pay off. Big damage on Raikou now. He blinks away to safety. He's going to be retreating to his Resto Druid. If Chaz can land any Cyclones onto Cassidy or Mystic, Skill Cap Red is going to lose a lot of that pressure. You can see Waz now looking for a little bit of damage on Zuniaki. He manages to find the full gouge. Stun now onto Mystic, but Method Black just can't find the burst damage we normally see from them. Mystic, Cassidy, and Zuniaki seem to be very, very tanky in this matchup.
Seen a couple sneaky hibernates from Chaz. So Hibernate makes a return in for Battle for Azeroth, and against Druids, they shapeshift into animal forms, which you can cast Hibernate on and crowd control them for an extended period of time. Zuniaki got caught in that earlier on. Cassidy getting bursted down, trades out the shield, absorbing a lot of this incoming pressure, basically nullifying the entire setup. Zuniaki, though, getting caught into a clone. Chaz has really been on fire with crowd control, but unfortunately just not able to nail enough damage on the back of it, and they look to need dampening to really end this. Chaz getting bursted down in a swap. He's opting to not trade out any cooldowns. This is a greedy move from him. He's trying to escape to safety. Mystic not able to get on target. They're immediately going after Waz, who makes a swap now over to Zuniaki, gouging him, stunning up Cassidy. Cassidy gets in Bear, Cyclone on Mystic. He should be durable enough to tank this out. Now finally moving into dampening, things are going to start to get interesting.
Yep, Cassidy taking a little bit of burst damage from Raikou once again. He's basically just been turreting Frostbolts this whole game, really trying to pick his moment for that burst when Waz can land those critical stuns and they can get that crowd control that they need. Disarm now over onto Mystic once again. Waz taking a little damage, controlling up everybody. Here's a stun on Zuniaki. This is the setup I was talking about. Do they have the damage to pull through? Cassidy gets interrupted. Very nicely done. That is the exact setup Method Black needed. They needed the counterspell on Cassidy, the stun lock on Zuniaki, who trinketed out way too late, and they found that Frost Mage
to be done. Method Black versus Skill Cap gonna have our attention. Method Black gonna lead by 1.
Yep, you still got to keep your eyes open because this game could end in an instant with both these teams bringing heavy burst damage. It does seem to be the case that sustained damage isn't too valuable in this current meta. Cassidy in stealth, hiding in the corner as Waz is trying to find him. He's ultimately not going to, though, in this far corner as Cassidy moves over. It's really an opener between the stealth classes. Waz got found in the first game and bursted down quite heavily. If Cassidy gets found, he can get erased as well. Raikou is now out of stealth. Cassidy's ready to pounce, opening up onto Raikou. Mystic trying to follow up, gets Frost Nova. He's going to Blade Storm to stay on target. Waz actually standing on top of Zuniaki. He manages to get a sap. Zuniaki was expecting to get opened on. Waz played that patiently, waiting for him to drop combat. That's a free crowd control, but a fear from Mystic breaks up the initial attack.
Yeah, very nicely done. Cassidy should be completely fine. There's a Bash Cyclone onto Zuniaki. Cassidy could still be in a little bit of trouble, but there's a Stormbolt on Waz. Big pressure coming in from Skill Cap Red early on, but a Disarm will slow down Mystic. Nicely done. Both teams playing very defensive early on. Bash onto Chaz. Raikou seems to be a good target. He's just going to be kiting away right now. Mystic all over Waz. Cassidy doing a little pressure onto Raikou, but both teams are sort of stabilized. Nice little swap onto Cassidy right now, but he immediately gets topped off.
And Cycloned, trying to just delay it out as Raikou is just building up Icicles, casting Frostbolt, saving that damage for a potential swap later on. Waz still has heavy hitting cooldowns available for a swap. They're trying to bait Zuniaki into the open. Waz jumps over for the swap. This is going to be the strategy for Method Black. Will Mystic be able to save him in time? Cassidy gets hibernated. Great crowd control from Chaz, removing the second healer. Zuniaki, though, survives the stun, connects Renewal, and stays alive throughout this assault, but that still wasn't Waz's heaviest hit. That was just a little tickle. Now the next stun could potentially put him over the edge.
Yeah, Waz getting swapped to here, but no real damage found. Nice full blind over on a Zuniaki. They're trying to bait out that trinket. He realizes that if he has no trinket, no Barkskin, he's going to be very susceptible. Sits the entire blind, no follow-up sap, no follow-up CC for Method Black, which is something we rarely see. And Zuniaki wasn't going to fall for that bait. Mystic's going to be completely fine. Method Black already committed all of their damage. Raikou has to spend a lot of time waiting for the Frozen Orb, waiting for the Comet Storm, getting those Frostbolts up to build up that damage. If he doesn't have that available, Skill Cap Red can play it very safe, but another big swap over on a Zuniaki. Raikou trying to get in line of sight to get some damage out, but it seems like he's going to be fine. There's a Blade Storm, a little bit of pressure, but Zuniaki gets out of the stun and manages to survive.
And Waz actually pulled the trigger there on Plunder, but he got broken up on the damage by Cassidy stunning him, forcing a trinket, and then able to follow up with more off healing. So the heaviest hit from Waz is now out of the way. Zuniaki's team can play a lot more aggressive. It seemed like they were waiting for that threat to go away before they wanted to make a move, but Mystic is just having a hard time staying on target. Warrior versus Frost Mage, not going to be the most fun for the Warrior, sitting through so many Frost Nova roots. Waz just building up combo points, Raikou building up icicles, trying to stall out the game for another swap to Zuniaki, but without that heavy hit, they're going to be on the back foot for quite some time.
Yeah, Raikou still has a lot of damage available at his disposal. If they can get another swap on his Zuniaki, might be able to pressure him down. Resto Druid just has so much effective healing, and that's really why Method Black, they need to be looking for these swaps on Zuniaki. They kind of realize that damage committed to Cassidy on Mystic without a huge amount of crowd control on Zuniaki is going to be very ineffective. Now a bash over onto Chaz. Cassidy looking like he wants to get some damage going there. Mystic connecting over onto Waz, putting him into the stun, doing a little bit of damage, but everyone seems to be fine.
All right, swap onto Waz, already down to half HP, trades out that absorb trait to soak up some damage. Iron Bark reducing the pressure, so they switch targets. I like this swap from Skill Capped, realizing they're not going to cut through that defense. Switch targets, soften another one up, force Chaz to spend more mana. Zuniaki, though, is ultimately the one actually falling very far behind, caught into a blind right now. Triple crowd control for Method Black as they set up for a potential kill. They get the sap out of the blind. Cassidy still caught in a stun lock. Where's the damage? They need it now. Frozen Orb gets placed down. We see the killing spree, tons of pressure. Cassidy dipping lower and lower. Zuniaki caught into the bash. Still triple crowd control. A Cyclone at low health as Method Black. No, they don't have enough damage to time the rest of this kill out. They're trying to keep Zuniaki on his toes, but doesn't seem to be enough to push Cassidy over the edge. Now Skill Capped Red reversing the assault, holding Waz at 50%. Chaz trying to recover, but he's caught in center field. He could get swapped to. He's in a dangerous position right now. Cassidy interrupting him, but not going to follow up with too much pressure.
It seems like Skill Capped Red, they're trying out a different strategy. Mystic on Waz. Cassidy trying to get some pressure on Chaz, but it just seems so difficult with the positioning that Chaz has, pulling him behind the pillar. That really makes Cassidy susceptible to these big swaps if he's out of position. So the split strategy doesn't seem to be most effective right now. Mystic really just struggling to find the damage. Waz leaps over. Zuniaki kind of realizing the situation. Raikou trying to get in line of sight. Uses the double blink. A lot of damage onto Zuniaki right now. Can he survive? Barkskin gets traded out. Cassidy coming in clutch with a heal. Zuniaki survives.
It was a bit of a mistake from Zuniaki. The grappling hook didn't go all the way around the corner. Zuniaki had time to get in bear form, and because he didn't, he had to trade Barkskin on that exchange. So that was a bit of a mistiming there. So Resto Druid, when you see a melee running at you, you immediately want to get in bear form as soon as possible, and Zuniaki just didn't see it coming, and he has to trade a powerful defensive because he wasn't ready for it. Now he's going to fall behind. Crowd control chain being initiated by Method Black with two members locked down. Cassidy going to be the primary target for now, but not too much damage really forcing him back. He's just able to stay aggressive on Waz. Zuniaki now out of crowd control, can freely heal. They swap to Mystic. They Cyclone up Cassidy. Method Black still trying to keep them on their toes. Mystic now popping Avatar, trying to build up some pressure towards Waz. Really trying to force a repose, but not forcing much of anything. Mana, however, has tied out, and now we're moving into dampening, and it's really still an even game.
You can see Chaz, though, looking for the drink, gets in stealth. Cassidy shuts that down, but compromises his position, has to trade out the trinket and the survival instinct to slow down Chaz's drink there. So that was a nice little bait from Method Black. They're able to get huge defenses from Cassidy, and that is a potential swap option for them if they can get a blind on Zuniaki. And another nice swap onto Cassidy. They could force a trinket from Zuniaki, leading to a kill later on him.
I really think it's important that we see some hybrid on Cassidy. There's a Cyclone, triple crowd control. Mystic is all alone in a 3-on-1. Method Black looking to close the game. Do they have enough damage to punch through? They continue the crowd control on the Zuniaki with the sap. He's trying to sit through it. He doesn't want to get crowd controlled on his trinket. They disarm Waz to try and deny the resap. They managed to do it, but these shields are just so powerful. That shield is literally 50% of their health. Anytime they have it, it seems like they're unlikely to go down, and it does look like all 6 members are playing with that trait. Chaz now caught into a bash, but he pre-bear formed it. Nice read from Chaz. There's going to be no opening there for Skill Capped Red to really punch through. The mana bars are going to be the main objective for both of these teams, I can imagine, moving forward, as both Druids are dipping now below half.
Cassidy still taking a little bit of damage. If any of the rest of Druids can drink, it's going to be huge for them, as we are in 10% dampening. Both are under 50% mana. There's a stun over on the Cassidy right now. Big burst damage coming in once again, but that shield going to be able to keep him alive. Bash on the Zuniaki. Do they have any follow-up CC? Nice polymorph coming in from Raikou. The Cassidy going to be completely fine with that shield that comes in, looking for line of sight, trying to get back in Zuniaki's LOS. Raikou seems to have run out of damage. There's a maim onto Chaz. Cassidy trying to put some bleeds up on him, pressure him down a little bit. Nice little swap over on a Mystic. In the meantime, Mystic just just peeling up Waz, trying to make his life a nightmare with the Stormbolt, with the hamstring, but ultimately not finding too much pressure.
Right. I think the first team to force Tree of Life is going to be the team that wins this. Whoever can hold it the longest into a deep dampening push to recover is the Druid that's going to come out ahead. Right now, both Druids have it available, so it's up to either team to force it. Cassidy makes a huge ferocious bite swap onto Chaz. Chaz trinkets out of the stun, ducking for cover out of line of sight. These swaps from Cassidy have been very deadly, and one more could catch them a win. Cassidy now getting cycloned up. Zuniaki running low on mana. Dampening ramping up. The healing going to be reduced more and more. Waz grappling hooks over. Zuniaki in line of sight, any potential swappage there. He's going to deny it. Cassidy getting bursted. He goes for another swap to Chaz, caught in the Stormbolt. They're all connecting. Disarm gets applied to Mystic. A stun on Cassidy. Triple crowd control. Now Method Black strike back. Cassidy trinkets out. Trades out Survival Instincts. He's going to survive as Zuniaki sitting through a blind into a poly. Will this Survival Instincts be enough for Cassidy to hang in there? He's dipping lower and lower. Jumps over. Stuns the re-polymorph. Will that be enough? No. Waz gets a sap. Perfect crowd control chain. Another Survival Instincts is forced, but there's still more crowd control. Zuniaki has to trinket. Will he be able to avoid the Cyclone? Ducks out of line of sight. Cassidy stuns up Chaz, but that was the entire defensive arsenal from Skill Capped Red in one setup attempt from Method Black. They are so far behind.
Yeah, Mystic now getting swapped to. Method Black isn't done yet. Still keeping the pressure up. Zuniaki in a good position right now to keep his team alive, but running out of mana. Chaz not doing so well on mana either. Mystic still just taking this damage in the middle of the map. Cassie making a swap over on Raikou, trying to do some damage. Nice split strategy once again coming in from Skill Cap Red, trying to just slow down the damage of Method Black. Stun onto Waz, but Chaz deflects it with the Iron Bark to keep Waz alive.
All right, I mean, at this point, I feel like it's Method Black's game. They've got 2 trinkets out of the way, no defensive cooldowns really to stay alive. As long as they get a clean setup, I think they're going to be able to take Cassidy out. He's caught in center field right now. He's getting softened up. He's already down to 70%. Zuniaki trying to pick him back up. They can even swap to Zuniaki, knowing that Cassidy is exposed as likely to target. Waz gets stunned up, pre-fainted. Will that be enough durability for him to hang on? It looks like Chaz is lining up some clutch regrowth. Looks like he actually managed to get a drink at some point in this game as well. Zuniaki now trying to do the same. They need to reset their mana bars, but they see him going for a drink. They go for a kill. They're going to trade that any day. Cassidy survives, though, the stun lock with Iron Bark. Now he's starting to stabilize. He's trying to get aggressive on Chaz. They catch him 2 seconds away from that trinket. Will he go down? He trinkets 1 second left on it. He does not want to risk throwing the game. They're so far ahead, but now with no trinket and no Barkskin, he is a huge opening for them as both teams have a massive win condition.
Yeah, Waz getting lower. Still has the evasion or the parry. As well as the feint available to him. Big swap now over onto Cassidy with the blind onto Zuniaki. Cassidy getting lower. There's the follow-up zap. Cassidy, can he get away? Caught into the stun once again. Just going to be line of sighting, try to avoid some of this damage. Nice defensive veer coming in from Mystic to slow down Waz and Chaz. Cassidy might be able to survive. There's the Tree of Life you were talking about, Sid. Zuniaki should be able to keep Cassidy alive, but at 30% dampening, this is so scary for both teams.
And because he used it first, Chaz can use his Tree of Life aggressively later on. He may have to use it right now. Waz trades out Riposte instead. Dampening mounting up to a critical mass. 30% healing reduction in this game. It's going to be ending very quickly. Cassidy pre-survival instincts as both of his teammates are locked down in crowd control, but they baited Cassidy into the middle of the map. He's very exposed. Zuniaki's going to have to run out in the middle soon to try and heal him up, and if Waz swaps over, they could catch a kill there as well. Cassidy using the Stampede, trying to get Mystic more mobile as they set up a swap, but they gets peeled away by Waz. Great peel. Chaz pre-bear forms to stun. Excellent moves from Chaz to survive that attack. Zuniaki is the one who's fallen so far behind in this match as Method Black just squeak further and further ahead. Chaz fake casting the Skull Bash. Now he can free cast Cyclones. Method Black can get really aggressive getting that Skull Bash out of the way. Chaz is crossing the map potentially for more Cyclones. If they can get anything onto Zuniaki, this game is likely to end very shortly. Mystic in crowd control. Zuniaki moves in. Chaz moves forward. Will Iron Bark be enough? I don't think so. Dampening is so high at this point. Cassidy barely retreating away, hanging on by a thread. Zuniaki still locked down. Raikou follows up. Cassidy still all alone, jumping back to the pillar, bashing the mage. Disarm on Waz as Cassidy is on the run, doing anything that he can to stay in this game just a little bit longer. He breaks up the chain. Zuniaki catches a heal, and Cassidy manages to hang on.
That was an amazing CC chain over on Zuniaki. With Cyclone into Clone on the Trinket, into Bash, into Polymorph, and somehow Cassidy manages to survive Skill Cap Red. They have to strike back. They have to continue this pressure on Waz. He has no defenses left whatsoever. They can continue this pressure. It could be very scary for Method Black with 40% dampening, but Chaz still has a lot of tools left in his defensive arsenal. There's another stun onto Cassidy. A little bit of pressure, but Zuniaki's not going to be getting stunned up. He's actually in stealth right now. Look, he's moving in for CC onto Chaz. He gets the bash. Does he have anything else? Looking for the Cyclone. Raikou surely has a counterspell available. Waz getting bursted down to around 40% HP. And this could be a nightmare for Chaz to recover from.
Yeah, that was a huge sharpened blade on Waz, reducing healing even further onto the Rogue. Chaz does recover. He's still got Tree of Life. Zuniaki doesn't have that leverage. A minute until his is available. Chaz can play more aggressive as a result. He's sneaking in, looking for Cyclones. We see Bash on Zuniaki. Chaz is really the MVP, setting up to win the game potentially here. Looking to get a Cyclone. They go for a Poly instead. Mystic is disarmed. Cassidy in a 3-on-1. Will he fall to the pressure? Vortex back into the orb. Perfect play from Chaz. We see Ray of Frost being channeled. Do they have enough crowd control to keep it going? Waz now getting counter-pressured. Cassidy trying to set up for a win, but Zuniaki still locked down. Cassidy on the run. Waz just not able to stay on target. Cassidy doing whatever he can. The blind has now faded. Zuniaki can connect the heals. His Tree of Life is coming up in 20 more seconds. If Method Black can't close this out, they could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Waz getting a little bit low as well. We're almost at 50% dampening. Stun now over on the Cassidy. Zuniaki does not have Trinket available. If they can get one clean setup, like you were saying, they could take someone down. They just have to find the damage, but Waz is flailing to stay alive. That's the Iron Bark going to be committed by Chaz. If they have any follow-up damage, Incarnation coming up in 30 seconds for Cassidy. If they can survive that long, Waz is going to be a very scared Rogue. They just need to weather the storm a little bit longer. There's the gouge on the Zuniaki. Is there any follow-up? Doesn't look like it. Stun now on the Mystic, but Method Black really struggling to find the damage.
And Cassidy's just trying to bait Waz back behind the pillar into his clutches and try and burst him down, and Waz isn't really falling for that bait. Cassidy pulls the trigger earlier on, trying to stun Waz. Actually gets a Trinket. They stormbolt the Trinket. They try and cut through it. Dampening is so high. Chaz has no Iron Bark. Waz trades Cloak, but that's not going to do a lot to physical damage. Now they're reversing the pressure, but Zuniaki has Tree of Life. He likely needs to trade it out if there's any amount of damage, but Chaz moves in. He's trying to set up again. MVP plays with Cyclone Bash, crowd controlling the whole team by himself, but it's not enough. Cassidy trades out that Trinket shield to absorb the incoming pressure, but Chaz cyclones it at low health. Chaz has been completely on fire on this Resto Druid, but still not enough to end the game yet.
Yeah, Cyclone on Cassidy, Polymorph onto Mystic. That's the control we see from Method Black. At any time, they can just spam out those crowd controls. Now another setup over onto Cassidy. Zuniaki not in any crowd control, deflects this damage with that Iron Bark, but that is critical for Method Black to get through. They got through the Tree of Life as well as the Iron Bark. They need to survive a little bit longer, but Waz in so much trouble. Chaz gonna have to keep him alive. This is gonna tax his mana huge. They need to look for the Cyclones. They need to look for the Polymorphs to keep Waz alive just a little bit longer.
Zuniaki timed his Tree of Life with Innervate there. That was critical for him to keep on to whatever little mana that he's got left, as we're moving to what could be potentially the highest dampening that we've ever seen in the history of World of Warcraft. At this point, we can just take our bets. I'm almost thinking this could get up to 100%. I don't know. Like, both teams are just so durable. This shield trinket doesn't seem to be affected by dampening, so it absorbs still full value. Waz might need to use it here soon. He's dipping dangerously low. Will skill cap Red actually be able to close? He trades out Repose, trades out the shield, stays alive a little bit longer. Zuniaki Iron Barks to buy his team a little bit more time, but dampening is just mounting up so high. Mystic can't stay on target. Chaz has been getting Miracle Cyclones, denying any defensive cooldowns. Chaz is moving in. He's had enough of this. He's trying to get some crowd control. Cassidy tries to deny it. Raikou blinks into pressure as well. They get the Polymorph. Cassidy on the run. Mystic trying to back him up, but gets stunned up by Waz. Good crowd control from Method Black as we reach 60% dampening. Waz now caught into a stun. He's not trinketing. He's not trinketing. That's a greedy play from Waz. He's put even more behind, but now they reverse it.
Yeah, big damage over on the Cassidy. Cyclone on Zuniaki, and this should be it. How is Cassidy still alive? Finally, Method Black will close out game number 2 at 62% dampening. Very well fought for Skill Cap Red, but unfortunately, Method Black.
We need you in the arena right now more than ever. Swifty. Skill Cap Red versus Method Black. And guys, I want to say one more time, this is huge for Skill Cap Red, an elimination series, and they need this way more than Method Black. Method Black already going to BlizzCon. Will Skill Cap Red be able to start the reverse sweep right here, right now on Dalaran Sewers with their backs up against the wall?
Yeah, Method Black in this tournament, they're just looking to shatter people's dreams. They're already sitting comfortably on their throne from the summer finals. Up 2-0 against Skill Cap Red right now, showing dominating control in that last game to carry them to a victory. A little bit of damage now over on the Cassidy. Expect this game to be a little bit more high pressure. It's going to be more difficult for them to crowd control Adam Rex. We're going to have more CC from Adam Rex over on the Chaz. There's a bash. Trap
nice.
Eaten by Raikou. Very nicely done.
Great positioning from Raikou. That's going to allow their team to build up a lot of momentum. We see Cassidy getting Vortex downstairs. Adam Rex still getting bursted. Ray of Frost fully channeled with a Cyclone onto Zuniaki and a gouge onto Cassidy. Adam Rex now getting Vortex downstairs out of line of sight. Will he be able to survive? Perfect crowd control from Method Black, but they opt to just evacuate that situation, not even go for the kill. Now swapping targets. Cassidy has to trinket and trade survival instincts, and Skill Cap Red, they're really on the ropes right now. They're on match point, and they're already so far behind.
Yeah, Method Black is on fire. Zuniaki is going to be in a little bit of trouble if they get crowd controlled one more time. Adam Rex or Cassidy could surely fall. Waz eating that trap once again. Raikou and Waz just on fire all over Chaz, making it very difficult for Adam Rex to land that critical crowd control we normally see from Hunters, but this is just the high-level gameplay you can expect from Method Black.
I can imagine Adam Rex is running latent poison Azerite trade, so Serpent Sting over time will build up a stack, and then he can spend that stack to do a huge hit. And if they time that with Ferocious Bite at the same time, they can make somebody just erased from the game. So they still have that potential for a huge burst, but they need to stay alive to find it, and they've just been on the back foot this entire match. As Cassidy's trying to stop the poly, but he doesn't get it. Zuniaki's locked down. Adam Rex is basically in a 3-on-1. He has defensives. He's going to trade out the exhilaration, but now gets stunned up. Will he go down? There's a couple more seconds remaining. Zuniaki still locked out. Adam Rex on the run. Feign Deathing trying to fake his own death, but not able to get enough damage there for Method Black. Adam Rex survives. That was a very greedy play, but it was important that he holds on to that defensive. It's his only way to stop damage.
That was very clutch by Adam Rex, realizing that they really didn't have the damage to take him down. Now stunned over onto Waz. A little bit of pressure coming out there. Chaz deflects the situation with the Iron Bark, preventing some of that incoming damage, but now a big swap over onto Zuniaki. Frozen Orb gets committed as well. Zuniaki getting taken down. A big heal, though, coming in from Cassidy to keep him alive. Zuniaki trades out the Bark Skin, and that is a critical defensive that Method Black was able to get through.
I mean, Skill-Cap Red have been so far on the back foot that Cassidy still is Incarn. And Feral Druid wants to press Incarn as much as possible, and he just can't find any opportunity to do it. And Adam Rex is finally starting to get some cooldowns rolling. Who are they going to go after? It looks like he's going after Raikou, bursting him down to half HP, but he's got 2 ice blocks to work with to immune damage. I don't think Raikou is ultimately going to be the kill target. They swap over to Waz, but Raikou peels Adam Rex away. Chaz gets bashed up, but no follow-up. They basically haven't landed a trap on Chaz this entire game. Raikou eats the first one, Waz eats the second one. Finally a trap, but I think Chaz just accidentally marched into it. That trap is finally building momentum. And Skill-Cap Red, they're solidifying their position. They've got Iron Bark, they've got Trinkets now. They're feeling a little bit more confident. They need to get aggressive, but Chaz is just staying in their face, going for a bash, looking for potential Cyclones, gets interrupted, getting interrupted from Adam Rex, but they go for Blind instead. Zuniaki just not able to get anything going for his team. Ray of Frost fully channeled again onto Adam Rex. Is there going to be a sap from Waz? Doesn't look like it. Zuniaki breaks out of that crowd control. Nice flare to deny any sort of vanish play from Waz. Really good teamwork there. Skill-Cap Red just need to solidify the position and go back to the basics. Stun Chaz, trap Chaz, stun Waz, burst Waz, but they can't even get the basics going because Method Black have them on their toes.
Yeah, Cassidy getting bursted down a little bit here. There's another bash over onto Chaz. Do they have a follow-up Cyclone from Zuniaki? The problem is Raiku's always going to have that counterspell available. There's nothing else to really CS in this matchup except Cassidy's off heals, which he did there. You get a little bit of burst damage onto Adam Rex, but he seems to be completely fine with no CC onto Zuniaki. Big swap now coming in from Method Black onto Zuniaki. Does have the bar skin available, but Cassidy, you can see, spamming out the regrowths. They have to have crowd control on Cassidy, or Zuniaki is going to be completely fine with that feral off healing.
Yeah, it was only one member, too. Raikou really couldn't get in line of sight. Now they make a swap. Chaz moves in for a Cyclone. Chaz has been really on fire with the offensive plays in this series throughout. He's looking to be quite a threat on Resto Druid for the rest of the tournament. Usually we see Resto Druids only on defense, but Chaz is really getting a lot of crowd control, setting up huge kill moments for his team. Finally a trap on the healer, and finally a stun on the rogue. There's finally damage happening for Skill-Cap Red as Waz dips low. They need to do that just a couple more times, and they can close this out. They still have the potential to win.
Yeah, there's the bash on Zuniaki. Cassidy now getting swapped to no trinket, no survival instincts available. There's the Cyclone on Zuniaki. Doesn't want to have to trinket out of this. His hot sword carrying right now, keeping Cassidy alive. A lot of burst damage coming in from Method Black, though. Nice bash on the Chaz, denying any of those offensive Cyclones coming in. Another full trap. Now Waz could be in some trouble. He gets caught into the stun. Gets out. He uses the riposte to keep himself alive. Ultimately will survive as Chaz does get out of crowd control. But these are the setups we need to see from Skill-Cap Red if they want to get a victory.
2 traps in a row, 2 big cooldowns, but they might have wasted too much time getting to this point. Can they hang in there long enough to execute the kill? Waz just retreats back to the pillar. They're playing for the late game. They've got a huge mana advantage. Waz has no reason to run into the middle of the map. He's just going to stay next to Chaz and try and eat the freezing traps. I think Adam Rex ended up missing that one, so Chaz is going to reposition away from the boxes. Doesn't want to accidentally walk into that. Zuniaki trying to pre-hot his team, but he has to spend so much more mana because he has to heal 2 targets, whereas Chaz only has to heal the rogue. Double stun. Where's the trap? Adam Rex goes for the snipe. Waz tried to grab grappling hook and eat it. Couldn't get there in time. Perfect crowd control. Waz down to half. They managed to pull his trinkets. One more trap on Chaz could close this game out. Now Waz in the downtime trying to get some momentum, but really not finding it as Skill Cap Red have finally solidified their position, and they're finally executing the strategies correctly. And I think Skill Cap Red are actually going to take this now.
Yeah, big pressure on it. Adam Rex, Waz looking for something. Manages to land the sap on Zuniaki. Very nicely done, but do they have the damage? Cheap shot onto Cassidy, but Raikou not able to find any sort of burst damage. Finally, a little bit of damage can be connected. Chaz gets the Cyclone, follow-up CC on his Zuniaki. Cassidy's still a little bit low. Has his trinket, has his survival instincts. Doesn't opt to use either of those. They landed the CC on Zuniaki, but just didn't have damage to really follow up and force those key defensives.
All right. Adam needs to land a trap. Is he going to find it is the question. Cassidy cycloned up. He can't back him up. Raiku's polying as Method Black are trying to pause the game out, figure out who they want to go after, because at this point, everyone has a trinket. It's basically a complete reset. They need to try and force trinkets as soon as possible. Triple stun onto the enemy team, Method Black. Adam Rex needs to get a trap. He doesn't manage to get the trap. Raikou is hugging Chaz. He goes in for the grappling hook. Is Adam Rex going to be able to snipe the trap? He's not even going for it. Doesn't want to risk missing it there, I guess. Waz is still getting bursted down, though. If they just get the trap, Waz might have just died right there. They're just not able to find it. Cassidy gets interrupted on the off heals. Adam Rex caught into a stun. No damage really to follow up. Zuniaki hiding in the back corner. They know that they could swap to him as well. He doesn't want to leave that as an opening, so he's playing very far away from Waz. We see a stun onto him from Cassidy, but he gets cloned up. Chaz doing everything in his power to try and set something up for his team moving forward, but it seems that the momentum is swinging in favor of skill-capped Red more and more. Chaz is pushing forward to get on top of Zuniaki for a Cyclone. Zuniaki sees him coming, moves the other side of the box to avoid crowd control. Cassidy jumps over for a stun. There's the double stun. Adam Rex needs a trap, but Raikou blinks into it and eats the trap. Perfect timing from Raikou, and these trap denials are preventing skill-capped Red from closing this game out.
Yeah, they need the crowd control, and unfortunately Adam Rex just can't find it with the way Method Black is playing. There's a stun onto Adam Rex. Big damage coming in once again. There's a bash onto Chaz. Zuniaki denying any CC onto himself. Follow-up bash coming in from Chaz. Does he have the follow-up cycle? Looks like he does, but not enough damage onto Adam Rex and Cassidy. Finally, a little swap going out onto him, but he uses the survival instincts to deflect once again. He does have the incarnation as well. No real openings on Method Black, and if they keep denying these traps from Adam Rex, it's going to be a real struggle for Skill Cap Red to get a victory here.
Yeah, Method Black are finally getting momentum back in their favor as dampening is mounting up higher and higher. Adam Rex bursted down half. Zuniaki caught into a stun. Cassidy tosses out off heals, but it gets cloned on low health, denying the off heals from Cassidy. Waz switches targets, trying to bait Zuniaki to switch hots to him instead. There's the full blind now. Disarm onto Adam Rex, denying that aspect of the hawk pressure. He feigned death. He could duck out of line of sight of Raikou downstairs. I'm surprised to not see him do it already. He swaps to Waz, but then walks into a stun. Waz controlling the whole team by himself right now to try and finish the job, but it's not enough. Waz now will have to retreat away, but he's vortexed right back into position, but polys from Raikou are keeping him completely safe. Adam Rex needs to land a trap. They found their momentum in the mid game, but now they haven't landed a trap for at least over 2 minutes, and if they don't land the traps, they're not going to win the game, period. As a hunter, that's your win condition, and right now Raikou is just shutting it down. Chaz is standing in great positions. Waz denies it with stuns at the perfect time. We see an interrupt on Chaz. There's a stun onto Waz, but no crowd control on Chaz. They have to hit both members at the same time, or Chaz can easily heal through it. Looks like dampening might be playing into favor. Finally, a full trap secured. They need to pull a big defensive from Waz. He's on the run, though, to deny it.
Yeah, he's going to be kiting away when Chaz is into crowd control. One possible win condition for Skill Cap Red in this matchup is Zuniaki is actually ahead on mana, but Chaz sitting down, trying to close that gap in cat form right now. Cassie runs over. Big burst damage over on Adam Rex. Zuniaki trying to keep him stable. Still has the Iron Bark available to him. We're at 30% dampening right now. A little bit of pressure mounting for Skill Cap Red, though. Raikou and Waz both down to 50% HP. Chaz is going to have to play catch-up in this situation. Still has the Incarnation Tree of Life and the Iron Bark available, though, so Method Black should be completely fine.
Yeah, Raikou is still the target for Adam Rex. Cassidy was hitting 2 targets to try and catch Chaz off guard, but mana is falling more and more in favor of Method Black. Dampening, though, mounting up. It's going to become more difficult for either team to stabilize through big burst moments. Adam Rex in the stun. Cassidy in a clone. Zuniaki out of position and gets sapped. He gets sapped on the trinket. Waz looking to close this game out. Perfect play. Does he have a stun out of this? He's got a stun. Chaz moves in. They're looking to close out. Adam Rex has defenses. If he chokes, though, he might just go down without using them. Despite those amazing saps, it's just not enough. Adam Rex tanks it out and survives. Waz goes for a panic trap, or Adam Rex goes for a panic trap, but misses it. And right now, Skill Cap Red are just falling so far behind.
Yeah, Waz down to around 50% HP, though. Still, in the meantime, Skill Cap Red able to find a little bit of pressure here. There's the full blind onto Zuniaki. Do they have any follow-up CC? Cassidy in a lot of trouble. Uses survival instincts. Uses the trinket. Keep himself alive. Zuniaki not going to get crowd controlled anymore. Nice defensive cyclone coming in from Chaz to slow down those heals. And Zuniaki actually going going down for a drink. Big swap now over onto Adam Rex. He has the trinket. He has the turtle. Is he going to use it? Ironbark gets thrown up by Zuniaki, and Adam Rex is able to hold on with just the exhilaration. That was a nice punish coming in from Method Black to do damage to Adam Rex, but they really weren't able to force too much.
Both Druids are just trying to drink, and Chaz got the better of that exchange. He's back to almost 100% mana, much more than Zuniaki. Cassidy stunned out of line of sight. Huge misplay here. Cassidy overextends and throws the series. Method Black will be advancing 3-0.
And what did Method Black accomplish here, right? That's the big question. They just crushed their dreams. I mean, that's really what happened there. I mean, Method Black or be able to take it, or will making a movie be able to do it on the comp that we have seen them play so well on in the past.
Yeah, making a movie, they're going to be going hyper aggressive in this matchup with the Dark Archangel from Ratapai that we know and love. Making a movie, never afraid to take risks in this matchup. Acro actually going to be playing the assassination build, so he's going to have really good consistent damage, very scary burst with that Vendetta. I have to see if they can capitalize on it in this matchup.
Yeah, Ratapai's kind of made a name for himself as the aggressive priest. Even in a meta of tank trinkets, he's still locking in Dark Archangel, Disciplined Priest as they initiate an attack towards Zeepai. First team down already below half. Looney used his trinket in that exchange, and that wasn't even their final form. Making a move, we still have Vendetta for a massive punch later on. Blizzo trying to stay on target, actually going after Ratapai. Nice Hex on Maro. He's playing Relentless. That's a good punish on that trinket choice. Ascendance gets popped. Ratapai deflects with this barrier, soaking up a ton of damage and allowing him to survive Zeepai's massive damage.
Yeah, they need to find one good crowd control on Looney, and they can push through. They have a lot of damage at their disposal with the Vendetta, with the Icy Veins, with the Dark Archangel. They just need to find a good target. Acro moves over. There's the kidney shot on Looney. Can they take him down in this swap? All in. A lot of offensive cooldowns going to be committed, but Looney's going to be completely fine. Uses the bar skin for now. Zeepai tossing out those heals to keep himself alive, but Looney's not out of the woods yet. Struggling to keep himself alive. Ratapai just spamming out the offensive dispels. You can see his mana is getting lower and lower as Acro tries to reconnect to his target. Good damage coming in from Maro, but Looney manages to escape.
Yeah, but they managed to connect on Ratapai now as two members, and Turbo on a Disciplined Priest is not an easy thing to survive as a healer. Looks like making a movie or making swaps constantly to Looney, but Blizzo is the best defensive warrior in the game, hands down. He will save you any day. If you're a healer having a hard time, you just type in LFG looking for Blizzo, because he is literally the perfect teammate to have yourself stay alive. Zeepai getting bursted down, has Astral Shift. He's being greedy. He's trying to hold on to it. He manages to hang on to it for now. Now Acro getting reversed, but look at that mana bar. Ratapai's almost tapped out. If they don't get a kill with this next Dark Archangel, I think it's curtains for them.
We've seen making a movie pull out miracles before. I wouldn't count them out just yet. Zeepai still has the Astral Shift, though. Like you said, that greedy play pays off for him. Gonna have that available. Big swap now over on Acro. Trinket's gonna proc to keep him alive in this situation. Ratapai's mana is not doing well. Looney in a good position, throwing out the heals. But Zeepai gets lower and lower. Good burst damage coming in from making a movie. Once again, just going through the healing of Looney. Ironbark's gonna be committed. Zeepai not using the Astral Shift, so XRB to the moon. We know them for these key defensive plays where they're not overlapping defensive. That's gonna be huge against a team like making a movie.
They have to kill Zeepai through Astral Shift, and I mean, maybe they can do it, but they're gonna need a ton of damage. Interrupt onto the Hex there. Nice job from Acro, but he's caught into a Stormbolt. Blizzo isn't swapping though on that Stormbolt. Now making his way over, but Zeepai gets interrupted, stunned at low HP. Ratapai playing Schism. He's playing complete offense build on this Disciplined Priest. If they don't get a kill soon though, his battery is running out. He's so low on mana. Blizzo getting set up to peel this swap. Ratapai's moving in to potentially fear Looney. Looney needs to be ready for it. He's ready and waiting behind the pillar. Zeepai getting softened up down below half. As soon as making a movie pull the trigger, they need to get a kill. They've got all their offensive cooldowns up. Ratapai moves in with Rapture, trying to march his way towards Looney for a Psychic Scream. Looney kites away. Acro in stealth, trying to sap him maybe. He goes for a cheap shot instead. Potential polymorph as well. Not able to find. Yes, they do find it. This is it. They have to pull the trigger. All cooldowns pop. It needs to be enough. Will it be? Blizzo lands a double fear. Is that going to be enough for Zeepai to hang on? Looking to fake cast the counterspell. Trying to find a Hex in these final moments, but he's managed to survive. Will he be able to further on? The damage is just so high at this point. Zeepai on the run, ducking back behind the pillar. Ratapai moving in, finally to try and get it. He gets the Psychic Scream. Zeepai in a 3-on-1, but unfortunately Tremor Totem will break Looney out of that Psychic Scream. We see a cheap shot attempt. They still need to find a kill. Will they get it? They need it here and now. Ratapai's completely tapped on mana.
You can see Ratapai still just spamming out the smites. Kidney shot on Zeepai. Do they have the damage? Take him down. Comet Storm coming in, but Rounding Totem. Zeepai's still getting lower and lower. He's going to be kiting behind the pillar. Looney able to stabilize him for now. Siddon's going to be top. Zeepai looking to counter pressure on Acro. Making a Movie has nothing left. He gets gripped away. Evasion's going to be used as well. Trying to stay on target. Doesn't want to lose all that momentum, but Making a Movie may have ran out of time.
Look at Looney's mana, though, throughout all that pressure. He's almost completely tapped now as well. They've got a couple more Storm Bolts in them, and then both teams will be tapped. It might go down to a 2v2. Momentum is in favor of XRB. Zeepai just tunneling into Acro. Despe trying to finish it full blind trinket. Ratify's got Dark Archangel. They're going to pull the trigger. Last opportunity to find a kill. Blizzo disarms the rogue, denying a bit of pressure, but it might not be enough. He barely hangs on, catches some heal, and survives. Looney almost tapped on mana, though, as he's hanging on by a thread. Blizzo gets polymorphed. Maro is trying to pause out the game. Maybe Ratify can sneak away for a drink. Ratify's behind the pillar. Maro's got no ice blocks. Actually, he's used all of them to break out of crowd control. He's got to be a bit careful in this position. Looney, I would imagine, is sitting down and drinking. If he gets mana off this drink, unless they lose during it, I think they're easily going to close this out. Looney did get a drink. His mana is secured, and this is looking like it's going to be the end for Making a Movie in game one.
Yeah, Acro really doesn't have too much left. Ratify keeping him alive. The last few fumes of his mana bar. Pain Suppression going to be committed, as well as the Rapture, so that really is the last line of defense. Making a Movie does have Vendetta coming up, though. They might have an opportunity here to take down Zeepai once again. Acro moving in. Is he going to find the cheap shot? Manages to land it. Maro gets interrupted on the polymorph, though. Looney going to be out of crowd control, able to keep Zeepai alive.
Yeah, Vendetta popped. Zeepai's being greedy, not trading Astral Shift just yet. They used Iron Bark instead, but this greedy play potentially costs them more cooldowns over their life. Dark Archangel, that's a huge boost of damage. Maro full channel. Ray of Frost, lots of pressure. Looney trying to recover. We've only just stepped into dampening as Ratify's been tapped and hanging on by a thread. He's got no mana. Is he going to be able to do it? He's been on no mana for 2 minutes. Full poly secured with no trinket, but a double fear from Blizzo. Of course, Blizzo just breaking it up, denying any follow-up. Looney now out of crowd control, reapplying those hots. Ratify's just completely tapped. He's got almost nothing left to keep his team going, but they're still marching forward as Zeepai gets bursted down below hot, triggering that tank trinket. That's going to allow him to soak up this entire attack. Looney almost tapped on mana again, though he may need to drink and try and escape. Zeepai swaps over to the healer. What is Ratify going to do in this position, man?
This tank trinket is XRB to the Moon's best friend in this matchup, keeping Zeepai alive over and over. Ratify, no mana available. Like I said before, we've seen him pull off the miracles. If anyone can do it, it will be him. But when you're just this far behind on mana, if Blizzo and Zeepai can connect, Ratify surely will fall down. He doesn't have anything. There's a kidney shot on Zeepai, still making a movie, looking to make some plays. Can they take Zeepai down? Disarm coming in from Blizzo once again. Key defensive player for XRB to the Moon to keep their team alive. But Making a Movie, still doing an excellent job finding pressure in this matchup.
Even with nothing left, Ratify just goes all in to get a kill every single time. He's hanging on by a thread, dampening his mounting up. Looney's now almost completely tapped on mana. It's completely even playing field at this point for either team to take it. Zeepai getting bursted down, fully channeled Ray of Frost, tons of damage. Looney barely hanging on. Innervate allowing him to buy time and heal for free. That Innervate was critical, but he didn't line it up with the Tree of Life, so he's going to run out of mana very quickly if he uses that later on. Stormbolt on Acro, no trinket. Polymorphs from Maro, the only thing keeping Acro alive right now as Rapture is up for Ratify. Big powered shields. Ratify recovers once again in what would be normally an unrecoverable position. Making a Movie are making a miracle.
Yeah, Making a Movie really just looking for all-out damage, all-out aggression on the Zeepai, just killing him through everything. Once again, kidney shot can be connected. Looney has the Iron Bark, not respecting the damage just yet, but a lot of bursts coming in from Maro. Still has the Icy Veins, though, available in this matchup, so he might be able to push through. Once again, there's the cheap shot over onto Looney. Is there going to be any follow-up? Zeepai just holding hands with Looney on this pillar, just trying to stay on top of his healer so he can connect those heals. Ratify still out of mana. Acro really doesn't have anything left. No evasion, no vanish, no nothing. Trying to just kite away. Maro's doing such a good job in this matchup, making sure everyone is controlled, making it very difficult for XRB to actually close out this game.
And Looney's been getting drinks, and he's been keeping the lead for his team despite this, the huge advantage they've had. So Looney's got good presence of mind to play for the late game, even though they had such a huge advantage. Zeepai now getting bursted. No Vendetta. That was not Vendetta. They managed to bait out Astral Shift without it. Dampening is forcing cooldowns. They managed to get the tank trinket as well. This is a huge opening to kill Zeepai moving forward. Dark Archangel up in 5 seconds. This could be the final push. Making a Movie could potentially pull this off if they can line up everything perfectly. They're polying Blizzo, trying to get the dispels out of the way and set up perfectly. If they get the trinket on the blind, they need to do it soon. Ratify is running on fumes.
Yeah, kidney shot on Zeepai. He trinkets out. Iron Bark going to be committed by Looney as well. Maro getting low. Ratify gets interrupted. Pain suppression onto Maro. Zeepai still getting lower and lower. Frostbolt spam coming in from Maro onto Zeepai, but he gets topped off. Still just kiting away from Acro. Acro trinkets out. Wants to keep up the pressure. Do they have any offensive cooldowns left? Doesn't look like Making a Movie really has too much left besides that Vendetta.
This next kidney shot could just kill Zeepai instantly. They've got Vendetta, they've got Schism. Radopi can lay in a ton of damage as well. I'm surprised they haven't just pulled the trigger. Acro getting reversed. There's the kidney shot. They have to kill him 100-0 through the healing. Do they have enough power to push him over? In these last seconds, he hangs on. He's barely hanging on. He's trying to retreat back to the pillar. Looney goes for Tranquility, but he's completely tapped on mana once again as both teams continue swinging into what I would say is impossible. How did they get to this point? This game should have been over already.
Yep, bash on Acro. Looks like XRB wants to get aggressive onto him. Life grip secured by Radopi. Radopi, I don't know how he's been healing. He's had no mana for the last 5 minutes of this game. Zeepai getting low, Blizzo getting low as well. They don't want to overextend in this situation, but they really have no choice. They have to try to close out this game. They can't wait for the next Vendetta. Looney running on fumes as well. 30% dampening. Swap. There's the blind on Looney. He trinkets out into a cheap shot. Morrow looking for the polymorph. Manages to land it. Can they find the damage over on the Zeepai? Astral Shift gets traded out. If they can get any more CC on Looney, it's going to be curtains for XRB to the moon. Nice sap. Garrote on Zeepai as well. Into the cheap shot. Radopi there for the fear. DR Fear is going to be thrown out. How is Zeepai alive? Ironbark getting committed by Looney to keep him alive. He's still getting bursted down. Can they finish him off? Zeepai retreating to the pillar to stay alive.
That intervade from Looney. He's got free healing for a couple more seconds to pick Zeepai back up, but he's just taking so much damage that triggered the tank trigger. Blizzo leaps over for a Storm Bolt. Zeepai connects and Acro's in trouble. There's absolutely nothing left for him, but Radopi is still doing it. He's still hanging on. Is it enough? Nice team, but it's not enough. Zeepai squeaks it in. They had the edge for the entire game, but could just not close it out, making a movie denied it over and over and over, and that's almost heartbreaking. Defensive island. I mean, Blizzo, playing that Windwalker Monk, as Venruki pointed out, lost a lot of self-healing, so he could be an easy kill target as soon as he's worked through that Touch of Karma, or more importantly, his Trinket. He has to have Trinket to activate his defensive, so pay attention to that little gladiator helmet icon below his class icon. As soon as that's on cooldown, he's going to be an open target for making a movie. In the meantime, Acro crossing center field, opens with blind right away, and Zuni's just going to trade the Trinket on that. Fair trade early on. Frozen Orb still punching through. They managed to get the Trinket absorb proc without committing too many offensive cooldowns, which is critical now for making a movie to find a kill. Nice polymorph to follow up. Ray of Frost gets interrupted by Blizzo. Zeepai on the run, trading 1-for-1 with Acro. That one-on-one trade seems to be enough for Zeepai to tank out behind the pillar, but Morrow played it patient, held on to Icy Veins, and they still have that big punch to throw. Morrow's getting bursted. That was a big Rising Sun kick from Blizzo. More to follow up, and Morrow has to block at such dangerously low health.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. If Morrow is using both of his blinks to get those polymorphs onto Looney, Blizzo can punish him.
Oh, Ascendant!
Unhealable damage. Morrow still taking a lot of pressure. There's a smoke bomb, though, on the Zeepai. Do they have the follow-up damage? Looney trying to keep him alive. Does have the Ironbark. Evan Bolt can be connecting, but Zeepai ultimately will survive that incoming damage from making a movie. XRB to the moon. Blizzo on that Windwalker Monk, like I said. Punish Morrow. Already one Ice Block down.
Yeah, Blizzo's just going to be tunneling the Mage, and Zeepai's going to attack whatever he can and try and stay alive. So Blizzo is really the playmaker. He's the one getting all the pressure, and Zeepai's just doing whatever he can to stay alive and buy time for Blizzo to make that move. Looney far away. We see a paralysis on Radopi. They're going to set up with a double leg sweep. Clean setup here from XRB, but Morrow preemptively read that situation, soaked up all the damage, and easily deflected that attack. Now Zeepai will be on the back foot.
Yeah, Blizzo's actually playing Gnome as well. I really like this decision. He's going to be able to use the Escape Artist racial as well as that Tiger's Lust to be getting out of these Novas coming in from Morrow in the situation, getting him a huge uptime to allow his team to do a lot of burst damage. Morrow trying to control him up with some polymorphs. Zeepai and Blizzo finally able to connect some damage onto Morrow, but Radopi in a good position to spam out the heals. Another go here by making a movie. This is an Icy Veins and Dark Angel committed by Morrow right now. A lot of pressure on the Zeepai. Looney responds with the Ironbark.
Yeah, and it seems to be enough to soak through this pressure. I'd love to see more swaps onto Blizzo and maybe bait his Trinket or something moving forward. It seems like making a movie or kind of tunneling one target maybe just a little bit too much. I see Paralysis capped out, and he got a Trinket is huge damage. Nice Vortex on the blink from Looney. Perfect positioning, but Morrow manages to finally escape to safety. It cost him both his blinks, and now he can't blink in for polymorphs or blink away and kite. So Zeepai is going to get some uptime here, and an Enhancement Shaman hitting you in the face is not going to be too comfortable. Acro tries to peel him away with a stun. Nice double stun. Morrow in position for a polymorph. Perfect setup there from Acro. They've got Vendetta rolling. They managed to proc both defensives, overlap that Trinket Absorb and the Astral Shift. This is a huge opening now for making a movie.
Yeah, Zeepai could be in a little bit of trouble. Looney is still in a good defensive position. Blizzo taking some damage. I really feel like they might want to commit some damage over on the Blizzo in this matchup. Windwalker Monks, like I said, very susceptible to that damage, whereas Zeepai is going to be a little bit more tanky. But Blizzo's also being very annoying on Tomorrow right now.
Touch of death.
Huge amount of uptime. There's a touch of death. Do they have any follow-up damage? Morrow activating the temporal shield, realizing that the damage is incoming, just spamming out the polymorphs on the Blizzo to deny. There's a cheap shot onto Looney. Any follow-up CC could be devastating onto Zeepai, but looks like he's going to be able to survive. There's the blindy trinkets out. Zeepai still just kiting away as he does get low. Ironbark committed by Looney. That was a big win by making a movie. They were able to get Looney's trinket as well as that Ironbark onto Zeepai. He really doesn't have anything left.
So unfortunate. Ratipai wanted to fear Looney, but he was just a few inches too far away and didn't land it, so now Looney could evenly trade trinket for blind. Would have loved to get a trinket on the psychic screen. Ratipai trying to get some damage going. Dark Archangel pop. Huge pressure towards Zeepai. This is the opening. They have to kill him in this window. Do they have the damage to do it? No. He gets denied. Zeepai healing himself back up with those healing surges as Morrow is trying to get control of Blizzo. Nice double fear. Zeepai's got Tremor. He can back up Looney, get him out of that right away. Acro looking for a re-stealth. Maybe a cheeky sap. I don't think Looney's going to drop combat. They go for cheap shot instead. Morrow trying to get in position to polymorph out of this, but he can't. He's just going to go for damage instead. Can't afford to overextend. Preemptive temp shield there. That's now out of the way. Nice blink counterspell. Clean setup here by Morrow. Huge damage as well, but it gets deflected by a double cap totem. Perfect play from Zeepai to deny that setup from Morrow.
Yeah, big pressure now on Morrow. He actually gets topped off quite easily. That was Blizzo's Serenity. Unfortunately, not really getting anything done. Morrow's not overextending with those blinks, realizing he needs them to survive that Serenity cooldown. So I like that adaptation from Morrow, not really getting as aggressive with the crowd control because Blizzo will be able to punish it. Vendetta coming up very shortly for making a movie. Zeepai does have the Astral Shift to trade out. Ratipai just spamming out the Smite. Zeepai having a little bit more of a difficult time connecting to his target, having to play way more defensive on this larger map with all that control coming in from the Frost Mage. Here's another setup by making a movie. Garrote onto Zeepai, cheap shot on Looney, but appears to be no follow-up, unfortunately. In this matchup, Ratipai's been doing an excellent job with his mana, not running out of mana immediately like we saw in the past, but unfortunately, Looney has basically lost none in this matchup so far.
He's just been drinking constantly. There was at one point in this game, maybe 2 minutes in, Ratipai had a lead, but Looney knows and always plays for the late game, and he just sets up drinks and resets his mana bar and plays for the win condition of his team on the most defensive map. They're trying to take advantage of that, and Looney's doing a great job. We see a smoke bomb drop. He tries to get inside of it, but it's not enough and gets completely erased. All of the offensive cooldowns from making a movie lined up at the exact same seconds. They managed to whittle down that tank trinket, got it out of the way, and then with a stun and no trinket, he couldn't activate Astral Shift, and that was just enough time to smoke Zeepai out of the second game. And one, making a movie versus XRB to the moon. These teams have been rivaling each other. They're basically tied on points. They both need to get as many as they can to qualify for BlizzCon this year. Looney is playing that Spirit Link talent, which redistributes damage to his entire team, so it is likely that Morrow and Acro will have to focus on dotting the entire team and AoEing them down. We already see a Frozen Orb on the entire team trying to slow their assault, and XRB to the Moon are actually going for the all-out aggression strategy, but they're getting clotheslined and completely denied early on.
Yeah, Looney's left all alone. Nicely done by Zeepai, though, slowing down some of that Ray of Frost damage from Morrow. Stun now onto Ratipai. He's going to get out of that. Serenity has been popped. They need to get the offensive dispels from Looney in order to tear through these defenses of Ratipai. Ratipai could be in some trouble, but manages to stabilize. For now, Shadowman's going to be spammed out. In the meantime, Acro and Morrow just doing work on the Looney, putting out tons of pressure.
Oh, nice pre-Earthen Shield Totem here from Looney. That's soaking up all the damage on this stun. It's forcing Morrow to just spam polymorphs defensively to protect Ratipai. This is the first time we've seen Looney play aggressive. He's the best defensive healer in the game, hands down, but now he'll be tested on a different playstyle. Will he be able to stay in their face, spam out those purges, and find a kill early on? So far, he's falling behind. We see Touch of Death. We need purges during these power word shields. Pain suppression gets traded out. Ratipai trying to tank the damage. Looney caught into a stun. Who's going to back him up on this? Nobody's really backing him up. Frozen Orb. There's a disarm onto Acro, denying a bit more follow-up. Looney trades out Ascendance. He's running on the ropes at this point as far as defensive cooldowns. He's desperately staying on target, and I ultimately could see a cross kill. I think Ratipai and Looney could fall at the same time.
Ratipai has nothing left. He's caught into the full stun, blind over on a Blizzo. Nice defensive play coming in from Acro, realizing Ratipai could be in some trouble, but Discipline Priests are so dang tanky in this game right now. Double Fear coming in from Ratipai onto Zeepai and Blizzo. Big pressure over on a Looney out of the kidney shot. A lot of damage. Dark Archangel is going to be committed by Ratipai to boost his team's damage. Ray of Frost gets tunneled. Zeepai luckily is able to interrupt that, keeping Looney alive for now.
I mean, right now, Looney is the one falling behind on the race, but I still feel like it's anyone's healer could go down. Nice death grip on Maro, interrupting any polymorph. Looney on the run, avoiding Acro with Chains of Ice. Great teamwork from Zeepai, holding Acro in place with Chains of Ice. Ratapai getting kicked. Windsure on Maro. Good cross CC from XRB to the moon, but a double fear on DPS buys Ratapai a second. Is that second going to be enough to stay alive? He's running on fumes. Huge burst following up. Polymorph from Maro, the only thing keeping him going. He needs this. He gets stunned on it. He goes for another. Looney now caught into a kidney shot. Ratapai keeps getting shut down. Both healers in so much trouble as it's a race to the finish. Looney could actually fall first. He's silenced up. He connects the link once again. He's got Earthen. I'm surprised he's not trading it out just yet. He wants to make sure he can get it on the whole team, maybe. He's still being greedy with it and falling very far behind.
Yep, still getting bursted down. Big Riptide connects to him, though, as he ducks out of line of sight. Maro not going to be able to do any follow-up damage. Ratapai almost completely tapped on mana, but he does have the Dark Archangel available. He could use that to potentially take down Looney. Kidney shot on him. Fear on a Zeepai. Polymorph on the Blizzo. Very nicely done by making the movie. This could be their last potential effort to take down Looney in this matchup. Ratapai is almost completely tapped on mana, but Looney's still in so much trouble. Astral Shift gets traded out. He's going to be so tanky with the Earthen Shield Totem, with the Astral Shift, with the Spirit Link. He's basically impossible to kill at this moment, but after this, he is so susceptible.
I mean, both healers have traded out their entire arsenal to stay alive at this point. They could just both fall over, and this could be going down to a 2 versus 2 between Acro, Maro, Blizzo, and Zeepai very shortly. A triple fear from Ratapai, but Tremor is going to break out the team. Great job by Looney, trying to keep his team aggressive. Ratapai trying to make as much distance as he can. Acro getting disarmed at the final second. Looney's got nothing left in terms of cooldowns, but Ratapai has nothing as well. Blind on Blizzo, stun on Rata. He trinkets out, connects one heal in the final moments as both healers could be falling at any second. Who is going to win the race to the finish? Anti-magic zone right now protecting Looney. Ratapai does not have that same safety net. He's hanging on by a thread. Looney's moving in to close this out. Connects the Spirit Link. One purge on these shields could just end Ratapai's life, but he doesn't have the mana to do it. Both healers falling behind. Maro trying to abort, trying to spam a polymorph. Zeepai AMSs to immune the polymorph and stay on target. Who's going to fall first? They're still hanging on.
There's a double leg sweep. Ratapai running out of time. Do they have the damage to take him down? Pain Suppression comes in the nick of time. Looney can't believe that Ratapai is still alive. He's been oom for so long, but that is the story of the young rat as he tries to escape once again. Nice double fear, keeping himself alive. Zeepai gets out, interrupts, and Penance comes in. Stunned by Zeepai. Ratapai's still getting so low. How is he still alive? Rising Sun Kick finally connects by Blizzo, closing out the game. And XRB to the moon, and
I think you still have to wait a second. I'm not sure. He still has 0 mana? You think so?
Yeah, he had Astral Shift up. He refreshed his link. He was going to live.
I will be honest, though. When we actually...
Per bracket, this is a bit of a grudge match for them. XRB to the moon, reverse sweep them at the summer finals earlier this year. So making a movie, need to make some moves. We see a sap on Zeepai, Acro crossing the map, looking to get a sap on Looney as soon as possible. They do actually manage to get it, which is unexpected. Normally you don't get a sap against the pet team. Now Zeepai is in a ton of trouble early on, trading out almost a huge defensive arsenal. He's still just barely hanging on. Acro goes for a blind, gets a trinket pulled out of the way as well. This is a great start for making a movie.
Yeah, a lot of defensive cooldowns going to be forced out. Acro still trying to continue the pressure, but XRB to the moon looks like they found their target. They want to be tunneling down Acro in this matchup. Should be able to survive, though, with Maro free casting. He's going to be able to get a lot of polymorphs out. Now Blizzo turning his attention over on Maro, trying to get some pressure there. There's another kidney shot committed onto Zeepai. Looks like Ratapai is going to be playing very defensive in this matchup. He knows he's a potential target. Maro getting bursted down from the Serenity of Blizzo. Maro manages to deflect it with the Polymorph Spam, with the Temporal Shield, and ultimately will survive.
All right, Zeepai and Looney are just ducking for cover right now. They know that they blew a ton of defensives. They're a huge opening. Okay, Zeepai actually just going to march into the middle of the map. That's going to expose them to potentially a lot of burst. Maro setting up for a poly, gets interrupted by Looney. They need to stall out these polymorphs as long as possible, but even without it, they managed to pull more defensives, forcing that tank trinket again from Zeepai to proc. They could make a swap to Looney as well with no trinket if they want to stun and swap over to him. At this point, making a movie are in a great position. Right now, Ratapai's mana maybe not looking too good. He might want to look for a drink that could bait them into a bad position as well. Blizzard trying to set up for an ice block force here. Maro blinks away from the touch of death burst. Now they go for a smoke bomb play. Zeepai locked out of the smoke bomb. Barely gets out with that trinket. Dark Pact trading out for a huge heal. Looney's going to be able to top him off behind the pillar, but another close call. And now with no trinkets on the team of XRB, the next crowd control chain could close the game game up.
I'm very impressed with the amount of damage Acro and Maro are able to do in this matchup. The surprise burst really pressuring Zeepai, Looney, and Blizzo when they do try to push in and get aggressive. Kidney shot once again committed over onto Zeepai, and you can see making a movie. They're not really going for the crowd control. They're just going for all-out pressure.
Kick.
Shadow step kick over onto Looney. Zeepai getting lower, trades out the AMS to keep himself alive. Looney in a good spot to keep him up with the Riptides. Blizzo just getting kited, CC'd all day, and as a Windwalker Monk, this isn't the position you want to be in. You're just getting polymorphed by Maro, Cyclone by Ratify, and it becomes very difficult for you to get out that pressure.
All right, Looney's actually out-manaing Ratify. He has to go for a drink, but they pressured Maro at the exact same second, so Ratify couldn't actually go for that and get his mana regenerated back. Looney's doing a great job on that defensively, showcasing why he is the best defensive healer in the world, in my opinion. Trades Trinket for blind. That's a fair and even trade. Now he can easily keep Zeepai going. Maro trying to lead the charge here with an Ice Nova, tons of damage. They managed to proc the Trinket with a counterspell. Maybe they have more damage. I don't think it's enough to, that's a massive shield. There's no way. Acro just immediately pulls away. Ratify not able to drink. His mana is actually almost tapped, and it's not very often that we get to see a Resto Druid run out of mana in the first 3 minutes. So the pressure from XRB is definitely mounting. We see a stun on Ratify as they're setting up for some damage. Unfortunately, Zeepai gets clotheslined. Ratify moves in for an aggressive play, bashing up Looney. There's no Trinket on the healer, but he doesn't go for the clone. That was very surprising to not see Ratify go for that play. I guess he didn't want to risk it, but now he's falling even further behind.
Yeah, wasn't there to support Maro. Maro, unfortunately, wasn't able to get the polymorph. It can be very difficult against an Unholy Death Knight to land those polymorphs. You get interrupted by the pet that he brings, as well as that ranged Mind Freeze. So that's why Ratify really has to be there in order to get those Cyclones off. They have to cast at the same time, then the enemy team can only choose one person to interrupt. Ratify looking for a drink, but unfortunately that gets shut down. Wasn't able to really find too much mana, but Zeepai really having a difficult time pushing off of this pillar, having a difficult time getting away, and really struggling to find pressure in this match so far.
And if Zeepai uses his Trinket, Smoke Bomb comes up in 45 seconds for Acro, so they really want to try and get that before 45 seconds has elapsed. Maybe they can get it right here with this stun. I don't think it's long enough, but he's taking so much damage, barely hangs on, trades out the rest of his defensives just to survive. Now Acro getting reversed on his Trinket proc. They cut through that. There's a ton of damage coming up from XRB. This is match point, and Acro's on the run. Ratify got into stun. He's got Iron Bark rolling. Defensive polymorph play from Maro buys time for Acro to survive. Now Maro trying to reverse. They need some crowd control or just raw damage. They need something here, and now Zeepai getting bursted down. There's the Trinket. They force it before the Smoke Bomb. They might just kill him through it. Comet Storm into the AMZ, but that AMZ, the purple bubble, the only thing keeping Zeepai alive, but it still might not even be enough. They disarm Acro. Zeepai hanging on by a thread. Spearlink Totem connects in the nick of time for XRB to stay alive, but now Smoke Bomb is the play. Acro in 20 seconds can pull that with Vendetta and just erase Zeepai. He needs to be ready for it.
Yeah, Acro could be in a little bit of trouble, though. There's the kidney shot on the Zeepai. Do they have the damage? Smoke Bomb as well. Looney looking like he's in a good spot to keep his team alive. Zeepai's going to be hiding away. Earthen Shield Totem going to pay dividends there to prevent some of that burst onto Zeepai. Now Acro having to play a little bit defensive. Serenity coming out in around 30 seconds. And that Serenity really is key for XRB to close out this game. Stun now over on Ratify. Acro trinkets out. No touch of death committed by Blizzo, though. So Acro basically has no defensives, and Blizzo's going to have his touch of death as well as that Serenity to take him down.
I think Acro should have played it more patient with the Smoke Bomb. He had Vendetta coming up in 10 seconds. Ratify trying to get a drink, but he's not able to. I don't think he's getting that much mana, but Zeepai has to run away, retreating back behind the pillar. This is a perfect opportunity. If Ratify didn't get at least some mana here, it would be devastating. I have to wait and see. I can't imagine that he didn't get at least some. Okay, now he's basically tied with Looney, but he's losing it at a faster rate. He would have liked to have gotten back to full mana. It's a bit unfortunate for him. Zeepai now getting stunned, but he's in a good defensive position. Looney can heal him without getting interrupted in this position. Great job defensively. Zeepai trying to hang on, but that was a huge hit. That's going to trigger the Trinket proc from Zeepai. Now that shield won't protect him later on. Vendetta is still rolling. Zeepai's still in trouble today. He's trying to punish Acro. Acro overextended, catching him in a stun lock. Manages to hang on. Bursted down to about 50. Now Zeepai forced to retreat away as we've just mounted into dampening.
Yeah, but this was Blizzo's Serenity, and they weren't able to find too much pressure. That's going to make making a movie feel very safe in the upcoming moments. Without that Serenity, the Windwalker Monk isn't that big of a threat now. Making a movie can get aggressive. Kidney shot on Zeepai. Maro looking for some damage. Gets interrupted. Very nicely done. Zeepai still getting lower and lower. Maro throwing out a Blizzard now. Trying to keep up some of that pressure onto Blizzo, and Zeepai just building up that Frost Mage damage, building up the Icicles, building up the Flurry procs so they can get that big hit of burst when they get that crowd control on the Looney.
Yeah, but Zeepai's defensive cooldown, just look, everything is there. He's going to be the most tanky target for at least like another 2 minutes, so making a move, you have a lot of things to work through, and Ratify's trying to get a drink. Doesn't look like Looney could stop it just yet. Maro's out of the block. Nice double leg sweep from Blizzo. Maro trades Trinket to get out of that situation. situation. Did not want to have to use his second block already. Zeepie in a stun, but gets disarmed. I don't think they're going to have enough damage with the disarm timing there from Blizzo to force much. They actually do manage to get Icebound Fortitude. That's a bit of a preemptive move from Zeepie, and it leaves an opening later on for making a movie. I'm surprised to see him trade out such a big cooldown for a situation that didn't seem that desperate. Now a counterspell secured from Maro. Zeepie still on the run, ducking for cover back around the corner. Should be able to pick him back up. Gripping Acro out of line of sight. These death grip stuns on Acro potentially could get a kill later in the game when dampening is higher. Maro getting bursted down to half. Blizzo just split targeting, trying to run Ratify as dampening mounts higher.
Yeah, Blizzo once again has a Serenity available to create some huge pressure. Acro really doesn't have anything to keep himself alive, but if he leaves Maro wide open, he's going to get susceptible to these polymorph spams. He's on DR now. Was he going to pull the trigger and try to get that burst pressure going for his team? A lot of damage over on Maro now. Serenity still not popped as Maro gets lower and lower, but there's a kidney shot on Zeepie, making a movie, looking to get aggressive. Smoke bomb committed as well. Leg sweep now over on Maro. Serenity up. Maro's in a lot of trouble as he tries to blink away. Gets grip back. Temporal shield was activated. Uses the cold snap and the ice barrier to buy that temporal shield a little bit more time. And now Zeepie is the one that's in trouble.
He's caught in center field at the moment. Looney puts Healing Tide Totem behind the pillar, but Ratify moves in. Please, Ratify, go for a clone. He's not going to go for a clone again. Maro now under fire. He's fallen behind. Zeepie into a kidney shot. Both players in trouble. Ratify is now losing the mana tie that he got back earlier on, but they are having a ton of burst potential here for Zeepie. He ducks behind the corner, grips Acro out of line. Not really the best death grip there. Unfortunately, he is going to commit all in on this. It seems a bit strange for Zeepie to really commit all that damage in a situation that was not going to net too much. Now that threat isn't available for later, Ratify can maybe duck and look for a drink. We see Touch of Death. Blizzo trying to get a solo kill. Fist of Fury, but the Temporal Shield could go off in time. Will the Temporal Shield save Maro? And it does appear to be the case as he bounces back to full. Cheap shot on Looney. Maro setting up for a win. Instant kick though by Blizzo, denying any more follow-up. Paralysis, double leg sweep. Blizzo setting up to get a kill. Maro trinkets out, trying to get away, gets rooted in place, but there's just no damage. Maro just tanking it out for now. He's got Icy Veins rolling. Zeepie deflects with the anti-magic zone. Finally, they've whittled through Zeepie's defensives, but there's still quite a few more to go, and Ratify's tapped on mana.
Yeah, Looney into the full polymorph, though. Zeepie having to run away. Doesn't have many defensives left. There's the full kidney shot. Can he keep himself alive? There's the bash on Looney as well. Ratify has to go for the Cyclone. Doesn't manage to find it. Another polymorph coming in from Maro. Doing an excellent job controlling the enemy team in this game. And Zeepie still just rotting down lower and lower. Dampening now at 26%. Temporal Shield going to be activated by Maro. A little bit preemptive there. Blizzo still has that Serenity. It's what I've been talking about a lot in this matchup, but it really is the key for XRB to land a kill.
All right, Zeepie retreating back behind the pillar. Just trying to find an opportunity here. They got no trinkets, so they can stack Acro and Maro up for a double leg sweep. That could be a devastating play. Ratify needs to get a drink. I like that they're pressuring him. They know they need to deny that mana regen, but in the meantime, Frozen Orb has been placed down, and Zeepie is in a ton of trouble. He's not trading cooldowns. Death Pact is going to get traded out. Anti-Magic Shield now as well, absorbing a huge hit, allowing him to stay aggressive, but he's overextending. A counterspell from Maro could close the game out. Icebound Fortitude deflects a little bit of this attack. Will it be enough? Dampening is starting to mount so high. Looney ducks in for a Spearlink Totem. Massive cooldown overlap. They had quite a lead, and it's basically been burned through in a matter of seconds, and now it's an even ball game.
Yeah, Zeepie into the kidney shot, bash on Looney. Ratify still getting a little bit low as well. Maro's doing a good job kiting still, but Ratify is completely tapped on mana. He has nothing left to work with. Maro forced into the ice block, and unfortunately, because he saved his cold snap for so long, he's not going to have a third ice block coming up for quite some time. This is a huge opportunity for XRB to take them down. If they can continue to train down Maro, slow down his damage generation, they might be able to just outlast making a movie.
All right, Blizzo's got Touch of Death rolling. He's trying to find a solo kill on Maro. There's no blocks available. Ratify's got no mana left. If they could just stay on target, High Mountain Torrent Racial to buy even just a second for Maro, but I don't think that is going to be enough. Ironbark, they drop Smoke Bomb in desperation as both teams are flailing to stay alive and find a kill in potentially the final moments of this match. Both healers completely tapped on mana. Zeepie, the kidney shot was DR'd, unfortunately, from the High Mountain Racial. That could just throw the game, potentially. Ratify moves in, clutches a bash in the final seconds, and Zeepie is going to fall, but Maro could fall just at the same second as well. Blizzo can stay on target. He connects. Cross kill. Zero mana left.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Maro gets deleted out of the game, and now we're down to a 2v2, 40% dampening. Ratify completely tapped on mana. Looney completely tapped on mana. This is looking like it might be in favor of making a movie in this matchup. Blizzo, he does have the Touch of Karma, but not going to be too tanky. Good consistent damage going to be coming up from Acro in this matchup. I'm very curious to see who pulls ahead.
I mean, this is match point. Acro caught into a leg sweep with no trinket. I don't think Ironbark is going to do too much this deep into dampening. Acro shadow steps away defensively. Blizzo reconnects. trying to pump out as much damage as possible. I'm not sure who I'd give the advantage to in 2v2, but with 0 mana on the healers and dampening ramped up so high, it's anyone's match. The healers are trying to sneak away for drinks. Looney's trying to deny the drink and heal his partner at the same time. Nice earth grab, denies the drink. Blizzo dipping low, trades out Fortifying Brew. He's got a lot of defensives to work with, but so does Acro. Mana is still just so low at this point. Acro seems to have the momentum. I say that a Rising Sun kick just chunks Acro out of nowhere. Fists of Fury now flying. Surprising no evasion. Traded out for Acro. Nice cap totem sniped by Looney. He's looking for a cheeky Hex. He's trying to catch Ratify off guard. He gets it. Sneaks in the full Hex. Disarm now onto Acro, but Blizzo gets kidney shot in the reversal as both teams gun down for the kill. Acro seems to be edging ahead little by little.
Yeah, Acro's just going to throw a blind onto Blizzo. He trinkets out. He has no karma, no nothing. He's going on damage over to Acro. Ratify deflects with the Iron Bark. Acro needs to survive just a little bit longer, and he has a huge advantage in the series. Blizzo's still low. Unfortunately, not getting topped off here, but still a lot of damage available. There's the full kidney shot onto Blizzo. Was DR, I think. Unfortunately, Earthen Shield Totem's going to get dropped out, but now Blizzo's in so much trouble. He's going to have to kite. I do not think he can trade out damage at this point.
I mean, he can't. Ratify's moving in to get a clone. He trinkets out, goes for the bash. If they land the Cyclone, Ratify's just not even going for it. Pressure alone could just force Blizzo over the edge. He's switching targets, but I don't think he's going to find anything there. He's already popped Serenity. He's just desperately trying to make something happen. This is match point. Acro trying to stay in the game. Looney's got nothing left. Shadow Step kick. Blizzo falling lower and lower. Dampen Harm absorbing a couple hits, but that might not even be enough. Riptides are rolling in. Spearlink connects to the team. Looney keeps them going just a couple seconds longer. Can Blizzo clean this series up, or will the momentum of Acro just sink in?
Fortifying Elixir is going to be coming up very shortly for Blizzo here. Disarm onto Acro. Still good pressure. There's a capstun onto Ratify. Iron Bark preemptively used. Acro might be able to survive here. There's a full kidney shot on Blizzo. Looney able to spam out some heals, but he's completely tapped on mana. Healing Wave connects once again. Blizzo really just waiting 15 seconds for that touch of karma to keep himself alive. If they can weather the storm just a little bit longer, that'll be an opportunity for XRB to close out this game.
All right, Ratify going for a bash. Blizzo moves over to deny any follow-up crowd control, but he's so low on health. 5 more seconds. Will he make it to that point? He's got no trinket either. He needs to pre-touch a karma. He needs to go for it all, and he didn't get the pre-touch of karma. Smoke bomb gets dropped. Looney's trying to get inside. Drops the Earthen Shield. Manages to sneak inside the smoke bomb. Touch of karma in the nick of time. Blizzo was still alive. Now how will he build momentum? They've just been falling more and more behind over time as this game continues to push on. Blizzo now with nothing left defensively. He needs to connect a huge hit right now if he wants to find a kill. Ratify's got Innervate. He's got free heals. He purges it potentially. Wind Shear. No purge available. He can't. He doesn't have the mana. Blizzo caught into a kidney shot. There's nothing left for him. Looney's trying to find a Hex maybe in the nick of time, but even still, if he gets it, I don't think they can keep it going. He goes for the leg sweep. Ben
Serenity, a lot of burst damage on Acro. They don't have anything. No Iron Bark, no evasion, no nothing. But Blizzo just can't find the damage. Rising Sun comes in, hacks over onto Ratify. Acro flailing to stay alive with that touch of death. Ratify, how are you going to keep him alive? Disarm now over onto Acro. Touch of death still ticking down as he gets lower and lower. Taken down. XRB to the moon. Cleans up. Excellently done by Blizzo and Looney to win that 2v3.
I was counting them out. I thought Acro was going to take that. It was just momentum for him the entire time.
Blizzo clutched up so hard. I think you really do disadvantage.
To just have uptime on Rezus and Loveless. If they can manage to find that offensive CC, they might be able to get huge pressure, but I think Temple Storm is looking for the long game with this one.
I'm curious if Drainer is playing the Spirit Link Honor talent and they're just going to run down and target. We see Incapacitate on MonkaS early on into potentially a Cap Totem. Good crowd control chain between Drainer and Rezus, but Loveless gets disarmed. He's not able to follow up with too much burst. Alec doing a good job kiting away and avoiding as much damage as possible in that moment when MonkaS could not heal. Now recovering back to about full health. Alec really not getting too many casts off. He's kind of just jumping around and waiting for a window of opportunity.
Yeah, and you can see Alec just trying to find that polymorph, manages to get it onto Drainer. Rezus into the Stormbolt now, big pressure over onto him. Nixie gets into the battle stance. Rezus ports into the middle of the map, not really able to get away, but that trinket is going to proc. Touch of Karma going to be used as well. That was a little bit of an overreaction, if I say so myself, but Rezus is going to be fine with that for now. Loveless now getting swaps to take a little bit of burst damage. Drainer finally getting out of the crowd control. Nice bash from MonkaS, and MonkaS on that Resto Druid is going to be feeling very comfortable. That is his comfort pick, the Resto Druid that he is known for.
They proc both tank trinkets on Loveless and Rezus in that last attempt, and now they're stacking up. Blade Storm's coming up in 25 seconds. If Nixie wants to go for a triple Blade Storm, he could really rip behind the pillar with that. Frozen Orb on one side, Blizzard on the other. Alec is pinning Daily Feed back behind the pillar and just building up damage for an assault, buying time for that Blade Storm. Nixie goes for a sharpened blade. He's going to be chunking Rezus Rezu's down. Tons of damage into the Storm Bolt. Drainer trying to line some heals up, but a Blink counterspell is threatening this. If Alec wants to make the move, he's not going for it just yet. Drops down another Blizzard. That one a bit. I don't think that's going to be hitting them, unfortunately. Now Drainer repositioning to the other side. Minpoike's mana in a good defensive position. Now Nixie has that Avatar. He's got the Blade Storm. If they stack up as a triple team, they could potentially get triple killed. Frozen Orb coming up in 8 seconds. Nixie is pushing forward more and more, but if he overextends just a little bit too far, he could get bursted down. This is a difficult decision for Nixie to make. Does he go in and risk dying, or does he try to bait them away?
I think what he should do is just try to bait them away, play it patient. It's obvious Daily Feed wants to just drag him in a bad situation. You have the Frost Mage of Alec, who's going to be able to deny any drinks of Drainer if the game does go on long enough. You can see from range, just dropping out the Blizzard, using the Ray of Frost, spamming out the Polymorphs, and like I said, Temple Storm really looking for the long game here. Rezu's going to be moving in, looking to get some damage going. Temporal Shield still available for Alec. There's an incapacitate on Minpoike. Alec just kiting away. Temporal Shield's going to be used. A lot of pressure coming in here. Rezu's has the Serenity available. Hasn't used it just yet. There it is. Pulls the trigger. A lot of damage on Nixie. He's in battle stance. Rezu's trying to punish that with these Rising Sun kicks, but Nixie going to be able to survive. Iron Bark committed by Minpoike, and if they just respect that Serenity and they play around it, I think Temple Storm's going to be able to survive this damage.
Yeah, Daily Feed are just doing hit and run. Push out, get a cooldown, then immediately after they get it, they retreat back behind the pillar in this position to avoid the casted damage of Alec. Minpoike doing a good job to maintain mana throughout this point where they're just running away. Alec dropping a Frozen Orb. Nice Vortex on the portal of Rezu's. That was a clutch play from Minpoike, holding Rezu's in line of sight of Alec to get more damage rolling and potentially kill here. Sharpened Blade on the Storm Bolt, bursting him down. Drainer deflects it though. Perfect timing by him, and Rezu's will survive. Now he is trying to mount an assault of his own with Touch of Death activated. Alec immediately blinking away from that and avoiding all of that potential burst. Really good timing from both teams defensively.
Yeah, leg sweep now onto Alec. They finally have some uptime to get some pressure here. Looks like he's going to be okay. Kona Cold is just such a powerful snare, making it easy for him to kite away. But still, Rezu and Loveless on top of him, and Poike in a good position. Just throw out the heals, regrowth spam, trying to fake out that shear from Loveless so he can get those casts off. Alex still just kiting away, doing a good job. And when he does this, Nixie just gets so much uptime. Another full Stormbolt over onto Rezus. He doesn't have the trinket available. The tank trinket will proc once again, keeping him alive for now. Nice double fear coming in from Nixie. Actually a triple fear that Loveless decided to trink out of. So that's maybe an opportunity for Temple Storm to punish a little bit later on.
Yeah, he could switch to Loveless now with no trinket, burst him down. Enhancement Shaman's very susceptible to death in stuns. Mana currently tied still as both healers are extending forward for the expected late game. Alec is just such a hard target to stay connected to. Loveless is having a difficult time. Sharpened Blade from Nixie really pushing in here. Loveless gets disarmed on his Ascendance. Nixie, he's cosplaying Blizzo right now, just peeling all of the burst from Loveless and denying any sort of pressure. They're forced to swap to Nixie. He jumps into defensive stance, goes for a Blade Storm just to stay on target. Maybe he could have held that. I feel like there's a little bit more of a high value Blade Storm now in this position with all three members stacked up, but he's not going to have it. Now Nixie just getting attacked behind the pillars. Their line of sighting, waiting for Touch of Death to make another big push.
Yeah, these are strategies we've seen from Temple Storm before. Alec not afraid to play the long game, play it smart, play to his advantage later on. They're not going to overcommit in this matchup. Alec is just going to try to survive. And eventually, when Drainer, Loveless, and Rezus are running away, that Frozen Orb, that Blizzard, that Ray of Frost are really going to sink in and do a lot of damage that it's going to be very difficult for Drainer to recover from.
All right, Nixie trying to stay on top of his opponents. Sweeping strikes allows him to hit multiple targets, so this is great positioning for Nixie. He can just sidestep in and out and attack the whole team, but he's now overextended, gets caught in a leg sweep. Minpoike trying to time some heals. Drainer moving over for crowd control, misses the wind shear. Nice fake by Minpoike. That's going to allow him to easily save Nixie throughout that burst. Nice play from Minpoike. Now I would like to see Temple Storm get aggressive. That threat of Touch of Death is no longer available. They can get on top of their opponents and really start to dig in.
Yeah, Alex going to be pushing in for the first time. Gets sheared on the Polymorph, looking for the Frostbolts now. Rezu still could be in some trouble. Uses the Touch of Karma onto Alec. Alec most likely not going to be trading out that Ice Block to remove it. Doesn't want to trade out that key defensive cooldown. It is a good trade for Windwalker Monks to do that. Serenity available for Rezus now, so if Alec gets too aggressive with his blinks and Rezus can have uptime, it could be the first Ice Block forced out onto Alec.
All right, Nixie's got sweeping strikes up. He's really digging into both Loveless and Rezus. Now a Blade Storm on the multiple members of the team. We've now set into dampening. Minpoike had a slight mana disadvantage, but their team has all of the momentum and good positioning. Minpoike could drink at any moment if he needs to. They managed to sneak that tank trinket proc from Loveless. He's an exposed target now, moving forward. And Poike going for a drink. He realizes they've got the momentum and positioning. He can safely do this and reset to tie his mana back with Drainer, moving into what will be a late game. Again, I'm almost willing to take some bets on this. Might be the highest dampening we've ever seen, as Nixie is such a durable target. He's just throwing himself at his opponents. Alec plays far away, now dropping a frozen orb. Loveless trying to connect on this leg sweep. Let's see if Alex accidentally throws this away, because other than that, I feel like he's going to easily escape. Blinks to safety. Rezus has Serenity rolling. He gets Frost Nova'd on it. Not able to stay on target. Does get dispelled. Alec gets Wind Shear. Temp Shield is rolling. They purge that off, but Rezus just can't connect any damage right now. He's getting completely outplayed, kited, and completely destroyed by Alec there throughout that cooldown burst, and now he's forced to run away.
Yeah, Alec playing it smart. Like I said, he's saving his Blinks, he's saving his Pet Nova, he's saving his Frost Nova for when Rezus wants to get aggressive with that Serenity. That's really the only kill window that I see Daily Feed really having against this team. And if he just plays it safe, like I said, that eventual AoE damage is going to be very strong. Nixie, though, eventually could get all in. It could be interesting to see if Daily Feed is completely fine with this, if they can just go all in with Serenity, which cut to death, onto Nixie later on and dampening. It could be very difficult for Minpoike to heal through that, so that is an opportunity for them as well. Curious to see how long this game will last. All it has to do is beat 62% dampening in order to take the reins of the longest game yet.
I mean, mana right now and defensive cooldowns is a good position for both teams to survive. They're basically at the same state as they would be at the start of the game. There's no real clear opening for a kill, and the sustained damage doesn't seem to be high enough that anyone can really scare anybody. Alec caught into a leg sweep. Rezus is trying to set up some burst. Minpoike trades Iron Bark to absorb all of these hits. Alec blinks to safety. Great defensive play, avoiding another touch of death. And now that that touch of death is out of the way, Alec is likely to get aggressive. Drops a frozen orb. That's kind of a Zaryu orb there. Not really hitting anyone. Not really hitting anybody on the team. That's a bit unfortunate for Alec. He's not going to get anything off the back of that.
I'm glad I'm not the only Mage meme here. Ray Frost now going to be used over onto Loveless from Alex. Like we said, he's not afraid to just sit back, play the long game. With the Blizzard being channeled on all three members, that Frozen Orb will get off cooldown relatively fast. Every time Blizzard does damage, it lowers the cooldown of Frozen Orb. That's why we're seeing these consistent Frozen Orbs, consistent AoE pressure, but really, Daily Feed, everyone is sitting very pretty at this point. So far, the damage has been insignificant from that Frost Mage.
Yeah, Rezu's now getting on target towards Alec. Nice double leg sweep. Rezu rolling over for an incap, but Minpoike's out of line of sight, and Rezu's wasted all the time that Alec was stunned trying to get crowd control. Now Alec can blink to safety. Temporal Shield, Frost Nova his Serenity. Rezu's just not able to stay on target due to that attempted crowd control. I think he should have just gone for burst, and now he's falling behind. He's caught in center field. Portal's back behind. Nixie charging in. He's got Blade Storm. He's ready to rip. Will he go for it? Doesn't seem to. Yes, he's going for the Blade Storm. Not actually going in with the Blade Storm. It's interesting choice by Nixie. Not going to get any damage off the back of that. Alec getting Hex. It's non-consequence there. Really doesn't mean too much. Alec trying to build up for some more damage. It's just too difficult. If he overextends and goes behind the pillar, like in this position, it looks like nothing is happening. But if Alec goes around the corner, he can just get deleted. But if he never goes around the corner, then nothing really ever happens. So I don't actually know how this ends. And that's why I think it could go to 100% dampening.
I don't know about 100, but definitely going to get up there, I think, in this matchup. Like you said, Rezus, when he looks for the Incapacitate, if Minpoike plays far enough away, he has to use the Flying Serpent Kick and the rolls in order to secure that crowd control. If he does that, then all of a sudden he doesn't have a way to chase down Alex. So it's kind of an unfortunate situation for this Windwalker Monk with the way that Temple Storm is playing it. And I mean, you might think
nice
that this
counterspell.
Yeah, you might think that this strategy is kind of lame, but at the end of the day, these points are worth so much for these teams. It is play to win, and Alec knows how to do that. There's a capstun over on him in Minpoike. Alec actually going to be moving in behind the pillar right now, just going to be kiting away from Rezus. Loveless caught into a Nova. Unfortunately, Drainer wasn't able to dispel that. Keep up that uptime. Nixie still just playing point guard for his team, camping the D stance, trying to put out as much pressure as he can as all three members eat that Blizzard from Alec.
I mean, it's up to try and debate a Trinket. If they get Nixie's Trinket, then really deep into dampening, they stun and purge him. I feel like they can kill Nixie, and that's going to be the win condition. Alec just seems so untouchable. I'm surprised that they're even still trying to go after him. Drainer getting Storm Bolted. Tempo Storm's had enough of this. They're just going to be attacking whoever they can see. Drainer's vortexed in the open by Minpoike. He's taking quite a bit of pressure. Trades out Astral Shift to soak the rest of the damage and reposition away from that target. Nixie standing on 2. I'm really surprised. I think they shouldn't even try to go for polymorphs. They should just attack, cleave, and run Drainer out of mana in this position, because Nixie can attack 2 targets and soak up a lot in defensive stance, and they're kind of wasting time. Rezu's in the meantime looking for crowd control. Huge damage there from Alec. This is what I was saying. If he's not careful and he goes around the corner for even a second, he could just disappear. Stormball on Rezu's. He's overextending. He's committing the trinket. That is now an opening. Alec is trying to punish. Ray of Frost fully channeled. Rezu just can't even move. He's just getting locked in center field, and MonkaS looking for clones. They finally got Rezu's exposed. This overextension could be an opportunity for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, Rezu still has his portal. Manages to get away out of line of sight. Drainer going to be able to reconnect, but 40% dampening. It could be difficult for Drainer to actually top him off. Tremor Totem's going to be dropped out. Nixie looking for the fear. He's trying to preemptively get that Tremor Totem out, I believe. Nixie now getting a little bit low as well, but this is where the pressure really starts to mount. Everyone from Daily Feed getting lower. 41% dampening. Loveless forced to use the Astral Shift. Rezu still has a touch of Karma. Alex damage finally really laying in to Daily Feed.
Well, they got a trinket from Drainer there now as well. The entire team rotting down. Dampening is really starting to make its mark as Rezu's dips lower and lower. I love the pressure finally from Nixie and Alec. Just attack everybody. Just go crazy. If they're stacked up, punish that. They're wasting too much time trying to get clean setups. Karma, no trinket. Rezu's is a completely exposed target. Loveless throws Ascendance out to the wind. He's not getting anything done with this Ascendance. That was a huge threat. The Tempo Storm now no longer has to worry about. Triple Fear, Trinket, Tremor from Loveless will allow them to stay alive. Drainer is now forced to use Ascendance. Tempo Storm have them in a complete lockdown at this point. They just need to keep doing damage, and I think they're going to walk away with this.
Yeah, Alex looking for the Blizzard once again. Everyone rotting down. The Drainer manages to basically top off his team. Loveless could be still be in a little bit of trouble. MonkaS pushing in, landing the Cyclone onto Rezus. Loveless now retreating. The entire enemy team of Daily Feed is going to be moving to a new pillar as we reach 50% dampening, just barely. Loveless still getting lower. Drainer having a very difficult time topping off his team, and as dampening gets higher and higher, those Riptides are going to be much more less effective. So Drainer, unfortunately, is going to have to be spamming out those heals in order to top off his team, and that leaves him susceptible to interrupts from Alec and Nixie.
Huge burst on Alec. He needs to be a bit careful. He doesn't want to throw away the game. They've got a huge lead. He manages to escape to safety, and now the entire team of Daily Feed dipping low on health. Nixie moving in. No area of effect cooldowns for him, though. He's not going to be able to cleave too hard. He's doing his best, and effectively Daily Feed are playing triple healer, so dampening is definitely going to hurt them a lot as the healing is now reduced 50%. MonkaS is completely topped on mana. Everybody has defensive cooldowns. Tempo Storm just needs to basically do anything, and they're going to win this at this point. Polymorph on Drainer. Loveless Rezus once again on the run. Frozen Orb not connecting onto anything, unfortunately, for Alec. Bash now on Drainer. MonkaS moving in. Potentially gets a full Cyclone. Loveless trades that Astral Shift. That's not even going to do too much, with dampening getting higher and higher. Now Nixie caught behind the pillar. Needs to be a bit careful. Could be a trinket, die by the sword. Ironbark instead is going to stabilize Nixie, and Nixie just needs to stay in. Gets a triple fear. All they have to do is stay on top of him. A polymorph now as well. Ray of Frost being channeled onto Loveless as he ducks behind the corner. Dampening mounting higher and higher, looking to break records here in this match.
Yeah, MonkaS did commit the Ironbark there onto Nixie. Rezu's going to have that Serenity available in 17 seconds, so there's about an 8-second window where they can really try to punish Nixie if they go aggressive with the offensive purges. With Bloodlust, if they have that available, Loveless and Rezus might be able to take him down. Nixie has to respond appropriately with the dive of the sword, otherwise this team could go down, and all this effort could be for nothing. This is very tense in this game. 57% dampening. Any mistake could cost these members the game.
All right, incapacitate on MonkaS. Rezus gets Stormball. He trinkets. He knows he needs to get something done with this. They're trying to kill Nixie. Nice heroic leap defensively, realizing that situation was dire. He's trying to hold on to die by the sword as long as possible. Alex sneaks in a polymorph. Rezus is low. Loveless is low. They're caught in center field, but Nixie as well. This could potentially go down to a cross kill if Nixie's not careful. He's got defensives. He can trade them out at any moment. Karma will save Rezus, but Loveless doesn't have that same luxury. Drainer caught into a Cyclone. Great setup by MonkaS. Tempo Storm look to close this out. Spearling from Drainer at the last second. Cloned again. Everybody on his team dipping low. He needs 17 more seconds for Ascendance. Can he stay alive to that point? I don't think so. This could be a triple kill for Tempo Storm as Rezus dips lower and lower. Executes are connecting. Rezus trying to run away, ducking around the corner. He gets counterspelled. Alec gets paralysis at the final second as Drainer hangs on by a thread, but I don't know what he can do. He's got Ascendance. He lived the 17 seconds, but now he's full polymorph. They break the polymorph, and somehow Drainer's keeping this going.
I don't know how much longer he can last. 64% dampening. They're trying to make something happen on a Nixie. Gets the Iron Mark from him. MonkaS still has to die by the sword. I don't know. Drainer's making miracles right now. There's a full stun onto him. No trinket available. Frozen Orb connects once again. Everyone is rotting down into execute range. There's the bash onto Drainer. Can Nixie close out this game? Spell up over onto Rezus. All three members could go down here. And Tempo Storm gets the kill at 66% dampening.
And we kind of talked about the potential for some of that AoE damage to actually come out in the previous series. You can do Tempo Storm, going to be leading by 1.
All right, Tempo Storm had checkmate position on daily feed the entirety of game number 1, so Rezus and YesDave are going to try and close it out with an even more mobility team. Nixie will be the least mobile target in this match for sure. Double leg sweep early on from Rezus. This is a great start for daily feed.
Yeah, a lot of pressure over on Alec. He has to trinket out. There's a stun on him at MonkaS as well. These setups are nice with the Serenity coming in from Rezus. A lot more pressure very early on from daily feed. Alec should be able to stabilize. Another Rising Sun kick connects, but ultimately Alec looks like he's going to be able to survive. He's actually not playing with a Temporal Shield in this game, so trading out some of that defensive ability for maybe some more offense. I'll have to see how that plays out for him. Cyclone over onto Rezus as Tempo Storm looks to stabilize.
All right, nice fear there from Nixie. Dave is going to Temporal Shield. Curious if Alec is playing Kleptomania. Maybe he was expecting a Kleptomania war between the mages to steal MonkaS Hots. YesDave still taking quite a bit of burst, but hiding Nixie to avoid any follow-up. We see Touch of Death has been committed. Alec could be in a lot of trouble. Huge hits from Rezus. MonkaS getting polymorph. Nice polymorph from YesDave, sneaking that in, but ultimately Rezus just not able to stay on target to really capitalize.
Yeah, Alec doing a good job kiting in this matchup so far. Rezus finally on target. There's a Frozen Orb as well. A lot of burst potentially over onto Alec. YesDave also taking quite a bit of damage, but that Earthen Shield Totem from Drainer will keep him stable. And Alec still just running away, playing very defensive, waiting for that Serenity that'll ultimately come in from Rezus. That's going to be another opportunity for daily feed to land a kill.
All right, Alec just spamming out polymorph as MonkaS is crowd controlled, but ultimately leg sweep will connect. This could be an ice block if they can connect any damage at all. Nice Cyclone. Rezus actually trinkets. He's trying to get aggressive. It's not going to get anything, and now with no trinket, they could potentially switch to him. Alec is still taking quite a bit of damage. Rezus trying to get some Rising Sun kicks going, but Iron Bark now from MonkaS is stalling out the damage. Alec blinking to safety, but I think daily feed are definitely swinging momentum. I would say this is favored to them.
Yeah, Rezus on target now with that Serenity pop and a lot of damage over onto Alec, but like you said, that Iron Bar coming in from MonkaS should keep him alive. Cyclone now over on Rezus, interrupt on Drainer. YesDave could be in some trouble, but Alec really hasn't been able to find any damage. The story of this game so far has been Rezus attacking Alec, Nixie attacking YesDave, and both mages really struggling to attack each other.
Finally, some damage. MonkaS is actually playing Balance Affinity. He's just tossed a Star Surge out at YesDave. You don't normally see that from the Resto Druid, but it's not really getting anything done. We see a double leg sweep. Perfect positioning here as Rezus looks to force a block. Nice win shot on MonkaS. Great crowd control.
Whoa.
Alec blinking away. Cap Totem now on MonkaS. Drainer just owning MonkaS in this position. Rezus needs to try and capitalize on that, but only getting an Iron Bark, unfortunately for them. That's not what they wanted. They needed to get an ice block there. Mana in favor of MonkaS, but still close.
Yep, YesDave looking for a polymorph right now, lands it on the Nixie. Now blinks into position to land a polymorph on MonkaS. MonkaS realizing the situation, playing this pillar very, very well at the center tomb. Now a stun over onto YesDave. Alec looks like he's going to be committing some damage here. Temporal Shield gets activated. Nice Vortex by MonkaS. Very nicely done, as well as the offensive Cyclone denying that Temporal Shield heal from YesDave.
That was the best play MonkaS has made in this series. It just shut down everything YesDave had, and now opens an opportunity for them to maybe get an ice block. MonkaS crossing the map, looking to control Drainer. He goes into Boomkin form. He can't be polymorphed, and he can safely go for Cyclones. He manages to land one, but Dave just immediately kites away. Alec trying to close in. Nixie leaps over. He gets caught in a cone of cold. Great kiting from Dave. Now Alec under fire with Serenity rolling. There's a ton of damage available. Thunderstorm crashes in. Alec blinks away. MonkaS trying to pick him back up. Iron Bark traded out. That should stall it out. MonkaS doing a great job dodging polymorphs with that Balance Affinity. I would like to see them actually go after MonkaS. I think they could actually just kill him without running that Guardian Affinity. Hopefully maybe that's something they punish later on if they can force his Trinket.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good strategy they could implement. YesDave really hasn't been taking too much damage in this matchup so far. Incapacitate now over on MonkaS into the cap stun. These consistent goes coming in from daily feed are relatively effective. They're going to be more effective as the game goes on longer and longer into dampening potentially. There's a Cyclone over on the Rezus. He trinkets out. I'd really like to see Rezus be more patient with his trinket. He didn't have Serenity up. He didn't really have too much damage going on. I don't feel like that's their moment to kill. Now a big swap from Tempo Storm over onto YesDave. Temporal Shields. Big heals coming in from Drainer as well to keep YesDave alive.
Yeah, Temporal Shield perfectly timed from YesDave. We can tell that both of these mages are high caliber, and it's so difficult as a melee against a high caliber Frost Mage to stay on target. YesDave just completely avoiding Nixie. Rezus polymorphed away from Alec. MonkaS now at a mana disadvantage. He needs to try and go for a drink, and that does appear to be what he's doing. So Rezus needs to punish this opportunity and go for an ice block or try and stop the drink, but MonkaS manages to drink and tie his mana back up towards Drainer's range. Alec under fire. Rezus gets Stormbolt defensively into Polymorphs from Alec. Nice poly on the Dispel as well. Trying to take Rezus out of the game now into a Cyclone, and MonkaS tossing out a Star Surge again. It's a cheeky play from the Druid, but it's really not going to do too much.
This is an opportunity for daily feed. MonkaS, no Iron Bark. Serenity is going to be available for Rezus. Touch of Death gets activated onto Alec. He has to play very defensive in this situation. There it is, the full leg sweep. He blinks away, trying to get away from Rezus, who activates the Serenity. Big Rising Sun kick's about to connect, but Alec playing defensively very, very well in this matchup. Still not using that Ice Block. Big Rising Sun kick connects once again. Yes, Dave taking a little bit of pressure, and they've weathered the storm of that Serenity from daily feed. Tempo Storm now has an opportunity to get aggressive onto Yes Dave. There's a full fear onto Drainer. He's not going to be trinketing out of that. Yes Dave's still doing a good job kiting, just avoiding some of this damage, but he doesn't want to get too low, almost into execute range. You know what happens when you get too low on the Mage without respecting it. He gets interrupted on Frost. This could be the Cold Snap, but he blinks away. Ultimately going to be able to survive.
Yeah, Drainer out of crowd control, connecting some big heals now. Rezus is trying to get aggressive. Alec holds him. He uses the Flying Serpent kick to reconnect. Gets Frost Nova'd. Now finally on target. Both Melee, Nixie, and Rezus on target. I say that Alex polymorphs him away. Good Dispel, but now a nice stun on the follow-up. Alex stunned with no trinket. Could be a huge hit here as Yes Dave blinks in aggressively. Surprising to not see an Iron Bark trade there by MonkaS. He doesn't feel like he even needs it. Alec just blinks to safety. MonkaS in position to look for Cyclones, trying to fake cast a Wind Shear. Doesn't fall for it. Drainer lands that, although overlapped with Incapacitate. Now MonkaS caught into a Cap Totem, but Drainer at the same time in a Polymorph. Both healers locked out. Yes Dave trades out Temporal Shield during this critical moment while his team is crowd controlled. Bounces back to full. Alec and Nixie trying to get aggressive, but having a difficult time. There's the Stormbolt. Avatar activated. Yes Dave trinkets, but he's just tanking it. I guess the Earthen Shield Totem is absorbing quite a few hits. Both teams just seem to be so durable now. Moving into dampening, though, it will eventually end.
That is true. That is a certainty in World of Warcraft. Alec did use his Icy Veins there. Wasn't able to really pull any sort of defensive cooldowns. Unfortunately, not able to get too much damage out. Rezus has been doing a good job shutting him down. In the meantime, Nixie's been doing a good job shutting Yes Dave down. Both melee just basically controlling the enemy. Frost Mage is denying the crowd control as much as possible to sort of get that edge in this matchup.
All right, Dave really taking the brunt end of this exchange at the moment. Drainer doesn't have much to work with. He's going to activate Temporal Shield and try and reverse the pressure on Alec in this moment, but gets cloned at low health. MonkaS has been doing a great job in this game. He's gotten multiple Vortexes on Blinks, multiple clones on Temporal Shields. It's almost unfortunate that they can't capitalize on it. Normally in this position, they'd be able to at least force an Ice Block, but they're not even going to get it. So MonkaS' efforts are not going to bear any fruit. We see Drainer caught now into a clone, and MonkaS really on fire, trying to set up for at least an Ice Block from Yes Dave. It's really surprising that they can't even get it. Yes Dave finally dipping low enough. Are they going to get the Ice Block? They finally get the Ice Block, now securing a significant lead.
Yeah, Rezus, he used his Serenity, he used his Touch of Death, wasn't able to get anything from Alec, and those are the moments he needs to save his Trinket for. Not any earlier, not any later. Yes Dave now using the Icy Veins, wants to get aggressive on Alec as well. Yes Dave still just kiting away. A lot of pressure coming in from Nixie, 20% dampening. Polymorph spam going out from Alec onto Rezus. Can't find it onto Drainer, unfortunately. Now legs over onto MonkaS as they make a swap over onto him. MonkaS really not too afraid of this damage. Still has the Bark Skin, still has the Trinket, but a lot of pressure coming in from Rezus. Maybe not respecting the damage enough.
He doesn't have Guardian Affinity, and you can easily stay on the Druid, I think, compared to the Mage. So I think training MonkaS is actually the best strategy. He needs to maybe back up with some crowd control on Nixie. Nixie's just able to stay on target way too much in this position. We see a Bash, Poly, triple crowd control for the team of Tempo Storm. What can they do off the back of this? They're looking to try and force Cold Snap. They do manage to force it. Now they need to get a nice block from Yes Dave and then kill him further into the match. But I like going after MonkaS. He's really been the MVP set up for kills, and if going him means he can't Cyclone safely or he risks dying. Rez is just sitting on his face right now.
Nice setup.
This could be the second block forced from Yes Dave, and now Tempo Storm in a position to knock Daily Feed into the final match of this game. Will he be able to stay alive? He's still crowd controlled at the end of this Ice Block.
Yeah, Nixie's still on target. A lot of pressure on the Yes Dave. He gets caught in the Stormbolt. Spirit Link Totem gets traded out there by Drainer to keep him alive. There's really nothing left for Daily Feed. Yes Dave has to do an excellent job kiting. Rezus needs to help create some pressure onto Alec, but he's just getting controlled way too much. You can see Alec just kiting away, looking for the polymorphs once again onto Rezus. MonkaS in a good position to support Alec. Drainer finally able to top off Yes Dave, but they are way ahead on cooldowns. Alec still has both Ice Blocks available. Yes Dave not going to have one available for another 5 minutes.
This is Touch of Death right now, and if they don't get an Ice Block with it, I don't think they can win this game at this point. They need to get it, and they've got a paralysis, but Rezus can't get on target. Alec is just walking. He ultimately does Ice Block, so there is some opportunity here now for Daily Feed to win. With no Ironbark and now the second Ice Block, the only last line of defense for Alec. They have an opportunity to strike back. Mana still completely even. Dampening is starting to get very high at 30% healing reduction. Drainer looks like he's sneaking away for a drink maybe behind the cart. No, doesn't want to risk it. Yes, Dave locked out. Rezu's trinkets for a play here, but Yes, Dave is the one on the back foot trying to wait for that temporal shield. He blinks out of the Earthen Shield Totem. Does he see the Earthen Shield Totem? He's just bouncing slightly outside of it. This is a huge mistake from Yes, Dave. Full Cyclone as Minpoike looks to close with a Star Surge. Flashy play from Minpoike in these final moments, but definitely a throwaway for Yes, Dave there.
And now we are going to see Daily Feed truly with their backs against the wall here. They are facing potentially dropping down to that lower portion of the bracket. And just
for damage from the trinkets, that's a block or, you know, that Alec.
Big pew potential. Do want to note, though, the fortifying brew stacks are not at 32,719. That is going to be a UI bug. But let's see if the triple big red button is in the future.
Yeah. I was going to say, they've already got a polymorph on Drainer. That's going to stall them out. Rezu's just retreats away. Drainer just locked out of the game. They're waiting for him to get out of polymorphs before they pull the trigger. I'm wondering who they're going to attack. I mean, it must be Alec. Yes, Dave now getting storm bolted. He's choosing not to trinket. I don't want to see him throw this away. We saw Rezu's use diffuse magic to get out of a Frost Nova. Way of the Crane activated. Alec taking a huge amount of damage, already having to block, and the triple monk might actually be exactly what they needed.
And I can't believe it. They already forced an Ice Block out in the first 20 seconds of the game. Alex still not getting topped off, and now Daily Feed, they can all just retreat to the pillar. Yes, Dave has Serenity. He has his Touch of Death. Rezus has his Touch of Death as well. They can consistently do these goes. The double leg sweep from Rezus and Drainer, while Yes, Dave sort of crowd controls up Minpoike with the in-cap and the leg sweep. They definitely have a lot of opportunity. Temple Storm, they have to survive. If the game goes on late enough, I can easily see Temple Storm closing this out.
Yep, and we see the team of Triple Monk retreating back to the Tombstone Ring of Peace as well, just locking them down. Nixie's blade storming through that to connect to anybody, but I think their win condition is running Drainer out of mana. He's going to have to be careful with his Way of the Cranes. He wants to make sure he gets maximum value. It's such an expensive spell, and I think it's the only way they end up going down. They have so many defensive options. They're taking quite a long time to actually start an attack on Alec, and they're actually going after Drainer. He's going to use that Fortifying Brew, make himself a bit more tanky now, moving forward towards Alec. There's Way of the Crane. There's Paralysis. This could easily be the second block. Alec trinkets and runs instead of trading out Ice Block. They overlap with Double Fear. They might even be able to just cut through it. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. That was nice timing from Alec. Easy recovery.
Yeah, that wasn't Serenity from anyone, though, and they managed to get out that Ironbark from Minpoike, which is very, very critical. Now, Yes, Dave and Rezus have an opportunity with the Serenity to take him down. If they can just wait, be a little bit patient. Alec, he has to do an excellent job kiting here in this situation. Ring of Peace going to be used by Drainer to keep himself alive, and now Rezus and Yes, Dave are looking to get aggressive.
Yeah, they're on target. Alec drops a Frozen Orb to try and snare up the monks. Will that be enough to hold them off? We see a Vortex drop down. Here are the Serenities, double Serenity. Rop knocks Alec back behind the box, but they can easily escape now. Double port from the monks as they're just trying to stay on top of Alec. He blinks away, but you cannot get away from two monks. Double Rising Sun kicks going straight to the face. Alec's Temporal Shield is ticking. That's about to blow up and heal himself back to full. Great timing from Alec overall. Really not getting caught off guard whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Daily Feed, they need to separate those Serenities. There's a bash onto Rezus with the polymorph onto Drainer. The trinket's going to keep Rezus alive for now. Continuing the damage over onto Alec. I really like what Temple Storm did there. They weathered that storm perfectly. Minpoike able to land a clone onto Yes, Dave with no trinket available. Alec did an excellent job holding on to his blinks, his Ice Novas to really deny the mobility from Rezus and Yes, Dave on that Serenity. And that's why I really think Daily Feed, they need to stagger those cooldowns, giving them more windows of opportunity to get that burst off.
All right, well, Temple Storm has managed to proc both tank trinkets from both monks, so now those are two viable kill targets, and looks like they're actually going after Drainer. He's got Way of the Crane, though. This could be a ton of damage on Alec. It could easily be the second Ice Block. He's got to be careful. They rob Minpoike off the side, but not going to really get too much with that. He's trying to get some regrowth. He needs to get some cast of heals. They rob Alec back downstairs. They're trying to limit his kiting potential, but not able to get a second Ice Block with that push. They would have really liked to. Drainer now getting cloned up as they set up damage onto Yes, Dave, it would appear. He's retreating back behind the box. Nixie staying on target. Portal's back away. And also on top of Alec, a double value port, but he's very low. Drainer doesn't do much. He's got the cocoon. They overlap it, though. And Daily Feed, even though they've had such a great start, are falling behind.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like Temple Storm sort of figured it out, but there's a full leg sweep on Alec. He's just going to be tanking through this damage with the Ironbark, with the Temporal Shield. There's a Touch of Death committed by Yes, Dave and Rezus. Two Touch of Deaths on Alec, but easily deflected by that Ironbark from Minpoike, reducing all of that incoming damage. And now it's Temple Storm's time to get a little bit aggressive. Rezus does have the Serenity up, so they need to be a little scared of that, but really, with both Touch of Death down, Alex should be fine.
Drainer caught into a Stormbolt. He did pre-fortifying Brew, expecting to get swapped to. That was a nice move by Drainer. Now he's going to weigh the Crane. Huge damage. Alec trinkets, but it could be an overlap with his Ice Block. MonkaS trying to get in line of sight to pick him back up. Huge hits. Another paralysis on MonkaS. Alec tries to blink to safety, spamming out Polymorphs. Desperately trying to hang on to that second Ice Block. Cyclone gets stunned up. Alec is getting just 2 monks in his face. So what is he going to do? He can't kite away anywhere. Rezu's portal's on top of him. Yes, Dave portal's away. And this is just a nightmare to keep track of which monk is which, who doesn't have a cooldown, especially with that tank trinket. If Tempo Storm pull this off, they're literally legends.
Yep, there's a stun on Rezus. Bash over onto Drainer as well. Rezus, this could be the touch of karma coming in from him, but no, going to be able to survive. Drainer keeping him alive. There's a nice Cyclone coming in from MonkaS as well. Can he get the Cyclone over onto Drainer? Lands on it. Yes, Dave. MonkaS MVP right now, getting those offensive Cyclones, making it a nightmare for Drainer to actually top off his team. Now the Polymorph secured by Alec over onto Drainer in the situation as they make a big swap over onto MonkaS. Leg sweep committed onto him. Rezu's able to get there as well. Nice defensive fear from Nixie. Looks like no one's going to be trinketing out of that. Unfortunately, the fear does break, so they are on target. Onto MonkaS. He could be in some trouble here. Gets into bear form, tops himself off, and he will manage to survive.
Drainer is doing a good job with his mana. Normally, his way of the Crane, he would be at this point, but he's managing his mana quite effectively. We can see Alec caught into a leg sweep. They'd like to force Ice Block with that, but they don't manage to get it, and they're falling more and more behind it. It's just so surprising. Maybe they shouldn't overlap their Touch of Death, split them up, and then get Temporal Shield out of the way, because Temporal Shield has been denying all of their burst every single time from Alec. They have no way of removing it. Drainer getting polymorphed as it looks like they're setting up damage on Rezu's. Ring of Peace is going to deny Nixie's reconnect. Rezu's moving over to try and find MonkaS and stop the drink. Yes, Dave charges over, but they're not stopping the drink. He's going back to full mana and is likely to extend this into quite a late game. They're trying to go after him, maybe. Ring of Peace does pull him out of stealth. Just tanking out in bear form. Icy Veins available, but Touch of Karma available. Both sides just so durable as each healer is now drinking back to full mana. It's basically a clean reset for both teams.
Yeah, yes, Dave trinkets out of that stun, though. Onto MonkaS, a lot of pressure. Uses the Touch of Karma, uses the Touch of Death. MonkaS needs to respect this damage in bear form with Barkskin. Trying to kite away. Alec just spamming out the Polymorphs to keep him alive. Serenity activated by Rezus. Ironbark and Barkskin to be used by MonkaS to survive that damage. Eventually will kite away. And now Rezus is going to be in a lot of trouble. You can see no one has a trinket from Daily Feed, and Rezus really doesn't have any defensives left.
I mean, they just panicked and overlapped every single defensive. That puts Daily Feed incredibly far behind. Nice Rop onto that Ray of Frost, knocking him away and interrupting up. MonkaS looking for some cheeky clones. Get one onto Drainer. Rezu's already hiding. Yes, Dave hiding as well. Nixie needs to just stay on target a little longer. Way of Crane available, but 2 Ice Blocks for Alec. That early Ice Block just means nothing now at this point. Daily Feed are going to need to try and find a different opening. MonkaS didn't seem to really work for them either. Maybe they should go after Nixie. I'm not entirely sure, because Alec is just laser focused on having a good tournament performance here today. He's just avoiding so much burst, reading the situations perfectly, not getting caught off guard by any cheese strategies, making good swaps onto Drainer. Tempo Storm are looking like they're in a dominant position right now. Drainer ducks behind the corner. If Nixie gets over there, he's got Execute ready and waiting to chop Drainer. He's moving over towards MonkaS. Potentially they're going to go after him. He's in bear form. He's ready. He's waiting. Yes, Dave polymorphed away. It looks like they are trying to go after MonkaS. Maybe even split. I think that could be good as well. Touch of Death on 2 targets. Try and just push them over that way. Full polymorph on Drainer. Full clone on Yes, Dave. Rezu's in a 3v1. Perfect setup from Tempo Storm. Nice Vortex. MonkaS just owning right now. That tank trinket procs. Do they have enough damage to cut through it? Is the question. Rop from Rezu's denies Nixie from reconnecting, and Rezu's is hanging on by a thread. He's still at a 3-on-1 for a few more seconds. Rolling down to the middle of the map, but gets Stormbolt. Ray of Frost. He blinks out of line of sight to avoid being interrupted and gets cycloned at low health on Karma. Great execution from Tempo Storm. Ultimately, though, I don't know if they can get a kill off this. They need to try and get some crowd control on Drainer. They got the triple clone. They denied the Karma. Drainer's in midfield. If Alec can sneak in a polymorph, they definitely can win. They get it!
Yeah, there's the full polymorph on Drainer. Rezu's still in a lot of trouble, but the Monk Cocoon going to be used by Drainer to keep Rezus alive. He still has to kite away. The Monk Portal has a much longer cooldown, and BFA finally comes off CD, still kiting away. In a lot of trouble. There's the Stormbolt. Beautiful Ring of Peace to keep himself alive, but Rezus, I don't think he can last much longer. Tempo Storm going to clean sweep Daily Feed.
That was 2 minutes of Tempo Storm domination. Literally 2 minutes of just straight domination.
MonkaS. It was not enough. And
Expecting assassinations, I thought we would see sub or maybe even outlaw. So assassination doesn't have the same kind of control. Radipai's team can definitely just overwhelm with burst damage, but Chaz will have the late game advantage with the Resto Druid. Waz and Acro both in stealth, sneaking to try and find each other. If we can see any saps on the mages, that could be devastating, but now that combat is secured for both teams, no saps will be happening. Waz waiting to pull the trigger now, opening up on Amaro. Acro is going to make a move now. He's out of position, though. He's got to close a lot of distance. Well, meanwhile, Waz is just building up damage. Acro opens with a stun, double stun combo, but no polymorph to follow out of that onto Chaz, unfortunately. Waz now getting swapped to and bursted down, taking immense pressure early on, already proccing the tank trinket out of the way.
Yeah, and one thing you might have noticed is both teams are actually playing Horde in this matchup. In the past, we've always seen them play the human, but unfortunately that was taken down a notch. So now the Orc Rachel is going to be better in the mirror, apparently. Waz now putting a little bit of pressure over on Amaro with the full kidney shot. Paint suppression going to be thrown out by Ratipai to keep him alive. There's a full blind over onto Chaz. This is Vendetta from Waz as well, and really not getting too much.
Waz vanished during the blind. Acro wasn't able to find him and stun him. Chaz ultimately trinketing, though, here during this exchange, which is fair enough. Waz is dipping dangerously low. That was the blind, the biggest crowd control in the game, so trading that out is fine. Now Chaz is trying to get aggressive, jumping over for a bash, trying to fake cast the counter spell. Gets polymorphed on the Cyclone, though. Cheeky play from Maro. That's going to open up some potential here. Looks like Making a Movie have been focusing Waz, though, most of the game instead of Raikou, and this is a big target difference between the teams because Method Black are targeting the Mage. We're going to get to see which strategy is actually better, I think, this game.
Yeah, Waz actually trading out the Cloak of Shadows as well. It's a 2-minute cooldown. He's not going to have that available for quite some time. There's a smoke bomb as well. He's trying to kite out of it, getting lower and lower. Chaz trying to play catch up, but still, Waz in a lot of trouble. You can see Ratipai just throwing out the smites over and over and over. Ray of Frost gets channeled out. Waz trying to keep himself alive with the Shadow Step kick, but still not topped off.
Defensive blind?
Ooh, full poly.
Full poly defensive blind, though. If Acro gets sap, potentially advantage not available. He can't sap it. He tries to death from above to immune the stun. That was nice play from Waz, but it's not enough. Now caught into the kidney shot. Maro, though, caught in the stun as well. Can't reverse any pressure. Acro gets cloned up. Chaz trying to pause damage and heal Waz back up, but a shadow step kick from Acro interrupts the follow-up. Waz is dipping low. Maro as well. Ratipai caught into a bash. Acro in a poly. Triple crowd control from Method Black as they're launching an assault, forcing potentially an ice block from Maro. They need to get it. Do they have enough? Another clone secured from Chaz. They get it. First ice block out of the way. It's a long way to a second one, though. Waz with no trinket, Chaz with no trinket. It's a big opening now for Making Movie to make a swing.
There's a full kidney shot with the Dark Archangel from Ratipai. Chaz respecting the damage with the Iron Bark. Waz now back on target, putting some pressure over onto Maru. Raikou just getting polymorph spam there by Maru as well. Raikou looking for the polymorphs onto Ratipai, but Ratipai's been doing a good job with his positioning so far, avoiding the CC from Raikou, and he's able to get a lot of damage because of it.
All right, Waz trying to stay on target, but so many Frost Novas manages to reconnect with Death from Above. Interesting choice from Waz. I don't think Acro's running that, but he's going after the Rogue instead, so he doesn't really need it. Waz trying to crowd control the whole team. Nice poly on the trinket of Acro. Now switching it over to Ratipai. Sick play from Raikou here. Can they capitalize on it and force the second ice block? Maro's on the run. Acro peels for him. Temporal Shield about to go off. Maro might bounce back. No, it's not enough. They get the second ice block, and Method Black are in a dominating position.
Yeah, Method Black has so much control with that Resto Druid. Maro's still in a lot of trouble. Ratipai not out of crowd control yet. Another Cyclone comes in. Maro getting lower and lower. Finally a big heal connecting by Ratipai, but he's into the full bash. Maro trying to survive. Ray of Frost being channeled by Raikou. Nice Cyclone by Chaz. That's going to be denying any heals coming in from Ratipai, as he did use his trinket and get another polymorph. Fortunately, no. Maro is going to be okay. Ratipai finally has a moment to breathe and top him off.
All right, Waz still just getting tunneled down by Making a Movie. They're committing all out to this kill the rogue strategy, and it's slowly but surely not working for them as Maro's burned through 2 ice blocks. And at this point, Making a Movie have to keep going for it. They don't have the time to go through 2 ice blocks on Raikou. Maro's in trouble. Everyone in crowd control as Method Black launch another attack. Maro's got Temporal Shield rolling preemptively. Huge heal for him. Nice play, but he's caught in center field, trying to kite out of the vortex before he goes for a blink, but now gets locked on polymorph. He's not able to escape to safety. Ratipai still locked down. Cloning Maro at low health. Chaz moving in. I'd love to see a punish swap on Chaz. He's just spamming clone in the middle of the map. If the Shadow Step kidney shot just kill him would be the play, I think. Maro, though, is just falling more and more behind us. Chaz moves in for the game-winning clone. Maro's got nothing left. Everybody's in CC. He's hanging on by a thread, but it's not enough as Method Black look almost untouchable in game number 1.
Now, the big thing that I want to discuss right now, Zico, is something that you have talked about on stream just so many. Or is Method Black going to find themselves on match point.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. I think the smaller map may be for making a move to land Fears. Like maybe Valet is going to be able to get Fears on a Chaz to extend the crowd control chain. That's the only advantage I could see making a move we have on this map if they can pull it off. But still, I don't know. I think Method Black has an advantage on the smaller map.
And Valet trying to use Mind Seer on his partner, so that just AoEs shadow damage around them to pull the rogue out of stealth, but they've already got a Blizzard behind the box, just closing Raikou and Chaz in. Waz is trying to sneak across. He doesn't want to get pulled out of stealth. He wants to make sure he can get a Garrote off. It's his highest hitting ability. He can only do it from stealth, which only happens very rarely in the game, but he's standing right on top of him. He could easily get pulled out of stealth. Goes for a cheap shot. Ratapai's already in bear form. Raikou can't polymorph him out of that, unfortunately. He's just polymorphing up Valet instead. Chaz moves in to look for a cheeky clone, gets blocked out, though. Really good play there from Maro. Ratapai gonna trinket out of blind, trade Ironbark on Vendetta. A very fair trade for Ratapai, and I'm curious to see how Method Black are gonna capitalize on this. Are they gonna make a swap maybe? It seems like they've got a clone on Chaz for now. Waz the primary target. Chaz step kick, interrupting that Ray of Frost. Just tunneling down Maro, looking for that first ice block with no Ironbark now to buffer. It should be likely that in the next setup they can force it.
Yeah, Ebonbolt being cast out by Maro, looking for some damage now onto Raikou, but that's going to get deflected easily by the Hots of Chaz. Full Cyclone now onto Valet. Method Black has so much control at their disposal. Both teams really do, with the Mage and the Druid available to them. Ebonbolt being cast out by Raikou, now looking for some damage. Everyone dips out of line of sight though, so Raikou not able to really find anything. There's a full polymorph onto Ratapai. Maro could be in some trouble now as the Ray of Frost is being channeled out. Master Spell coming in from Valet, and Method Black, they need to make sure that they're interrupting the Master Spell on Valet or getting cross crowd control, or any of the CC they get on Ratapai could easily just be Master Spell.
All right, Chaz getting cycloned up by Ratapai. Raikou caught in a stun. He's trinketing out and on the run, but will he be able to hang out? Now a kidney shot on Maro. They're looking to reverse this. Ratapai Ironbark's soaking a lot of this damage up and really not allowing Method Black to build any momentum whatsoever. Chaz with a significant mana lead at this point, and it's likely to be a longer match, I would imagine. It doesn't seem like either team has enough burst to really force the issue just yet. Maro getting cloned up, denying any build up on his side. Chaz moving forward to now clone Valet and stop a drink on Ratapai, and maybe even clone him as well. There's triple crowd control from Method Black. They need to get an ice block with this. They've set up the situation perfectly. Maro blinks to safety. Waz Shadow steps to follow up. Temporal Shield. It's a race against the clock.
Ooh.
Will he be able to do it? It looks like he's going to be able to hold on to that ice block. An unfortunate result for Method Black.
Yeah, Maro now getting cycloned up. Raikou taking a little damage. There's an interrupt over onto Ratapai. Maybe they try to get some pressure over on him. I think Waz is trying to slow down some of that cyclone control that Ratapai has. Still just on target, making sure Maro has a very difficult time building up damage. That's one of the problems as a Frost Mage. If you are getting chain interrupted, you are getting chain attacked, it can be difficult to build up that damage we see some mages do. There's an interrupt on the Maro into a Garrote Silence, full blind on Ratapai. Do they have any follow-up? It looks like everyone's going to be moving in. There's a disarm onto Chaz. Nice sap coming in from Waz. Could they force out the first ice block? It doesn't look like it. Valet supporting up Maro very, very nicely with the powered shields, with the heals. Nice Master Spell on that Cyclone. And once again, they need to get the cross-crowd control on Valet if they want to continue this aggression.
All right, Chaz trying to time some cyclones on that temporal shield. Maro caught into a kidney shot. Method Black have been initiating triple crowd control chains throughout this entire match and getting a lot of momentum, but just no cooldowns, and it's really unfortunate. Right there, they would have loved to get an ice block. They try and keep the momentum going, potentially forcing it now with Ray of Frost, but Ironbark from Ratapai should stabilize the situation. In the meantime, making a move here, trying to make something happen here with a polymorph and a clone on Chaz, chasing down Raikou as the target, but it seems like he's already blinked to safety, so they're forced to switch targets to Waz. Do they have enough damage to force Cloak of Shadows? It doesn't appear to be the case, as both healers are out of crowd control and likely to easily recover in this position.
Yeah, kidney shot now on Ratapai. Raikou getting in position. They're looking for damage on him. It looks like there's not going to be any follow-up. Interrupt over onto Valet. Maro taking quite a bit of burst here, but he gets topped off by Ratapai. That was actually the bark skin used by Ratapai. So Ratapai, no trinket, no bark skin available. This could be an opportunity, a swap opportunity for Method Black in the future if they can take him down. Ratapai is getting trained down. It's very, very scary, especially if Raikou was playing that Kleptomania talent. He can remove all of the hots on Ratapai and they can get a lot of effective damage on him.
All right, Ratapai in bear form before that stun lock, negating this entire attempt. Chaz is also getting targeted by making a movie as well. So I'm curious to see if the Druids end up being the kill targets in this matchup, trying to spread the triple pressure. It's running them out of mana a lot faster if they have to keep heal over time effects on 3 targets. So it's a smart move to play for the late game if you're just trying to run the Druids out of mana. Just attack everyone on the team. Ratapai caught into a kidney shot once again. Do they have enough damage to push him over the edge? Comet Storm crashing in doesn't seem to be enough. Vilai backing him up with huge heals during that stun lock. Vilai was MVP to keep Ratify alive. Double Fear Silence combo now set up from Vilai. He's looking to offensively reverse the pressure. Raikou out of line of sight of Chaz. He's trying to blink back to his side, but he's caught into a bash. Bash now faded, no follow-up. Raikou recovers. Ratify getting garroted. Waz trying to set up for another assault. He's just attacking everybody on the team, really playing for the mana advantage later into the game.
Yeah, that was Maro's Icy Veins. Wasn't really able to get too much. Raikou had a very nice counterspell on that Ray of Frost, denying that damage. Barskin going to be committed by Ratify once again with a swap coming in from Method Black. Ratify will survive. They're not going to be committing any more damage, but they got the cooldown that they wanted. They can get Ratify into another kidney shot. Maybe they get the trinket, and then maybe a little bit later on they can do a blind play, try to take someone else down. There's a lot of opportunities brewing up for Method Black here to start him into Polymorph over on a Chaz. Raikou just line of sighting the best he can, avoiding this damage, and that's really one of the problems, is they need to make sure they can get some lockdown on their target, otherwise they'll just be able to use these boxes to line of sight and avoid this incoming damage.
Ratify looking for some Cyclones, but he could get punished. Waz is still kind of gunning down for him. He needs to be careful when he gets aggressive. He gets stunned out of bear form. That's easily going to force a trinket. He does get stunned out of bear form, but Vilai backs him up with a triple Psychic Scream and tons of damage on Waz, bursting him dangerously low, but that trinket proccing a huge absorb, allowing him to recover through that situation. We see Bash Poly Silence, and making a movie, despite their momentum being really low, are getting a lot of clean setups. Deeper into dampening, Raikou and Waz aren't going to have the luxury to recover as easily.
Yeah, this is Icy Veins from Raikou. You know they want to get aggressive. Who is their target of choice? Maro into the kidney shot right now, but no crowd control on Ratify. Should be able to easily heal through this damage. Raikou dumps all of his icicles there, but Maro's going to be completely fine with that temporal shield. Keep himself alive. We're 11% dampening. Like you said, Sid, as dampening gets higher and higher, it becomes much more difficult for this team to keep up.
All right, Vilai getting polymorphed away. Method Black trying to stall out maybe for a drink. No, now blinding, triple crowd control. Good setup by Method Black. They need to get an ice block with this. Maro trinkets and blinks to try and deny it. Now standing over on top of his healer, Ratify, but Ratify's bashed. Do they have enough damage to force ice block? They need to, getting into dampening if they want to get a lead here. They've held Maro at low health. Ratify moving over for a bash. Cyclone of his own. Raikou getting silenced. Trinkets to counterspell Ratify's clone. That was a nice play from Raikou. Backing up Chaz, breaking up the chain, and now putting Maro in a hard position. Ratify will Iron Bark to deny the kill. Once again, holding on to that critical defensive ice block.
Yeah, Maro's going to be completely fine. Nice Cyclone coming in from Chaz. That was the Iron Bark from Ratify as well. Now a Cyclone onto Raikou. A lot of control for both teams in this matchup so far. Waz has the Vendetta up. Who's he going to pull the trigger on? Potentially on Maro. He still has both ice blocks to respond with. Now Waz could be in some trouble. It looks like he's going to be fine. The trinket will proc. He has a Cloak of Shadows available
Ratify
as well. Here's a big swap over on a Ratify. Barkskin going to be committed, but they just can't find the damage to take Ratify down.
He keeps getting backup from Maro and Vilai. It's so difficult for them to control the whole team. And Ratify's actually losing on mana, so the late game is going more and more in favor of Method Black as they can work through ice blocks when healing is reduced significantly more in dampening. Vendetta available. Waz ready and waiting to pull that trigger. I'm curious if he wants to go after Ratify. There's no trinket. There's no Barkskin. That would be the most vulnerable target for that cooldown. They know Waz wants to gun for it, so they're trying to punish him on this overextension, forcing a Cloak of Shadows. Nice moves from making a move, but Waz does ultimately connect. He's got a kidney shot out of form. Vendetta gets popped. Ratify could be in a lot of trouble, but Raikou just can't get there. Raikou's on the opposite side. Waz is going to solo Ratify? I don't think so. Iron Bark now on Ratify. Waz maybe solos him. Raikou hasn't even done a point of damage to Ratify yet. He dipped so low. Triple Fear now out for Vilai. Maybe they can reverse some pressure here. Let's see if they can get the follow-up. Doesn't look like they can get it. Method Black will stabilize.
That was really nice positioning from Vilai to get that triple fear there. It seemed like everyone was on opposite sides of the box and still managed to land it. Raikou just getting some control out right now, spamming out the polymorphs onto Vilai. A little bit of pressure now over onto Maru. Raikou dumping some of that burst onto him. Waz looking to get aggressive. There's a kidney shot over onto Ratify. It looks like Waz is going to commit that for crowd control instead, but doesn't look like there's going to be any follow-up. Nice sounds coming in from Vilai. There's a disarm over onto Waz. No Cloak of Shadows available. Waz a very susceptible target now with no trinket available after this. No Cloak of Shadows for a minute. No Vanish. This is an opportunity for making a movie to take someone down from Method Black.
Yeah, Ratify trinketing blind, so his trinket now no longer available. He was trying to be greedy and sit through it, but ultimately did decide to make the trade. Waz playing Relentless has no way to also trinket out of a stun lock, so he needs to be careful in this position. In the meantime, though, Method Black have triple control of the opposing team making a movie. Amaro is on the run. Raikou blinks on top of him, trying to dish out a ton of pain. Ratify leaves the crowd control. Chaz is just dogpiling on top of Ratify. It's I'm curious to see which Cyclone gets off first when they're just both stacked. Chaz is trying to fake cast some interrupts. Ratify now going for a clone. Gets kicked, though, by Waz. Mara dipping low. He already Temporal Shield. Now Valai manages to get a double Psychic Scream. Now a stun on Chaz. Looks like they're actually going to go after Chaz instead, trying to make a swap as both teams go after the healers. Barkskin gets traded out on both sides. An even trade, but Ratify is slightly behind moving forward.
Yeah, he has no trinket available, and you can see Waz, he has a Vendetta coming up shortly. That's definitely an opportunity. You can see Valet, he still has the trinket and the lifestyle, but he trinketed. That could be a critical mistake. If they can get cross crowd control on Valet, they can take down Ratify before Valet can support him with that life swap. So there's an opportunity for Method Black. With that trinket from Valet, Cyclone now on tomorrow. Waz just chasing down Ratify. There's a full kidney shot. Vendetta does get activated. Can they take him down? Rare Frost gets activated by Raikou. Mara is spamming out the polymorphs, but that is not enough. Ratify will go down with the CC onto Valet. He was not able to get that life swap off. Beautifully done by Method Black.
And that damage was absolutely unbearable for Ratify, and this map just tends to be a fitting final
resting place as it is a cemetery, Rich.
Yeah, you can see making a movie, they're going to be charging in. Ratify looking to get Raikou out of invisibility if he can. It really wants to deny that. He manages to do it. Now Acro and Mara are going to have the perfect opener if they can manage to move in and get that crowd control. Waz going to be looking to deny it the best he can as well. So, Acro playing the subtlety spec can have a lot more control in this matchup, like we said, allowing Mara to get more polymorphs and more pressure for his team.
All right, both rogues just waiting in stealth. Each mage is completely loaded up on icicles, which means they have a ton of damage to dish out as soon as this fight starts. And full polymorph secured from Ratify on stealth. Actually breaks from Acro cheap shotting him. That was a bit unfortunate there, or from Waz cheap shotting. That's a bit unfortunate. That's going to put them behind. Now Chaz caught into a Ring of Frost. Raikou and a poly. Great crowd control from making a movie early on. Tons of damage triggering that proc absorb as well as Cloak of Shadows, and making a movie have a massive lead.
Yeah, Chaz still in the fear. Waz isn't out of it yet. Uses the Vanish to escape. Now he definitely is out of it as he is invisibility. Actually gets taken out. Acro trying to reconnect over on him. Chaz needs to play catch up in this moment. Doesn't want to be greedy with the Iron Bark. Waz gets lower and lower and lower. Raikou gets interrupted there, but finally Waz should be able to stabilize. Nice to see coming out. Defensive blind coming in from Waz. So now Method Black isn't going to have that available offensively.
Smoke bomb gets dropped. Chaz pre-Iron Barked it. Great play from Chaz that just negated an entire setup that could have closed the game. Good read from Chaz. Now Chaz is moving forward. He's getting aggressive. Gets a Cyclone on Ratify. Poly on Acro. Triple crowd control for Method Black as they launch an attack towards Morrow. He blinks back. He should heal back to full with the Temporal Shield. And very well timed by him. He's going to easily recover. They're waiting for Tree of Life to fade on Chaz. It's now over, so Acro's getting ready. He shadow steps into a kidney shot. Do they have Ring of Frost? They do, but they've also got Psychic Scream. Ratify in a great position to land it out of the stun. Waz on the run. Acro not able to stay on target, unfortunately, and that crowd control chain completely negated by Waz's excellent kitey.
Yeah, that was very well done. In addition, Raikou just spamming out the polymorphs on tomorrow, denying that Ring of Frost incoming. Expertly done by Method Black, defusing the situation. Now they want to get aggressive on tomorrow, I believe, as he gets interrupted. Raikou trying to create some pressure. And you can see actually Waz, he's going to be going over on Acro. Full Cyclone on Ratify. Acro getting lower and lower. No Cloak of Shadows available. Ratify might have to trinket out of this one, but the trinket will be enough to keep him alive for now.
Yeah, that absorb trinket now out of the way. No trinket, no cloak. He is definitely a kill target later on if Waz wants to swap. Acro goes for a kidney shot. Chaz pre-shapeshifts. Ratify's going to have to Psychic Scream out of this. But Waz is already kiting. He shadow steps, kidney shots Acro so that he can avoid being stunned. But now he's Frost Nova'd. Acro marching towards him, gets Frost Nova'd. Great teamwork between Raikou and Waz, preventing the connection on Waz during that crowd control moment. It's just excellent teamwork from Method Black.
Yeah, and now Method Black can get aggressive. There's no kidney shot on a Chaz that they really need to worry about. Bash over on a Ratify. Can Chaz land the follow-up Cyclone? It looks like he isn't going to be able to get it. Raikou lends polymorph though. Mara taking quite a bit of burst. He blinks out of the Comet Storm to avoid some damage. Temporal Shield's activated as well. Waz and Raikou struggling to find pressure on Mara. There's the full Cyclone on Ratify. Finally, the burst connecting as they make a swap over onto Waz, trying to turn around this pressure. Looks like Waz is going to be okay. Nice polymorph spam coming in from Raikou to deny making moves from getting any sort of pressure onto Waz.
Chaz caught in a Psychic Scream. Waz has defensive cooldowns available, but Raikou is just babysitting him quite effectively by polymorphing Acro and denying any sort of damage. They do manage to proc the trinket, at least on Waz. That absorb shield not going to be available for a later push. They've got Dark Archangel. Ratify and their team need to force trinkets, as Method Black have all three available to get out of crowd control. Morrow is the one under pressure right now as Raikou's laying in. Huge damage, could force an ice block, try and hold on to it. Chaz is chasing down Ratify to hold him in place. Temporal Shield activated by Morrow as he's trying to launch a crowd control chain of his own, but he gets denied. denied by Waz. Ratify in a poly, Chaz in a blind, likely to trinket, and that means Maro's on the back foot, forced to ice block. Ratify coming out of a poly into another poly. If they can keep Ratify in crowd control, Maro will not get healed back up. Acro stuck in a poly, it's 3-on-1, then ice block is going to be fading. Waz Garrotes him out of the ice block instantly. Ratify still getting cloned up as Maro dips low, barely connecting a big heal in time. Now Ratify recovers, he goes aggressive, gets a Psychic Scream, but who are they attacking? Nobody's taking damage and making a movie. They've almost got nothing left.
Raiku's been doing such a good job shutting down Maro. He gets a counter spell on Maro. Maro goes for the ring. He gets polymorphed on it. Now Raikou getting swapped to. Big pressure coming in from Acro, but Waz there to protect with the Vanish cheap shot over onto Acro. Raikou still getting bursted down a little bit. Looks like making a movie. They're going to be looking for a target change. Raikou just doing too much in this matchup so far to deny Maro these polymorphs that they desperately need in order to win this game. Raikou down to around 50% HP. There's a full blind on to Ratify. They want to get aggressive over onto Maro. He still has an ice block available. He's going to be trading it out. Realizing Ratify, he's going to get CC'd for quite some time. He doesn't want to take too much damage.
Yeah, Ratify using Trinket before blind means that he doesn't have it there for the longest crowd control. They have to use the final ice block. That's the last bastion of defense. Right now, their only opportunity is kill Chaz. He's got no Trinket. If they stun him out of bear form and 100-0 him, I feel like they're going to do it. This is their only... This is it. They have to kill him 100-0. Do they have the damage to do it? They have to finish him if they want to swing the series back, but Waz denies it with a stun on Acro, and Chaz survives. Still a close call, and he's got another 30 seconds. If that happens again in that window, he's just going to disappear.
Yeah, Maro really didn't commit his damage there. He didn't have anything available, so making a movie, potentially just baiting out some CDs from Chaz. Like you said, if they can get one more clean setup, they can easily take him down. Wash trying to control up the game with the Garrote over onto Maro. Taking a little bit of pressure. There's a kidney shot on Chaz. Maro looking for the Ring of Frost. Kidney shot comes in and gets interrupted on that as well. This is so expertly done by Method Black. Really making Maro's life a living heck in this game.
I mean, Chaz at the same time pre-bear forming every kidney shot means that Maro can't polymorph him, and he can only Ring of Frost, which means that Method Black can only have to interrupt one thing. They don't have to deal with two. So Chaz is doing a good job reading the situation. He's only been caught out of form one time. He could have ultimately gone down in that, but if he keeps this up, I think he is going to ultimately squeak ahead as he's got such a significant mana lead. No ice blocks. Ratify locked out of the game. Maro doing whatever he can. He's trying to bounce on Ratify to break him out of the polymorph, but that isn't going to be happening. Will he be able to save him? Huge heal in the nick of time. Maro restabilizes. Nice Cyclone from Chaz, though. Gets blinded. Surprising to not see him Trinket. I guess he's expecting a swap to him, so he's trying to sit through this and maybe trade an ice block instead on Raikou. He's not even going to force an ice block, and that really puts making a movie behind.
Yeah, Raikou gets the Iron Bark. That's surely going to keep him alive. Like you said, Maro gets interrupted once again. Who is Method Black going to be going after? Acro Trinket's out of the kidney out of the Cyclone there. That's an opportunity for Method Black a little bit later on. Full kidney shot now on Chaz. No follow-up crowd control. Unfortunately, there's a bash over on the Ratify. Chaz looking for the Cyclone. Polymorph going to be secured by Raikou. Maro in a lot of trouble once again. Ratify has the Trinket available. Doesn't want to sit on it for too long as Maro gets lower and lower. Can't afford to Trinket for the blinding Trinkets into the full blind. This is a nightmare situation for making a move. Basically the worst case scenario. Now Maro's all alone for another couple seconds. DR Cyclone. Beautifully done by Method Black, but I have to say that Trinket, he needed to hold on just a little bit longer. If you're going to hold on that long, you've got to hold on a little bit longer.
I really think one of these teams is going to break a world record for deepest dampening achieved in a tournament. Will we reach 100%?
No. I'm going to answer that question right now. It's not going to be 100% dampening. Double leg sweep coming in from Resto. Actually, double Trinket from Lunatic as well as Corki there. There's a nice little setup coming in from Daily Feed very early on. Hex on a Lone Tar gets dispelled immediately. Corki already getting bursted down. A lot of pressure from Rezus and Loveless. That's a Serenity coming in, but Corki should be able to survive.
Corki's even running the tank Trinket. The Absorb Shield triggered right now during the initial burst. He gains no damage benefit of that Trinket. It's just purely for the shield and the durability. Both healers playing Resto Shaman for the longest mana bars possible. I was wondering if Trainer would switch to Mistweaver or something like that, but nope. He wants to go for as long of a game as possible, knowing that Lone Tar is likely to only play Resto Shaman. See if Lunatic can get anything going. He's already burned through a lot of his hardest hitting abilities as well as Corki, so their damage is in a bit of a lull at this point. Loveless and Rezus have an opening to get aggressive, and they're really pushing it towards Corki, chasing him back behind the pillar. Touch of Death has been committed. Ascendance gets popped as Daily Feed go for a kill. Corki gets Blessing of Protections, though, and it's not getting purged off. That's a bit of a misplay there from Loveless, and Corki will easily survive that big hit.
I honestly didn't like that Blessing of Protection at all. I don't think that Touch of Death was really going to do too much to Corki. Could have just gotten the bear form, tanked it out, and now they're down that huge defensive cooldown. It's a 5-minute cooldown they won't have available for Serenity, so a bit of a defensive misplay there by fake Zebras, in my opinion. but Rezu's going to have that Serenity coming up soon and able to get a little bit aggressive there onto Corki if they need it. Full Hammer of Justice onto Rezus, but he's going to be completely fine with Drainer there supporting.
That's unfortunate. The Hammer of Justice was 1 second too late. It was trying to deny the Tiger's Lust to get Drainer out of that Root Solar Beam because it was delayed. Drainer got out of the crowd control for free. Daily Feed now starting an assault towards Corki. Double Cap Totems landed onto the healer and the balanced Druid, but Word of Glory healing from Lunatic picks Corki back up in a hurry. Again, it's still kind of triple healer setup on both sides, so before dampening, reducing that healing, it will be difficult for either side to really make a dent.
Yeah, Corki's going to be very tanky in this Earthen Shield Totem as he runs out of it, taking a little bit of burst from Rezus right now, down to around 50% HP. Looks like Lontar's in a good position to keep him alive, though. Interrupt coming in from Rezus. Lunatic looking for some CC on a Drainer, looking for the Hammer of Justice. Maybe just trying to pressure down to a split strategy in this matchup. You can see Lunatic, he's actually rooted behind the pillar. Beautifully done by Drainer, making sure he's kiting Lunatic, denying that damage. And look, basically Lunatic has wasted his wings with that attack, with that effort on a Drainer.
Now Hammer of Justice, there's Root Solar Beam. Good crowd control from the fake Zebras. Now triggering that Tank Trinket Absorb, though, on Rezus, and that's allowing him to easily hold on to all of his defensive cooldowns. So despite that great setup, they ultimately don't get too much done.
Yep, and Rezus is going to be able to survive without having to use really anything in that situation. Incapacity on the Lontar. Looks like they want to get aggressive. Lunatic getting interrupted. Nice shear coming in from Loveless into a Hex, but that gets immediately dispelled by Corki. Corki's been doing a great job in this matchup so far with those Hex dispels on his teammates, making sure they're freed up to get their job done.
All right, Incarnation now available for Corki. That's a big hit. They just need to make sure they get effective crowd control. They're actually just attacking Drainer in the back line, trying to maybe soften him up, but not getting too much done with that. Touch of Death, Rezus pulling the trigger on that offensive cooldown. Lontar deflects with Earthen Shield Totem protecting Corki. Should soak up a lot of this damage, allowing him to recover with the off heals from Lunatic as well. Rezus getting bursted down seemingly out of nowhere. He's portaling back and retreated away with Drainer. Lunatic's in hot pursuit. Not going to overextend, though. That's Incarn from Corki, and nobody was stunned. Everybody's just running away. Nobody wants to dance with the chicken, and he's just going to kite it completely, removing it from the game.
How does it feel as a Boomkin to get kited on all of your cooldowns?
It's like you're the last kid getting picked for softball, man. Nobody wants you.
Somebody dance with the chicken.
Rezus going to be able to connect on to Corki now, getting some damage out. Corki should be fine. I like his pick from Fake Zebras. I think it's very intelligent. When Rezus and Loveless are here, trying to get some pressure on Corki, Lunatic can really punish both these melees with all of the spread pressure that the Rep Paladin offers.
I think the Root Solar Beam Hammer of Justice on a DPS is a great crowd control chain for the Fake Zebras to implement, and they need to line that up with the Incarn. Corki can't just willy-nilly pop Incarn, or they just run away and he can't chase them down. So I want to see Corki set that up better moving forward. Obviously, before dampening, it's unlikely that they kill someone, but it would be nice to force a powerful defensive right before you get to the critical mass and dampening and just execute a kill with overwhelming damage. So this next Incarn has to pay dividends. Lunatic caught into a double stun, but Earthen Shield from Lontar protecting both members quite effectively. Lontar even trying to throw out some lightning bolts, maximizes APM. Even though it's not the most amount of damage, it's better than nothing.
Absolutely. In this kind of situation, you want as much damage as possible. There's a full Root Beam over onto Drainer. He gets out of it. Nice Tiger's Lust coming in from Rezus there. Corki's still looking to find some damage, but everyone is 100% HP.
That's a big red button.
Right now.
Lunatic's playing big red button. He used it on Rezus, but didn't ultimately get too much done with it. Lunatic's trying to have fun, but Rezus just kiting away and avoiding any sort of potential burst. Both Shaman's completely tied up, and there's the red number that we were waiting to see. Dampening has arrived. Will it make it to 100% is the question. As both Shamans start off with 100% mana, it's definitely looking more likely.
I think it's unlikely to reach 100%, but who really knows? There's a full stun on a Corki now. He's getting pressured down. Like we said, as dampening gets higher and higher, it becomes so difficult for these healers to really top off their team. You're trading out cooldowns when you normally wouldn't have to, just based off raw, consistent damage. Corki trying to get some damage going right now. Rezus has a Serenity, he has a Touch of Death. It's an opportunity for them to get some CDs here, or actually land a kill on a Corki if they can get any crowd control onto Lontar, but it doesn't look like they have it available just yet.
All right, Lontar used his Earthen Shield Totem, so he doesn't have that to protect his teammates, and Serenity's available for Rezus. In the meantime, Drainer caught in a Root Solar Beam. No way to get him out of that. He's just going to sit through a full duration silence. Rezu is forced to portal back defensively. Lunatic will switch targets towards Loveless. Drainer trying to reposition to pick him back up. Fortunately, looking dangerously low. Lontar in the back line. Drainer moving over. Curious if Drainer's going to go for a cap totem here. Both Shamans going face to face. Neither one really looking for any crowd control just yet. Big damage on Corki. Touch of Death explodes. Corki gets bursted down below half. Lone Tar caught in paralysis into a Cap Totem. Good play there between Drainer and Rezus. Instant Dispel on the Hex though from Corki, and that Tank Trinket Absorb is allowing Corki to survive through this desperate situation. Dampening now at 10%. Incarn is available. We see a Root Solar Beam on Drainer. See a Hammer of Justice onto the Windwalker Monk. If they can execute that with Incarn, they can get a kill. Looks like they're actually just going to go after Drainer. He's going to Trinket and trade. That's a really good Trinket from Drainer, the most effective one he can get. Both Corki and Lunatic committed all their hardest hitting attacks, so trinketing that stun was the right move. Drainer escaped to safety as a result.
Yeah, it was the Trinket and the Astral Shift, though, so they might have an opportunity a little bit later on to get some damage done, but like you said, very effective trade, 13% dampening. Fake Zebras, you know, they're in a really good spot right now. Everyone's topped off on HP. Just seems really hard for Daily Feed to find the pressure that they need. Serenity's down, Touch of Death is down. Double Leg Sweep coming in from Rezus right now with an Incapacitate onto Lone Tar. Some damage and pressure mounting over onto Corki, but seems to be able to tank through this damage quite nicely. There's a Root Beam into the Hodge like you were looking for. A lot of pressure now onto Rezus. Might have to pour it away in this situation, trade out that Touch of Karma. Looks like he's going to be activating the Diffuse Magic. Windwalker Monks have a decent amount of defensive utility that you have to work through, as well as they're relatively short cooldowns, so it can be difficult to get through all of it.
Mana is slowly whittling in favor of Daily Feed. Their constant damage is much higher than both Corki and Lunatic, but the burst, I would say, is higher on their side. So with good crowd control and burst windows, Fake Zebras can pull off a win. I didn't really like the swap to Drainer. They only got Trinket. I think the Root Beam Hodge is a much better play. They actually got Rezus' Trinket, so the next Solar Beam in 20 seconds will sit full duration with a full duration stun. They actually have a kill window on Rezus. Cyclone Loveless, Root Beam Drainer, stun Rezus. If Fake Zebras can execute that in roughly the next 13 seconds, they can easily just erase Rezus. They need to buy time for it. Corki's doing a good job of that, stalling it out with a Cyclone on Rezus. Now kiting away. Lunatic, please don't go for the Hammer of Justice on Drainer. I really want to see them save that for Rezus. They've got a huge kill window now. Root Solar Beam available. They need to go for it. They need to try and Cyclone Loveless at the same time or Hex them, and they need to take Loveless out of the game. This is an offensive Blessing of Protection, just removing the Touch of Death and allowing them to go. Rezus portal's back. They know that they want to pull the trigger. They have to do it all at the same time. All three members have to go in crowd. There it is. Hammer Justice, Root Beam, perfect execution. They need to take Loveless out of the game now with a Cyclone, or he's going to off-heal. The Tank Trinket saving the day there for that, but if they can keep doing that over and over, that's definitely their win condition.
Yeah, Rezus is going to have that Touch of Karma available. There's a Cyclone on a Drainer, 25% dampening. Gets more and more difficult. The Resto Shaman has a lot of instant healing with that Riptide ability, but as dampening gets higher, these guys are going to have to cast a lot more heals to keep their teams alive, making them more susceptible to interrupts. It's more difficult in general. Lunatic getting lower, he trades out his Trinket, has wings up right now, trying to get some damage rolling on to Rezus. There's a full Hammer of Justice. Big red button going to be used by Lunatic as well. Zico's cheering in the background about that Trinket choice.
Yeah, they're just trying to force a Touch of Karma before the crowd control setup. With dampening mounting higher, they will force defensives outside of that window. Corki doing a good job of kiting out of Drainer's Earthen Shield Totem, and now in his own, dropped down by Lone Tar. Rez is getting cycloned at low health. Corki trying to make it difficult for Drainer to predict where he needs to time his heals. Loveless now getting cycloned up as Corki's just buying time for that Solar Beam, which is available. They can do that triple crowd control. They're going to pop Incarn. There's a Solar Beam. There's the Hammer of Justice. Good crowd control, forcing a Trinket from Rezus. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll survive to another Incarnation window, so they need to get something done. I'd love triple cleave now. They're all stacked up as a Ret Paladin just Divine Storm the whole team. Drainer tries to deflect with Ascendance, which allows him to heal his whole team with just one target healed. So good counter by Drainer. He's been trading his cooldowns very effectively.
Yeah, Rezus used the Touch of Karma, though, onto Lunatic. Lunatic in a little bit of trouble. Does have the bubble available if he needs it. Serenity gets popped by Rezus. Can they force out the bubble on Lunatic? They do. Lunatic does not want to mess around with that Serenity, with that Rising Sun kick from Rezus. He uses that key defensive, but now both teams are running on fumes in terms of defensive opportunities. Rezus is going to be kiting away. He needs to get topped off here by Drainer. Activates the Diffuse Magic. Corki's looking to close out this game.
Yeah, Corki just sitting in Barry. He needs 13 more seconds. He's trying to buy time, but Lunatic's under fire. Montar has defensives. He needs to try and trade those out as Daily Feed retreat back. They know they're in a position where Drainer will have to trade his Trinket to survive, and that's a very important defensive, especially moving deeper into dampening. You see a swap to him earlier, so he's afraid of that option happening. They need to be careful. Rezus is just going to roll back. They know Solar Beam is available. Lunatic can't really overextend with no Divine Shield. If they're in a bit of a stalemate, they get the hammer. Drainer Trinkets instantly. They're going to pull the trigger and try and catch them off guard as they've overextended. Huge damage. Corki tries to stall it out with some Cyclones. Double Wind Shear breaking up some of the cast. Lunatic still taking a ton of damage. Touch of Death goes, ticks, does tons of damage. Lone Tar caught and incapacitate into a Hex. Good crowd control. Nice to spell with a Cap Totem to follow up. Lunatic still very low on health, but manages to stay alive. Now they got all the trinkets. This next Solar Beam in 30 actually is not going to line up. Rezus will have Trinket for it, so Corki needs to survive to 2 more Solar Beams. He needs another minute and 30 to be able to end this game for his team, but will he be able to survive to that point is the question now at 40% dampening.
I think Lunatic is the one that's in a lot of trouble. No anything available for him, really. Rezus going to have that Serenity available. If they make a big swap on the Lunatic with any crowd control on Lone Tar, it's really going to be up to Corki to keep him alive. Nice Cyclone coming in. Rezus has his Trinket. He has his Touch of Karma. All his defenses available. They're really just all in Lunatic in this situation. They want the consistent pressure onto Corki if they can bait Earth Shield onto him. There's the double stun. Rezus uses Serenity. Who's he on? On to Lunatic. A huge amount of damage on him as he gets lower and lower. And Daily Feed will strike first blood in game number 1.
Now, I want to bring up something that, Match, remember this. Can I get that? Give it a try. And best of luck as you farm, but let's see who's going to have the luck in this matchup. Will it be Daily Feed or the fake Zebras?
Yeah, Daily Feed, they're going to be moving on. Zot seems to be the target of choice very early on. I expect Daily Feed to do sort of a hit-and-run strategy. Use your offensive cooldowns, run away, hurdle as long as you can. Zot taking a huge amount of pressure in this early leg sweep. That's the Serenity coming in. Lone Tar trying to deflect with the Earthen Shield Totem. That's going to make Zot very, very tanky. They're trying to delay that Edge of Insanity, Zot's damage reduction. Once he gets that Insanity up, it's going to be very difficult for Daily Feed to push through that.
And Zot is running that Tank Absorb Trinket, so it allowed him to build up to full Insanity and get the damage reduction benefit now as well, without having to trade Dispersion in that initial attack. Rezu's Loveless retreating back behind the pillar, trying to kite Corki's Incarnation. It's another case of I don't want to dance with the chicken during his biggest damage potential. Now that that's faded, they're going to get aggressive again onto Zot. Drainer looks like he may want to reposition, but on this big map, if he runs into center field, I can imagine the fake Zebras are going to switch to him, so it will be difficult for him to get crowd control changed. There's the Paralysis. Drainer's trying to cross the map to follow up out of it, but not able to find it. Maybe Drainer goes for a snipe Cap Totem. He dispels off some dots, but they swap to him. He was just 5 inches in the open, and they burst Drainer down to half HP, but now Zot under fire. Huge damage following up. Barely recovering in the nick of time. Dispersion now has been forced, and this game looks more and more in favor of Daily Feed.
Yeah, that was a Touch of Death. Zot pre-dispersioning that. There's a leg sweep over on the Lone Tar. Zot still in a lot of trouble. Serenity coming up for Rezus very shortly. He trinkets out. He wants to keep this aggression onto Zot. In this game, there's a silence on a Drainer. Trying to get some pressure on the Loveless, and Rezus are fake Zebras, but it seems like they're going to be fine for now. Zot uses the Vampiric Embrace with the VTs to get some healing off on his team. But you can see Daily Feed, they're not afraid to run away when they need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hit and run, and Corki and Zot don't have enough lockdown to really kind of chase after them, and with the tank trinkets, it's really difficult for them to build any momentum, so Daily Feeder's going to pause the game by avoiding a fight and just hiding and then pushing back out, and in this position with no dispersion, Zot is in a lot of trouble. Lone Tar tries to preemptively get ready for it. He's got Earthen Shield. Loveless sees that. He's just going to retreat away, says, all right, we pulled out your defensive, we baited it, and we're going to wait a couple seconds for that to fade, then swing in for a huge hit. Drainer caught into a bash. Corki looking for a Cyclone, but the bash was nice. Fake cast on the Wind Shear. Goes for another one. Gets grounded, I believe. Still trying to go for a Cyclone out of the silence. Zot, though, still now under fire with his leg sweep. Loveless's Tank Trinket was procced in the meantime. He could be an open target moving forward. Zot getting interrupted. Still falling more and more behind.
Yep, taking a lot of damage. Rezu's taking a little bit of damage as well, but he has that port. At any moment, he can get away. Unlike the Shadow Priest, he's kind of locked down in the situation. Really don't have very much mobility. There's a Root Beam over onto Drainer. Loveless going to be taking a little bit of burst, but not afraid to run away once again. Stall the game. Rezu's going to be helping him, running behind the pillar, tossing out some heals, and that is the effectiveness. So that's one of the powers of this comp that Daily Feed is running. They can turtle and run away if they need to.
I mean, it's such a big map, they kind of have to. If they spend too long in the open, then they're just taking free damage. They can do these big swings and just completely avoid the fight, and it's obviously their best strategy. Zot actually playing Nightborn Shadow Priest to get some extra magic damage, but even with that, it's not really enough. And I don't see any opportunities right now for them to get a kill target. This was the best map for their Wizard Cleave, but it seems like Daily Feed had the answer to it. Outside of maybe a swap to Drainer, I don't see anybody else dying in this composition, and as long as Drainer's on top of it and Loveless backs him up with some heals or a grounding totem, even that option is looking quite limited. We see an Incapacitate on Lone Tar, leg sweep on Zot. Will this be enough to force a defensive cooldown? Rezus and Loveless really ripping in, trying to find something from this opportunity, but not getting it whatsoever. Incarn pop by Corki. Are they going to retreat away? There's Root Solar Beam, Cyclone to cover the Tiger's Lust. Great crowd control from Corki in this attack. Rezus ultimately does get the Tiger's Lust. Loveless retreats away. They need to push in during this moment and get some pressure going, but if they overextend and line of sight Lontar, it's a risky move.
Yeah, Zot in a little trouble now. Both Loveless and Rezus all over him. Nice double fear. Zot trying to get the pressure out with the BTs. Gets interrupted. Nicely done there by Rezus, slowing down some of that damage. Corki gets the bash on the Drainer. Just trying to get some pressure on Drainer as well. I like what Corki's doing, making sure Drainer is getting punished in this matchup anytime he's compromised his position. You can see Lontar in a very defensive spot, able to just spam out the heals onto Zot. There's an Incapacitate. Lontar's going to be completely fine. Drops out the Earthen Shield Totem for Zot. Going to be very tanky in this situation. Still has a Dispersion, still has a Life Swap. There's Serenity coming in from Rezus. He's looking to get very aggressive, but Zot with the Tank Trinket with Earthen Shield Totem will end up weathering the storm.
Yep, Drainer caught in a Cyclone stun on Loveless. Triple crowd control here for the team of Fake Zebras, but ultimately Loveless just retreating back behind the pillar and avoiding a fight entirely. Still waiting for that big red number to appear at the top center of the screen to start reducing healing. Both teams playing basically 6 healers in this game. Each class can heal. So with dampening, reducing that healing, it's definitely necessary for either team to really score a kill. Lone Tar caught into a stun currently as they're looking to force more defensives. There's the big red number. Now at 1% healing reduction. This is likely to get worse and worse for the Fake Zebras before it gets better. Corki's trying to set something up here with a bash. Cyclone gets grounded though by Loveless, and with 2 groundings and 2 wind shears, it's going to be quite annoying to get anything going for the team of Fake Zebras. You see Lone Tar pushing forward, Zot moving up as well, getting ready in position if Loveless decides to retreat. We see a stun, Root Solar Beam, Cyclone, triple crowd control. Great setup from Fake Zebras. They need to pull an Astral Shift from Loveless with this, but they're not even getting that.
Corki's been doing a really good job with the cross crowd control, though. The Root Beam on Drainer with the Bash Cyclone on Rezus, making sure Rezus cannot support Drainer with that Tiger's Lust. Very, very important. So I like the setups that Fake Zebras are doing. Daily Feed, they're in quite a defensive position right now. You can see Rezus in the middle of the map. He has to retreat with the Flying Serpent Kick. Has his port in the middle of the map. Most likely going to want to relay that. He does. So now in a very defensive position once again. Both Shamans doing very well on mana as we do reach 7% dampening.
All right, Zot moving forward, trying to get some dots, but now he's walked into Rezus and Loveless's trap. Touch of Death available, interrupting him on Shadow, popping that Touch of Death right away with an in-cap as Daily Feed look to lead the charge. Lone Tar got an Earthen Shield down, snuck in amidst all of that pressure though, and it's absorbing a lot of this damage. Zot could have easily gone down or had to trade him more heavy. Maybe even still. As he dips dangerously low, Lone Tar picks him up with the clutch heal just in the nick of time. Good Cyclones for Corki as well to slow down the pressure. Mana still completely tied at this point, even with maybe a 10% advantage in favor of Fake Zebras, but pressure is constantly in favor of Daily Feed. And if they can force a trinket, maybe from Corki or Lone Tar, they could even switch to that target later on. We see a Cyclone stun, lock-up combo. Loveless trinkets into another stun. He needs to get out of there quick. He's dipping lower and lower. He's being greedy by playing out in center field. He's spending too much time in the deep end. Silence on Drainer. Loveless trying to duck around the corner. Double Root Solar Beam. Rezus moves over to get him out, but he's dipping lower and lower. They get a Spirit Link, and suddenly out of nowhere, Fake Zebras have a huge lead.
Yeah, Loveless needs to do a better job with the hit and run. He's sitting out in the open for way too long. Once they get those defensive cooldowns, or once they don't have their offensive, they need to run away. Use the pillar, use the line of sight. Corki's just having a field day in this matchup so far. Big swap over on the Lone Tar. Gets the Earthen Shield Totem down, though. Should be okay. Zot now gets to precast and really lay in as that Shadow Priest. Big pressure still on the Lone Tar. Rezus all over him. Loveless trying to get aggressive as well. The Lone Tar should be able to survive with the support of Corki and Zot.
Yeah, Loveless getting cloned on that Ascendance. Corki with great defensive play. I love Lone Tar's positioning. He's got 2 wizards on his team, so he wants to be in the open, as far away from a pillar as possible for an opportunity like this, where they can stun lock someone in center field and burst them down. They might even swap to Drainer. I'd love to see a swap here. Just rot the whole team. Try and close this out. They're trying to push forward. Secure a kill on Loveless, but he's just out of line of sight. Corki not able to keep up. Dampening ramping up higher and higher, but momentum is swung in favor of Fake Zebras suddenly out of nowhere. They've started to get a lead with all 3 members rotting down slowly but surely. Corki looking for some cheeky Cyclones, trying to fake cast a plethora of interrupts available for him. Also trying to pre-bear formatting incoming stuns as Daily Feed are switching their targeting later into the game.
Well, I just think Daily Feed is overstaying their welcome in the middle of the map. I really want to see them just do the hit and runs. I mean, it's not the most exciting gameplay, but I think it's their best strategy. If they sit in the open for too long, Fake Zebras builds way too much pressure, way too much momentum. So really want to see that from them when they have the Serenity, the Touch of Death, the Ascendance. That's when they can get aggressive. Full Root Beam now over on the Drainer. Fake Zebras looking to close out this game with a little bit of pressure over on the Loveless. Zot chasing him down with the Mind Flay, but really not finding the significant damage. Loveless able to top himself off while Drainer's in that crowd control.
Yeah, now looking for a cheeky Hex on Zot too. Leg sweep on Lone Tar, they're trying to swap to him. See if they can get anything going. Life gripping him to safety. Really well done from Zot. Loveless rotting. Rezus is rotting, and Fake Zebras finally have momentum. This is still anyone's game now at this point. Rezu getting Cyclone on that Serenity cooldown. Nice double stun from Lone Tar as he tries to escape to safety. I love Daily Feed mixing it up and going for different targets, trying to keep it unpredictable. I think it's going to be important moving into dampening. You're more likely to force someone to make a mistake if you catch them by surprise.
It also seems to be taxing Lone Tar's mana a lot more in this matchup. We are at 26% dampening. Have to see how high we can get. Rezu's throwing out some Vivifies to top himself off, and now Daily Feed is completely stabilized at this point in the game. No Serenity available. A little bit of pressure now over on Azat, trying to get those interrupts out, but they don't want to stay in the open for too long. You can see Corki once again. He's getting out a lot of cast. Here's a full Cyclone over on the Drainer. Now Loveless could be in some trouble. Zot, though, is the one getting bursted down with the full Incapacitate. Cap stun on the Lone Tar. Nice crowd control coming in from Daily Feed. Try to get some momentum on their side, but Zot seems to be just fine.
Loveless dips low. His tank trinket's going to proc. Drainer rotting as well. Corki standing right on top of them with Incar. He's saying, you dance with me now. He's just chasing them down, trying to finish this game at 30% dampening. He's got a lot of pressure actually rolling. I love the positioning. They've got them cornered. Corki on one side, Zot on the other. There's nowhere for them to run. Finally, good positioning from the Fake Zebras. If they can keep onto this momentum, Drainer needs 20 more seconds for his big healing cooldown to recover from this pressure. 18 more seconds. Is he going to make it is the question. Rezu down below half. His tank trigger procs. Full clone secured by Corki. They're going after Loveless. They need more burst, and they need it now. Will they be able to do it? Another Cyclone from Corki. Great crowd control, but Serenity gets popped into reversal. Zot dips low. He's forced to trade out Dispersion as both teams continue swinging.
Yep, Zot was in a lot of trouble there, realizing the situation, goes into Dispersion, able to deflect some of that incoming damage. Now Rezu's looking like he wants to retreat. I like what Daily Feed is doing. They need to get away for just a little bit, but Corki and Zot, they're going to be in full assault mode right now, charging in. There's the bash over on the Drainer. As he gets lower and lower, gets silenced there out of the bash, but the Astral Shift up. He does have the Ascendance available as well. That cooldown you were talking about, that really boosts his AoE healing so he can top off his team. He just needs to get out some casted heals while that's up.
He would like to line it up with Incarn, which is only a minute and a half away. I don't know if he can wait that long. Now he's fully cycloned. Everyone on his team is rotting. He's playing it patient, sitting through the crowd control. They need to break up these clones. Nice wind shear, good backup by Loveless as they're going to go behind the pillar. Rezus gets left behind though. He's cloned at low health. We need to be careful in this position. Corki's moving in. What's he going to do? He's got Root Solar Beam available. He could pull that. We see Karma is going to get traded for that. Drainer gets cloned on the Tiger's Lust. Good crowd control from Corki. Fake Zebras have a ton of momentum, but Zot is dipping low and is in danger. Lone Tar needs to keep his eye on him closely. They need to be aggressive, trade cooldowns, and just push Daily Feed over if they want to take this. It is looking better and better as Rezus gets stunned up. Spearlink gets dropped with Ascendance. Drainer just pulls the trigger on every healing cooldown. Desperately trying to recover in this dire situation. Will it be enough for him to fully recover is a question. He needs some healing surges. He doesn't get them. Now he's caught in the full Cyclone. Corki really letting it rip. Zot getting full dots onto the entire team. Loveless trying to reconnect with his team, but he gets rooted up. They need to split up. They need to go on one side of the pillar each. Corki here on the right, Zot on the left. Well, now Zot on the right and Corki on the left. They need to split up in a triangle so at least one member can attack the entire team. And slowly but surely, they're rotting Daily Feed down.
Yeah, but Zot is very susceptible. No trinket, no dispersion, no nothing. If they can get this clean Serenity up on him, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Lone Tar has to respond to the situation. There it is. Serenity Life Swap comes in from Zot. They're going to be able to just push through those sticks. Rising Sun Kick's going to be devastating. Zot manages to survive. Now Drainer in a lot of trouble. No trinket. Astral Shift gets popped. Corki trying to take him down with the bash. In the meantime, Zot caught into the leg sweep. Of course, he used the dispersion. Both teams just trading out everything at 45% dampening.
This could easily go down to a 1v1. All 6 members in this game could die at any second. Drainer caught into a silence and is looking to close. Squeaks around the pillar, but Zot's on the other side ready and waiting. Tons of damage. Shadow of Death come crashing in. His Drainer will fall first, but there's still damage available for the team of Daily Feed if they keep playing this out. Very surprising to not see them just try at least to play this out. They've got Astral Shift and Touch of Karma. Huge damage potential, but they're just going to give up. I'm very kind of almost disappointed to not see them at least attempt that.
All night.
Like that entire game. I mean, maybe early on it looked like they could win, but then later and later it looked worse and worse. So they could potentially do an all-in onto Lone Tar. Drainer across the map with his team. Well, just going to be going after the Shadow Priest early on. I mean, one of the main reasons there's huge damage on Zot at the start is that he doesn't have full insanity. So he doesn't have 20% damage reduction right now, which forces him to disperse. Did he change the tank trinket? I feel like it should have procced in that situation. I feel like him not wearing it, it might be a mistake. We're going to have to wait and see as Zot dips low.
Yeah, dips lower and lower. Resto still hasn't run out of damage. Has the touch of Karma available as well. There's the stun onto Drainer from Zot. Good crowd control coming in. He uses the Astral Shift. That was a bit of a question mark for me. Drainer activating that defensive cooldown. Really don't think he needed to.
I mean, he just wants to go 1-for-1 on the Incarnation. Buying up your cooldowns with that usually is okay. The damage from the Boomkin and the downtime is just so minimal that with Grounding Totem and Riptide, you can pretty much avoid it. And right now, they're just kiting away from Corki, denying any sort of pressure during his Incarn. And then as soon as that's over, they're going to get aggressive once again, just off-healing each other. Now they're going to jump on the Zot. Incarn is over. They've avoided that initial assault. Now they're trying to get crowd control set up, but Zot has gotten to full insanity, that purple bar below his health. So he's taking 20% less damage right now, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for Daily Feed to get something going.
Yeah, this is where he becomes an immovable object in this matchup. If they can take him down, it's going to be a miracle. Lonetar taking a little bit of damage. Zot, like you said, very tanky. Corki to support with the Cyclones. A nice interrupt coming in. Here's the triple CC. Silence on the Drainer. Stun on the Loveless. Stun on the Rezus. Doesn't look like they were able to get too much follow-up damage. Zot now. The tank trinket is going to be proccing onto him. Rezus doing a significant amount of damage, but Zot seems to be just fine.
All right, Loveless bursted down to half. Managing to proc his tank trinket, but not push him over the edge. A nice Cyclone from Corki at low health, denying the pick-me-up from Drainer. Drainer now getting wind sheared, potentially more follow-up. Able to get it, Grounding Totem denies it. Drainer moves in position to deny it. Loveless recovers. Zot in a good position out in the open. It's really important as a Wizard Cleave against a melee cleave that if you're the guy getting attacked, you just drag the team as far into the open as possible. So we see Zot standing in front of that gate. It's as far away from a pillar as possible on this map. That way, if Drainer tries to go out in the open to heal his team, Corki and Lonetar can crowd control him. And this triangle positioning is being executed very well by the fake Zebras right now. Fortunately, before we get to dampening, I think it's unlikely that they can really get anything going. There's just 6 healers in this game, so they need that healing reduction to push someone over the edge.
Yeah, Loveless taking a little bit of damage right now. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome once again. He's a good target for the fake Zebras. The best target, in fact. So when he's out in the open like this, Corki has an opportunity to get significant damage out, but you can see the dispels coming in from Drainer. There's a silence on the Drainer as well. Loveless actually trinkets and uses the Astral Shift into a full Cyclone. Very nicely done by fake Zebras, getting up those cooldowns and then controlling Loveless up.
Yeah, it's a result of perfect positioning as well. Drainer has to walk into crowd control now into a full Hex. Loveless needs to dispel that. Catches it, but now Drainer dispelling dots could fall behind if Corki can get anything. Gets a Cyclone on the back of it. Loveless is forced to run away. And now Zot can free cast in the open. This is what you do by standing in the open. You eventually force the melee to run off you, and you get to free cast dots and really ramp up big. You just need to be careful when you're pushing in that you've got one wizard on one side of the pillar and the other on the other. This map pick wasn't very good, I don't think, by the team of Daily Feed. There's no pillars for them to retreat and do that hit and run strategy, so they're all in, which I think fake Zebras are more than happy to meet them.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Daily Feed, I think, throwing away this map a little bit. I mean, Zot really doesn't need to kite. He just needs to sit in the open, doesn't have much of an opportunity to run away anyways. If anything, it just hurts Daily Feed's ability to run away and reset the game. Corki's going to be able to hunt him down, them all down very, very easily. Lonetar going for the full Hex over onto Rezus. Bash now over onto Drainer. Corki looking to get some damage going with his Incarnation. And it looks like Loveless and Drainer should be okay. Zot pushing in, looking for a Fear, looking for a Disarm over onto Drainer. Do they have the damage? Drainer gets fully cycloned up. Now Loveless and Rezus turning their attention over onto Lonetar, getting a little damage on him, but he gets the life grip to safety by Zot. He should be fine in this situation.
Yeah, Lonetar instantly going to a position out in the middle of the map. He's the one being attacked, so he's the one that has to bait the melee into a bad position. Drainer is committing and going all in, but now he can't avoid crowd control in center field, so as soon as he's off Cyclone DR, Corki is going to put him into that. They are trying to race against the clock to kill Lonetar. He's going to reposition where Zot was to begin with, as he is now the target for Daily Feed. There's Cyclones out on Drainer. This means that Zot and Corki get to free cast, though, and that's a ton of damage potentially that they're leaving open. How long can they stay out? Looks like not very long at all as they retreat back to the tomb.
Yep, Drainer gets feared away by dispelling Zot's dots. Anytime Drainer dispels the VTs, he does get horrified for a second, so if you're unfamiliar with that, that's what is happening. It's a little bit of a punishment there for removing that Shadow Priest damage, and they can potentially set up off of that, but it doesn't look like they've been able to really capitalize on it so far in this game. Cyclone over onto Rezus right now. He has no trinket. They could do a big swap over onto him, maybe from a full bash with a root beam over onto Drainer potentially, but they don't seem to have damage so far.
You see a double stun here from Fake Zebras. Triple silence. The entire team silence. Drainer now into a Cyclone. Loveless and Rezus just healing each other and ducking for cover. Lone Tar interrupting that, though, trying to stall it out as long as possible and force a cooldown just as we enter dampening. This is a critical point if you can manage to pull a defensive, because if the dampening ramps up really big, they don't have it to survive with the healing reduction, but even still, they're not able to find it. Now they need to start pulling back into that open field position. Zot knows that he can't stay on the tombstone. That will be advantage to daily feed, so he's retreating away. Lone Tar repositioning towards the entrance of the room, but that means Loveless and Rezus can hide in the room. I don't really like that positioning. Lone Tar, though, gets life gripped into a much better position. Good defensive Cyclones from Corki. Positioning overall very effective from the Fake Zebras, and I think they will ultimately be able to take this, but the opportunities for daily feed to maybe go after Lone Tar is still an open target. Drainer gets swapped to in the open. They're trying to punish him as it's a race to kill each healer. Drainer gets silenced, but he can duck behind the tombstone. He gets cloned. They switch targets, but Zot now is getting bursted. It's going to proc his tank trinket, so he is playing the tank trinket still. Looks like they're going to split DPS, and I almost like that even better. You can't have Earth Shield on 2 targets, so Lone Tar's going to have a difficult time dealing with this split strategy.
Yeah, has to make some tough calls. That's a beautiful Ring of Peace coming in from Rezus, forcing Lone Tar out of that Earthen Shield Totem, which is going to be his damage reduction. So very nicely done. That is some Windwalker utility you have. Speaking of utility, Zot's been doing a good job with that Leap of Faith, that life grip for his teammates to keep them alive, something Shadow Priest were giving back in BFA, so he can grip a teammate to himself to keep them away from, the enemies doing damage, drag them to safety. So I like what Zot's been doing with that so far in this game.
All right, now they're both colliding on Lone Tar, catching him in a leg sweep and trying to burst him down, but it doesn't seem to be enough to finish the job. Drainer gets silenced. Loveless gets stunned. Good setup from Fake Zebras. They get a trinket and Astral Shift from Loveless just before we move into dampening. This is exactly what they needed to have happen to kill Loveless moving forward. Now they're retreating away. They're kiting away from Corki's Incarn, but he's all over them. He can triple dot. I love this attack on Drainer during Incarn. Try and punish them for stacking up. They need to split up. Corki on one side, Zot on the other. They're in a good position, so at least one of them can cast on the opposing team. They force so many defensives now with Touch of Karma, as well as the tank trinket of Rezus, as well as the Ascendant's daily feed have blown through their entire defensive arsenal basically at this point. If they overextend into the open, they could throw this game quite easily.
Yeah, this is where that map could really backfire on daily feed. They really don't have anywhere to run, anywhere to hide when they are behind on damage, on cooldowns. Now Corki taking a little bit of burst. Doesn't have the bar skin, has no trinket. Serenity gets popped by Rezus. He trinkets out of the bash, wants to get aggressive with that cooldown. Corki getting lower and lower. He's going to be sitting in that Earthen Shield Totem. Incapacitate over on the Lone Tar now. Corki still in some trouble with the leg sweep. Rezus trying to create some pressure for his team. Unfortunately, Loveless is not there to do too much damage. Still on to Zot, though. I guess that's what he's been doing. They're really implementing that split strategy, like you said. Try to tax Lone Tar's mana, and it's working so far. We're at 17% dampening. Lone Tar is around 60% mana, whereas Drainer is way ahead.
I mean, splitting means you've got pressure on each caster. They each have to be worried about dying and maybe getting interrupted and bursting without disperse. So it's definitely a good strategy to attrition the opposing team, but now they're forced to run away. Lone Tar is moving up, looking for some cheeky hexes, not going to find it. Corki and Zot, now they need to split up, and right now they're not. They're both stacking into the same position, which means that daily feed can easily on the side. There we go. Now they're splitting up. Corki on the right, Zot on the left. At least one of them will cast as we move deeper into dampening. They've got another 30 seconds to make a big push before defensives start rotating up. Lone Tar caught into an incap as they both collide onto Zot. Huge Rising Sun Kick, triggering that tank trinket absorb right away, but I don't think they have enough damage to cut through it. Now Loveless getting swapped with a Cyclone on Drainer, stunned behind the pillar. Another Cyclone followed up by Corki, but it seems like Loveless will survive as he ducks for cover. Drainer into Root Solar Beam. Fear on Rezus to deny the Tiger's Lust. Good cross crowd control from the Fake Zebras. They're executing quite well, and I think slowly but surely they're marching to victory.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Double stun coming in. Nice cap stun from Lone Tar on the Drainer and Rezus. Zot now could be in a little trouble. Does get interrupted. Rezus did manage to bait out that trinket. Has a Serenity. Pulls the trigger. Zot gets lower and lower. Can they kill him through it? Doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Big heal is connecting from Lone Tar, but they got out that dispersion quite easily. Rezus coming back with that Serenity. Zot may have got out of dispersion a little bit too early. Almost getting knocked out of the Earthen Shield Totem with that Ring of Peace, but unfortunately, Rezus not placing that quite as well as we normally see, and Zot's going to be able to sit through all this damage quite easily.
Yeah, but now with no dispersion, he's looking to use Life Swap to switch his health with another member during the next burst window. They have trinkets to activate for it. They're in a great position. Lone Tar has recovered mana. This could be the Life Swap. Loveless in a bash. Corki looking for clones, gets Winter. They need to deny Cyclone as long as possible. Drainer gets silenced. Loveless gets bursted, but Zot is the one still on the back foot. Lone Tar is really struggling to heal through this. Cyclone's finally on Rezus to slow down the pressure. Lone Tar connecting some healing waves. He's going to pop Ascendance, boost his healing quite a lot. Drainer moves up. He's in the open. They could swap to him. This is a good position for Fake Zebras to pull the trigger. Corki sees the opening. He's going to pop Incarnation and try and ramp up his damage, but Zot is still on the back foot, falling more and more behind. He's trying to reposition towards the gateway. This is the best spot for him to stand and build momentum for his team. It's still anyone's game now at this point.
Yeah, Corki with the Cyclone is going to be very, very effective at keeping Zot alive. He needs to get that Cyclone over onto Rezus right now. Has it on Drainer. Rezus foresees the touch of Karma. There it is. The Cyclone on Rezus. No trinket available. This is an opportunity for Zot to get topped off quite easily in this situation. You can see everyone from Daily Feed is rotting lower and lower. Bash now over onto Rezus. Silence on Drainer. Into the stun. Do they have any follow-up damage over onto Rezus? He ports away to safety. Going to be spamming out some Vivifies on himself to keep himself alive. Fake Zebra is looking to get aggressive, though. You can see Lone Tar and Zot want to get in a position where they can sort of pincer Daily Feed and keep up this damage.
All right, they're done running away. Incarn is over. It's time for Daily Feed to get a kill. They've got 15 seconds to do it. Will they be able to find it? Zot dipping down to half. They could quite easily. Serenity pop. Huge damage. Zot in a lot of trouble. Life Swap over to Corki. Bouncing his health for his. Loveless now on the run. They got that big defensive. That's their hit. Now it's time to run and heal back up and recover and look for another opportunity moving forward.
Yep, and now Zot has that Dispersion up, and really Rezus doesn't have Serenity for another minute, so Zot's going to be okay for quite some time in this situation. 37% dampening. There's a leg sweep on Zot. They're just looking to pull the trigger. They don't need the Serenity. They're looking to take him down in capacity. Actually, a beautiful Ring of Peace on a Lone Tar. Look at Lone Tar. He just caught into the room. Zot trying to get in a position where he can get some heals here. That was very well done by Rezus to deny any of that incoming healing. Lone Tar throws out the Earthen Shield Totem. Zot will be able to survive. Drainer taking a little bit of damage right now. Corki trying to build some momentum, some pressure for his team at 40% dampening. It gets very nightmarish for both of these healers.
Yeah, Corki's Incarn comes up in 1 minute. He needs to get a kill with that. I don't think they're going to survive to another Incarnation window, so they have to overwhelm the team. Zot in the meantime under fire as Rezus goes all in with Touch of Karma and Touch of Death. This could be a scary moment for Zot. He's just going to trade Dispersion and respect the damage so he doesn't fall behind. They need to get Drainer out in the open. They managed to bait him to follow his team. Drainer and Zot both in a lot of trouble. Drainer retreats back to the pillar. Loveless already meeting him as well. Rezus got left behind though. Do they have a stun for him is the question. I don't think they do, and looks like he's just fine chilling there. He's going to roll Portal back behind the pillar. Incarn coming up in 30 seconds. If they can force Ascendance here before it, that would be a critical move to get a win. They need more momentum. Solar Beam onto the whole team. Unfortunately not rooted, so Drainer easily escapes the silence. Now Zot in trouble.
He's in so much trouble right now. They have no defensives available. Rezus has the Serenity. He has the damage available to take him down. Corki going in with the defensive Cyclones onto Rezus. He opts to not trinket out. He hasn't used Serenity yet. He wants to save that so he can get out of crowd control when he needs it. Now there's a bash over onto Drainer. Drainer could be in some trouble, incapacitating on Lone Tar. Zot in a lot of trouble, all by himself. Bring a piece into the room, all alone. Loveless gets disarmed though. Silence on Drainer. Triple fear coming in from Zot to keep himself alive, but he's low. Gets taken down by Rezus with a huge rising sun kick.
The head link
will go up 2-1, and maybe a little bit of defensive cooldown mismanagement there.
It is crazy to actually hear Sid pretty much every time call for the cross kill. And there's
a slot machine right now. He needs to get lucky. If he can get a lot of Earth Shocks in a row, he can just eradicate someone in this arena. But he's got to get a little bit lucky to do it and survive to that point where he can maximize his damage. He's currently just back behind the pillar, bunkered down. Drainer is actually in the middle of the map. This is a bit peculiar. Corki's just going to punish him for that as Drainer retreats away. It almost baited Corki. He actually just popped Incarn, and now the entire team ran away. Zot's getting under a huge amount of pressure from Rezus early on. Tons of damage, actually, and this is match point. You don't want to throw away the game this early on.
Yeah, Zot didn't have to use the Dispersion, though. Loveless has to be there to get those Incapacitate Totems onto Lone Tar out of the incap of Rezus. They need that crowd control chain if they want to get a win. There's a stun over onto Loveless, and he has to use the Astral Shift with Drainer into the cycle, and Loveless could be in some trouble right now, trying to just avoid as much damage as possible. LOS and Corki the best he can, getting in line inside of Drainer, but Drainer gets silenced up. Loveless still not topped off. Finally, some Riptide's going to be connecting. Loveless should be okay.
All right, both teams stabilizing early on despite that initial aggression from Rezus. Rezus getting cycloned up. Drainer repositioning, does not want to be anywhere near Corki, but now back in the middle of the map. Corki looking to Cyclone, gets wind sheared. Lone Tar gets paralysis. Corki getting bursted down. Loveless trying to set up some pressure, but Drainer into the clone. Loveless retreats back behind the pillar. The disadvantage of the Elemental Shaman is that your healing surges aren't instant casts like enhancements, so he can get interrupted and bursted. Zot under fire at the moment. Lone Tar trying to pick him back up. He's not in any crowd control, but seems to be struggling.
Yeah, Zot in a lot of trouble. Gets knocked out of that Earthen Shield Totem. Nicely done by Rezus, rooting him outside of that. There's an interrupt as well, but Corki with the defensive Cyclones really controlling up Rezus. Rezus has to have his trinket available when they want to land a kill. Serenity is even coming up. A little bit of pressure now over on the Zot. Lone Tar looking for the Hex over on the Rezus. Unfortunately not getting dispelled. Finally, Drainer gets in line of sight. Loveless just line of sighting, and it seems like Daily Feed does not have the same kind of pressure we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean, Enhancement Shaman is going to be a lot more sustained. Outside of Earthshock, Elemental doesn't do too much. Now the Earthshocks are coming towards Zot. 2 of them in a row, bursting him down, but Lone Tar already in position to pick him back up. They need to time crowd control at the same time as going for those Earthshock combos. Big Rise of Sun Kick, but gets cloned by Corki. Zot and Corki are playing a lot more aggressive. They don't have the threat of that Enhancement Shaman sustain damage, so they're really getting in the face of Daily Feed, and we could be going to a Game 5 if they can be aggressive enough to close this out. We see Touch of Death committed as Rezu swaps to Lone Tar. He trades out Astral Shift, a 1-for-1 exchange, reducing all this incoming damage and allowing him to tank it quite easily. Corki getting leg sweep. Rezu just trying to stop Cyclones. Loveless positioned back behind the box as an Elemental Shaman would. He's got full Maelstrom, so he can use Earthshock now. And if he gets lucky on it and procs it, he could just burst somebody down. He needs to coordinate with Rezus. I'd love to see paralysis on Lone Tar. Swap to Zot. Earthshock, take him out. There's one Earthshock on Corki. Not going to commit for the second one. Actually does go for the second one. Bursting him down to about half HP. Ring of Peace to try and interrupt the Cyclones. Nice job by Rezus. He's just going to train down Lone Tar. And then might go for a split strategy as we saw in Runes of Lordaeron.
Yeah, not the worst idea. Corki a little bit low right now. Lone Tar has to decide who he wants to heal. Looking for the healing wave. Rezus, does he have the Spear Hand Strike? Unfortunately, no. Drainer now into the bash. Corki really laying in, putting out a lot of pressure over onto him with the Hex over onto Rezus. Silence now on Drainer. Unfortunately, a little mistimed, allowing Rezus to get dispelled and Drainer to get to safety. So he's going to be fine for now. Big Zebra seems to be a lot more comfortable with the Elemental Shaman to push in and get aggressive. Previous matchups, we really didn't see Zot able to push in, get on top of Drainer, get out those dots, get out that pressure, but Serenity comes in from Rezus. A lot of pressure over on the Zot. This could be the dispersion. Rising Sun Kick connects. Procs the trinket. Zot getting lower and lower. Spear Hand Strike comes in. Lone Tar connects the heals, so Zot should be completely fine.
Yeah, as Fig Zebra is restabilized. Mana, though, getting in favor of Daily Feed. Health, not the case, though. Drainer's got a lot of work ahead of him to pick his team back up. He's trying to dispel dots rather than heal through them, which is a nice decision here. Rezu's getting bursted down, proccing his tank trinket as well. Drainer caught into a Cyclone. Corki getting Earthshock, though. A lot of damage towards him. Bark's getting in a bit of a panic moment, and if that happens again, Corki might just get deleted and knocked out of the tournament by Daily Feed. So Loveless is still bunkering down behind the pillar and just building up Maelstrom for that opportunity. Drainer getting swapped to. I love these swaps by Zot and Corki. They're playing a lot more aggressively, forcing an Astral Shift right before a big burst window potentially from Zot with Shadow Fiend. Double Psychic Scream gets tremored by Loveless. Drainer's team still rotting down. He's kind of being greedy with his cooldowns. He's got Healing Tide and Ascendance to recover his whole team, but he doesn't want to waste them. He'd rather line them up with Incarn, and he's slowly but surely recovering. Rezu's still just going after Lone Tar, trying to get some cooldowns pulled before we move into dampening.
Yeah, Rezu's good pressure on the Lone Tar. There's the disarm over on the Drainer, though. Zot and Corki looking to get very aggressive. Managed to get the Cyclone over on the Drainer as well, but really no pressure over on the Rezus. He's able to just do whatever he wants in this matchup. I'd really like to see Zot and Corki pressure Rezus down a little bit more. He's basically able to do whatever he wants. There's a big Earthshock stun coming in from Loveless onto Lone Tar. Ring of Peace going to be activated onto Corki to deny that Cyclone. It gets wind sheared as well, so a little bit of a miscommunication there by Daily Feed. Now Corki's going to have an opportunity to get some Cyclones out after this Incapacitate. This is Serenity coming in from Rezus. Silence onto Drainer. Rezus gets cloned up there, and Lone Tar should be completely fine. Just run away, top himself off. Corki and Zot not under really any pressure. Dampening just kick in.
Yeah, Dampening will be the name of the game here, and I would say that it's still been an even fight throughout. It's a little bit too hard to call who will have the advantage moving into Dampening just yet. I'd say the map maybe favors Fake Zebras more than anybody else, but if they catch Rezus off guard, he's not going to be able to recover quite as easily. There's nowhere for him to really escape. We see Earthen Shield Totem used by Lone Tar, allowing him to easily tank out Rezus. Support by Corki. Star Surge just flying towards Loveless. He's got almost full Maelstrom. He's ready to go for an Earth Shock attack. Who is he going to go after is the question. Possibly Lone Tar. really just holding on to the Maelstrom for quite a long time here. Now dumping it into Zot, 2 Earth Shocks. Didn't get lucky there, unfortunately. Not enough damage to really force much. Stormkeeper chain or Lightning Bolts now. Still not really enough to force too much. Dropping the Primal Elemental, trying to get whatever he can on Zot, but still not even enough to tickle Zot. Zot just standing in his face, tanking all of that damage and nothing getting accomplished there by Loveless. Rezus pre-karmering the bash. Nice read by Rezus. Now going to get Cycloned on it instead by Corki, trying to stall out the game. Lontar is falling behind on mana. We haven't even gotten deep into dampening, and he may need to start looking for a drink, but with a monk on him, I don't think he's going to find one.
That's what I'm saying. Corki and Zot need to get Rezus off of Lontar. There's the root beam over onto Drainer. Tries to get away. Rezus manages to survive with the diffused magic. Serenity is pop, but Rezus could be in some trouble. He's all by himself. Drainer finally in a position to get some heals onto him. Rezus getting bursted down. Might have to pour it away. Drainer getting low as well as he's in the middle of the map. Loveless throwing out some heals to keep his team alive. Rezus now cycloned up. No diffuse, no karma. Still has the fortifying elixir. Could be a little bit tanky. He's going to be running away, activating that fortifying elixir. Corki and Zot have bought Lontar some time. Maybe he can go for a drink now.
I mean, that's the thing with Resto Shaman. The more greedy you are, the more benefit you get. You heal more, the lower health your partners are. So Drainer is just playing as greedy as possible to get ahead of that advantage. Lontar, in the meantime, drank the full mana, so he's got the edge now, moving deeper into dampening. Some damage being lobbed out towards Zot. Not really enough to force anything just yet as he ducks for cover behind that pillar. Corki now left in midfield. Rezus is going to switch his attention to him, but he gets bashed up by Corki. Star Surge is flying in, trying to burst him down, but heals lined up perfectly to pick him back up. Rezus gets cloned as Corki switches targets once again. Over to Loveless, channeling out some Solar Wrath. Still just kind of tickling him. We're going to need a lot more dampening, I think, at this point before either team can really make a dent. Lontar getting bursted down. Here come the Earth Shocks. Down to half. No Astral Shift for 10 more seconds. They need this pressure on Lontar, and they need it now. Stun onto Rezus. Drainer into a Root Beam. Rezus rolling over. Tiger's Lust his mount. Zot moves in for a fear, but misses. Nice job by Drainer. Great positioning.
Yep, Drainer manages to avoid the fear, but Loveless has the Tremor Totem. Drainer has the Tremor Totem as well. They can support each other with that ability as long as they don't get double feared. Loveless gets a little bit of damage over on the Corki now. Battle of the Wizards. Loveless has to retreat, get line of sight of Drainer, but Drainer's across the map right now, caught into the silence. Loveless should be able to keep himself alive. There's a touch of karma coming in from Rezus on the Lontar, getting a little bit of pressure, a little bit of momentum. Lontar realizing it, drops the Earthen Shield Totem. He's going to be tanking out a lot of this damage. Spell now on Rezus with that diffused magic. So he's activated Touch of Karma, diffused magic, fortifying elixir, basically everything he has on a Windwalker Monk in order to stay alive. And now, as dampening gets higher and higher, it's going to be a lot more sketchy for him to push in and get that pressure on the Lontar without being greatly punished.
Yeah, and Corki's hardest hitting attack, Incarnation, comes up in 40 seconds. So that window for Corki is the window that they need to find a kill. They need crowd control and Drainer and Rezus at the same time with like a wind shear on Loveless's healing surges. They actually even got the tank trinket from Rezus. Rezus is in a terrible position. They're forced to bunker down behind this pillar. Lontar can drink for free. Zot and Corki aren't going to overextend. They'd rather trade for mana and go for as late of a game as possible. That appears to be the meta of the day. Who could make it deepest into the dampening pool? Right now, Fake Zebra's in a good position to go the far distance. Now they're splitting up. Corki on one side, Zot on the other. They're closing in, trying to box them. Incarn up in 10 more seconds. Corki needs to make something happen. There's the Root Beam, but it gets denied. Rezus gets stunned. That stun was 1 second too late. Now there's no crowd control for Drainy. Corki's trying to capitalize with the bash. Potential Cyclone as well. There's the Cyclone. Incarn available. Corki's going to pop it. They have to kill Rezus here and now. He knows it. He jucks for cover behind the pillar, reconnecting with Drainer, and now should easily survive. Drainer dispelling off dots. Rezus still falling behind. Needs 9 more seconds. Will he make it to that point? Drainer reconnecting. Connecting some heals. 4 more seconds. Dipping lower and lower. Drainer getting silenced. Trying to line of sight. Loveless trying to toss out some off heals. He makes it to the Touch of Karma window, allowing Daily Feed to survive.
I think he could have been a little bit more greedy with that Touch of Karma. They did manage to get it. Rezus maybe just didn't want to throw away the game, but I think he was okay in that situation. Zot and Corki really didn't have too much damage left. Now, once again, not going to have that available for a minute and a half. Still has the diffuse, still has fortifying elixir. Serenity gets popped. A lot of damage on the Zot. Rezus trinkets out of the Cyclone into another Cyclone. Corki, unbelievable control coming out in this matchup, buying enough time for Zot to get that defense coming in from Lontar with that Earthen Shield Totem. Now Rezus' attacks are going to be shrugged off by Zot as Rezus and Drainer and Loveless all have to retreat in this matchup.
I mean, we've seen this before. Daily Feed, their entire team is dipping low. Dampening gets higher and higher. Their healing gets lower and lower. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it alive as Fake Zebras look to bring this to Game 5. Loveless trades out Astral Shift, desperately trying to stay alive. They've got absolutely no momentum. It's completely in favor of Fake Zebras. All they need to do is move forward and stomp them down. Everybody rotting. Drainer still trying to be as greedy as possible, but will the greed be enough? He ducks for cover behind the pillar. Lontar is even throwing out Lava Burst. He's had enough of this. They want to close it, take it to a Game 5, but they're just stalling it over and over. Drainer's greed paying off. Zot moves in. Corki moves in. They need to be careful. They can't stack up for a triple stun. Drainer caught into a stun. Zot letting it rip. Vampiric touches for everybody. Drainer ducks for cover around the other side of the pillar. Loveless pairing up with him. Lontar might be a miracle opportunity here, but it would be a bit of a throwaway for him to go down with so many cooldowns available. Drainer gets cloned. Rezo trades out defensives to survive. Loveless is rotting, and Fake Zebras get closer and closer to victory.
Yeah, Fake Zebras looking really solid in this matchup. 40% dampening. Everyone's 100% HP, or they were. Corki now taking a little bit of burst. Loveless gets interrupted. He has to kite away. Corki really doing a lot of damage in this situation. Zot charging in as well. Gets the silence on the Drainer. Loveless all alone in the situation with the Cyclone over on the Rezus. Touch of Death gets committed onto someone, but really not too much damage going to be following that up. Lontar gets bursted down a little bit. Do they have the damage to take him down? I don't think so. Drainer now into the Cyclone. Loveless all alone. Drainer Trinket links. Keep his team alive, but Daily Feud is running out of time.
Lontar used his trinket as well. It's a race to the finish at this point. Rezus gets cloned. Good denial from Corki. He's been locking out Rezus time and time again. Drainer pops Ascendance. He gets stunned on it. No trinket available. Drainer could easily fall. They clone him up. They switch targets. The Rezus has Touch of Karma, though. They need to just gun down Lontar. If they don't get a kill on him within the next couple of seconds, Corki has Incarn almost ready to be available, and Lontar has nothing to answer it. Lontar just needs to not throw away the game like he did earlier, and I think they're going to take this to game number 5. Zot's dipping low. They need to trade. Rezus gets cloned. They're trying to hold on to it. Drainer gets silenced. His entire team at 50% HP. There's no real significant healing at this point left for their team. Zot is getting bursted down at the same time. Please don't throw this game away, Lontar. You've got it locked in at this point. Incarn gets popped. Corki is hunting them down. All 3 members in so much trouble at this point. Getting thunderstormed out in the center field. Great thunderstorm from Loveless, actually, ducking for cover. Lontar pops Ascendance to allow his team to stay aggressive. Root Solar Beam, potential Cyclone. There are the Star Surges. Drainer dispels to try and get ahead. Corki gets a clone, though. Loveless and Rezus alone. Diffuse Magic gets traded out. They're hanging on by a thread. But even with that thread, they might be able to pull off a miracle.
Yeah, Zot getting lower. Doesn't want to die without using that Dispersion. Drainer gets bashed up, in a lot of trouble. No trinket available. Do they have the damage? 50% dampening. A lot of damage coming in from Corki and Zot as they tie up this series 2-2.
And there it is.
You were right. You were going to say that. I'll just skip it.
Folks, once again, the longest series in BFA history. Who is going to come out on top? Who is going to etch their name in the history books?
There's going to be a lot of aggression in this matchup. Fear over on the Loveless, disarm on the Drainer right away. Both teams looking to get aggressive. There's the leg sweep over on Zot. A lot of pressure early on with the Serenity coming in from Rezus. Tank Trinket's going to be activated with the Earthen Shield Totem. Rezus looking for the offensive Ring of Peace. Doesn't look like he's able to knock Zot off just yet. Loveless and Drainer are going to be jumping down.
Yeah, Corki and Zot can now position with one wizard on each side. Actually, both overlapping on the same side. That's a bit of a mistake there. They do manage to push in, and this is the danger, the double-edged sword of this map. They can just get on top of them and try and take them out with Incarnation windows much easier on this map. Corki trying to really get something going here. Cyclone's on Loveless, gunning down Rezus, but at the same time, he's pulling the trigger now with Touch of Death. Zot retreats back on top of the bridge. He can look for mind controls and bring Rezus downstairs as well. Lontar going through a lot of crowd control right now. Windshear into an incapacitate. That's putting Zot on the back foot. Trying to hang on. Riptides come crashing in, boosting up his health by a little bit, but now with no Riptides and another Windshear. Great interrupts right now from Daily Feed. That's putting Zot heavily far behind, but now able to recover. Drainer's out in the open, and again, they've been constantly making swaps to him, and I feel like Fake Zebras are actually coming out ahead on this map.
Yeah, one of the things about this map as well is Lontar doesn't have a long distance he can really hide. So Daily Feed, like you said, getting those Windshears, getting those incapacitates on cooldown, but Daily Feed falling a little bit further behind. Drainer on 50% HP, trying to line of sight. Lontar, Zot, and Corki all over him right now. Rezus throwing out the Vivifies to keep him alive. He dispels the dots off himself. Zot's going to be playing upstairs, getting at those VTs right now. Rezus downstairs. This is not the positioning that you really want against this team. You want to be able to continue your aggression. Rezu's now moving in with the rushing Jade Wind, Serenity available as well. Trying to put out some pressure over on the Zot. If they can get a nice CC chain onto Lone Tar, they might be able to force out the dispersion.
There's the Incapacitate, Drainer, and a Clone as both teams start to gun down for a kill. Bloodlust Serenity combo not really pulling too much. That was just Earthen Shield. Nice Ring of Peace. Hex on Drainer, Loveless Dispel, Zot dipping low. Lone Tar trying to time some heals, doesn't want to overlap defensive cooldowns. Doesn't look like they're going to need to in this position, but now they're all stacked up. They can get cleaved down by Corki. Drainer's trying to reposition away from that opportunity and deny any benefit. Loveless jumping down, just trying to evacuate. They're not going to get anything done through the defensive cooldowns. Try and reposition, figure out another attack plan. Drainer getting silenced up as they do constantly go after him. And, I mean, this would be devastating to lose this series. I mean, how much time have they sunk into just this series alone? Picking Blade's Edge, they were trying to get an offensive edge, but I think it's actually not the case where they're advantaged on this map. I feel like Fake Zebras are actually advantaged because there's nowhere Daily Feed can run away and hide.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, looks like a Cyclone's going to be thrown over onto Draenor. Loveless going to be taking a little damage as he's on 50%. There's the Incapacitate on Lone Tar once again. Daily Feed doing these consistent setups, but Fake Zebras just has so many defensive cooldowns that they can rotate through. It becomes very difficult for Daily Feed to push through all of them. Hex over onto Draenor now. Like you were saying, Sid, it can be hard for Daily Feed to get those resets, get those runaways. Luckily, they're not afraid to jump down. Rezu's downstairs, Loveless downstairs, Draenor downstairs as well. Everyone gets topped off. Now, Zot is in a situation where he doesn't really want to chase. You know, maybe they're baiting him down there. He's not falling for bait just yet. He's happy to sort of stall out the game, wait, get those dots up, and allow Daily Feed to do what they need to do.
I mean, Zot also knows it's incredibly unlikely that they can kill before dampening. They want to try and force a cooldown about a minute, maybe, into it, and then push for a big kill with Incarn. So during this time, it's better to play safe and not risk losing the game. Here comes big damage from Mess Serenity. Tank Trinket triggered by Zot. That is going to allow him to easily soak up this damage. Drainer trying to get ahead of the damage by dispelling dots rather than healing through them, constantly dispelling. Trying to put the Shadow Priest on the back foot. Corki's the one that's kind of just been chasing them around when they go downstairs, but even then, he's not going to follow. Rezu's ducks for cover as they hide below the bridge. But dots still do damage while you're running away, so this is a favorable position to the Fake Zebras. It's just a matter of can they execute enough burst deeper into dampening to close the game out. It could be a cross kill potentially on this map. It's such an erratic positioning. There's no clear defensive posture for either side to actually take. Zot caught in leg sweep, Bloodlust Ascendance, potentially huge amount of damage, but that's not even cutting through. Double stun here. Corki gets knocked down by Rezu's perfect Ring of Peace there into a double fear. Loveless dips low. His tank gonna trigger. Huge absorb during the Incarn window. Great timing for him, and he's gonna easily recover.
Yeah, Root Beam on a Drainer. Rezu's able to get him out of that with the Tiger's Lust. Gets caught into the Cyclone. A little bit of pressure now over onto Zot. Both teams have sort of stabilized in this positioning. Lone Tar still has every single defensive cooldown available for his team. Zot gets interrupted. Rezu's 10 seconds on that Serenity, going to be able to put out huge pressure. Zot realizing the situation, moving back up to a defensive position. And on top of Lone Tar, now Rezu's getting aggressive. Nice life grip onto Lone Tar from Zot. That was a bit of a curious life grip there to keep him. I'm not sure why he did that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to have it later on, and now they're kind of stacking up potentially here in the middle of the bridge. Drainer's mana is going down faster. Here's the big red number. Finally, they can make something happen. Ring of Peace knocks Zot down out of line of sight, trying to capitalize on that. Huge burst out of this leg sweep. Lone Tar repositions. Windshear onto Corki's Cyclone. If they can keep stopping those Cyclones, it's critical to keep their aggression. They don't manage to deny it. Actually, Grounding Totem denies it further. Now another Windshear. Great denial on Corki to push forward towards Zot, but all they get is that Tank Trinket absorb. Not even pulling a dispersion despite that great interrupt chain on Corki.
Yeah, that was Bloodlust and Serenity, and they didn't even force out a dispersion, just to tell you how tanky the Shadow Priest really is in this matchup. 5% dampening now. Drainer taking a little bit of damage with the stun. The storm coming in from Zot. Zot gets interrupted. Can't disperse for a few more seconds, but not enough damage to really push Zot over the edge. He actually uses the dispersion. It was his tank trinket as well as dispersion there, so that was a bit of an overlap by Zot, and now it's an opportunity for Daily Feed to secure a kill a little bit later on.
Yeah, but he's still got Trinket Life Swap, Trinket Spirit Link. It's still a lot of defensives to go through, unless they make a mistake, and Lone Tar has done that already in this series, but if they don't make a mistake, they've got so many defensives, they're so durable. I feel like Fake Zebras are going to ultimately walk away with the rest of this series. I think they should have picked a map. Daily Feed should have picked a map where they can clearly retreat away and have an advantage in that sense, because on this map they can't. There's nowhere for them to really hide. Corki can just hunt them down. See Cap Totem on Corki, interrupting that Cyclone. Wind Shear on the follow-up. Corki's been having a rough time this game though. Zot getting bursted down. Earthen Shield from Lone Tar is protecting Zot, and it will make him even further durable. Nice Cyclone at Loveless at low health, making it difficult for Drainer to time heals. He dispels dots into a triple fear, into a hex. Great crowd control here from the Fake Zebras as they could potentially close. No, Tank Trinket Absorb going to pop it overlapped with the Astral Shift, so Loveless is going to fall behind due to that mistake.
Rez is taking a little bit of damage in the meantime, but he has every defensive available as well. 12% dampening. Drainer's mana's looking good. Lone Tar's mana's looking good as well. Drainer's a little bit ahead, but that has been the case in most of these games. Lone Tar falling a little bit farther behind. Loveless and Rezus put out a lot of single target pressure, taxing the Resto Shaman mana just a little bit more, but it hasn't seemed to matter too much in these games so far. Zot down to around 60% HP. Rezus caught into the bash. There's the cap stun. Nicely done. No CC on the Lone Tar though, preemptively casting out those healing waves to keep Zot alive.
All right, Zot in a rough position, getting interrupted. He's not able to swap his health. This is match point. He doesn't manage to get the life swap in a panic situation. Now Corki trying to reverse, but blood loss. Both teams could be potentially in trouble here as dampening starts to mount up. Silent, stun, combo, Loveless, overlap cooldowns earlier on. Can they punish it? Is the question. Riptides save Loveless. He could duck for cover, but he doesn't want to. He wants to stay aggressive. Will he be able to stay aggressive, or will he fall? Corki gets knocked, but it's a bit misplaced. He's not going to get knocked off the side, so Incarn is still rolling. Triple fear from Zot. Is he going to be able to build up any momentum? No. Tremor Totem breaks up that fear. Rezu's now into DR Cyclone. Rezu's on Cyclone DR. He can stay on target, potentially force a dispersion. Lone Tar falling more and more behind on mana, and suddenly Daily Feed it's starting to etch out some advantage.
Yeah, that is true. 20% dampening. Zot gets interrupted once again. Vampiric Embrace preemptively used. A little bit of additional healing he's going to be able to toss out to himself. Lone Tar still in a good spot to spam with those heals. Drainer with a nice interrupt. Zot getting lower and lower. This could be the dispersion. Thankfully going to be traded out there. Touch of karma from Rezus. Rezus really doesn't have too much left in terms of defensive cooldown, so he's going to be a good target for their team a little bit later on. Drainer's going to have to keep him alive, keep him aggressive. This is a good opportunity for them to try to take down Zot. Serenity's going to be up in 10 seconds. What they really need to do is they need to try to get Dispersion before the Serenity, and that's when they can really push through and end up closing out the game. If they just keep trading Serenity for Dispersion, that's a fairly even trade for these teams.
That Ring of Peace just misplaced, knocking Zot into the Earthen rather than off the bridge on the opposite side, and Rezus needs to get better Ring of Pieces. I mean, that's the advantage they wanted to get on this map, but Rezus is just not placing them correctly, and Zot's getting full advantage of defensive cooldowns because of it, so Rezus needs to polish that up. Drainer gets caught in center field. Lots of damage flying towards him. Zot getting bursted down now as well. He's going to disperse at low health. Dampening starting to mount. Things are starting to get interesting. It is match point of potentially the longest series in World of Warcraft history. Zot getting bursted down. He's got really nothing left. Lone Tar drops the link. He's not going to throw this game away. It would be such a blunder, so he stays in the fight for just a couple seconds longer. Zot still under fire, and Daily Feed look like they're walking away, Ben.
Yep, Zot taking a lot of damage. Ring of Peace going to be dropped out. Drainer need to keep his team alive, keep them aggressive in the situation. Nice Cyclone coming in from Rezus there Nice Cyclone onto Rezus by Corki to slow down some of that incoming damage. But now, once those Cyclone DRs are up, Zot's in a lot of trouble. Incapacitated on Lone Tar. He trinkets out to keep Zot alive. Corki's still flailing with the Cyclones. There's a silence onto Drainer as they try to keep this pressure up over onto Loveless. Cyclone over on him. That was a Bloodlust as well. And now Zot in a situation where finally he does not have the dispersion for the Serenity of Rezus. 20 seconds. It's going to be a ticking time bomb for Fake Zebras.
Yeah, Zot's got nothing left unless Corki saves him. Corki has to be the most MVP Boomkin ever to survive this next hit in about 10 more seconds. Will Corki be able to save his team and stay in the tournament? It's match point. Zot is under fire. Will he be able to back him up? He's getting wind sheared. They need to deny Cyclone as long as possible. He goes for another one. He manages to get it, pausing out the game. Loveless is stalled out. Zot recovers. Lone Tar comes down. Will he be able to survive? Serenity gets popped. It's the final moments. Corki needs to save him, but he's getting shut down even further. He needs a Cyclone. He needs it now, but he's not getting it. Grounding Totem's denying it. Zot's in so much trouble. There's nothing left standing between him and death at this point. Hanging on by a thread at 10% HP. And somehow, no, not going to be able to keep it going. And Daily Feed walk away with the longest series I have ever seen in World of Warcraft.
The Orc is finally pleased. Victory to Daily Feed, man, somebody needs to tell that orc to chill. I don't think he's ready for he's not ready for the new meta.
He's an ogre.
He's not ready for the tank trinket meta.
I don't care what he is. If he was in my Discord, I would globally mute him.
Everyone in chat is just typing, "You bore me."
I had to unplug my headset. It was cracking me up during that series. Oh yeah, every time the trinket procs, you just for them to adjust. And this is how everything shakes out now. We got XRB to the moon and Tempo Storm with the best seats in the house, right up there at the top with that ogre just screaming down at everyone. They're going to be in the upper portion of the bracket. They can still lose one time and drop down to the lower final, or if they win, they go straight to the grand final. Then we got Daily Feed going up against some of the toughest competition in the world in Method Black. Zico, what is it about these squads that allowed them